What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 18SW Chapter 22. Gote 13 is all actors, Dover vs Yhwach. Advertisement, have you heard? One of Hokage's souls invented Hōgyoku. Hōgyoku is terrible. Yes, the absorption of the heart is realized, to ensure that the host is immortal, reaching the limit or being threatened by life will promote evolution. Guru, break the boundary between Shinigami and the virtual? Is this possible? This is just a superficial ability. The real ability is manifested in accordance with the development of what I want in my heart. It is too scary. The premise is to have the strength to realize this wish. It is said that the evolution of Hōgyoku has no upper limit. There was a lot of discussion around Xie Lingting. Such rumors existed more than 200 years ago, and there was no Shinigami lair before. But the precipitation of time passed, after being hyped again. Directly let the new generation Shinigami, and even many older generation Shinigami believe it. This excitement, it attracted the attention of Yuyin Village. In case it is true, it is too important. So, meeting. What do you think? Yuyin Village looked at the captains. All the captains were present, except for Kagaya who was sitting and reading, the others were standing. Everyone didn't care. Ms. Kagaya is better to read quietly, or maybe someone is unlucky. The captain present, except for Chunshui, Jashiro and the captain, all the rest have been beaten up by Ms. Kagaya. Kagaya, who doesn't like to fight and kill, ultimately depends on his strength to win his position. Jashiro Yukitaki said in a condensed voice. Any rumors are 1 in 90. There is a certain basis, especially if it has been circulated for more than 200 years, I think it should be treated as a fact. The captain's forehead. Don't be afraid of 10,000, just in case. Who knows the ambition of the soul who created Hōgyoku? If you find it, how to deal with it? Aizen asked calmly, causing Miss Kagaya to look sideways. Needless to say. This rumor is from Aizen. Dream. Dream and fantasy. When fantasy is one, any word spoken, even if it is a lie, as long as enough people believe it, it will definitely come true. Fake it out. Aizen didn't want to go to Yhwach for another part of Hōgyoku. Because what he said has come true. The soul that created the perfect Hōgyoku appeared out of thin air under the belief of many Shinigami. It appeared because of Aizen's ability. So Aizen quickly found the soul, killing the soul and seizing the treasure. Now, Aizen inside, just a gem with blue-black light. Perfect Hōgyoku, and directly prompted Aizen to start the first stage of evolution. If described by strength, the first fusion state, it is almost impossible to kill Aizen, and one person surpasses Espada's sum. And the second fusion state is about to start, the main thing. In Aizen's lie, there is a sentence. Mingyu has no upper limit for evolution. Dream Unity broke the rules. Therefore, the Hōgyoku in Aizen is more perfect than the Hōgyoku created by Lan Yu to give Zubin and others. Even to the extraordinary realm, it can still continue to evolve. The kid's holy text is so hidden. Kagaya can clearly perceive the perfection of Hōgyoku in Aizen, which is more mysterious than hers. This is certainly not something that can be created with some souls, even if the Spirit King is not enough. So, Aizen, who has never told others about his holy text, what is his ability? Fantasy creation? Orochimaru can't even be made? Kagaya thought so. Captain, Shinigami asked to see him, saying that there is a ticket for important things. At this time, Shojiro Sasaki reported, come in. Yuyin Village said calmly, I have seen all the captains. Walking into the hall was a girl with a black and purple long-billing ponytail, who was also the deputy captain of the 12th Division. Yinmeng. Kuretsuchi Mayuri, the captain of the 12th Division, was a little surprised. She is also the daughter of Kuretsuchi Mayuri, Master Yuli. Ni Yinmeng whispered respectfully, and then said without a wave of sound, there is news from the Technology Development Bureau that the monitoring of the world was completely lost a few minutes ago. Moreover, it is impossible to enter the world through the boundary, and the world seems to be completely blocked. This. Yuyin Village frowned slightly. The Technology Development Bureau is not only a department that conducts development and research, but also conducts timely monitoring of the current situation. For example, Ishida Yulong's grandfather, Mikui Ishida Shizongshan, was under surveillance, and was directly brought back to study by Kuretsuchi Mayuri when he was seriously injured. Monitoring failed. Can't even enter through the boundary gate? Kagaya. Yuyin Village looked directly at Kagaya. Kagaya nodded slightly, got up and disappeared. After a while, Kagaya returned solemnly. There is an extremely strong spatial barrier in this world, which completely bans all passages. Beyond the concubine's cognition. What? This made all the captains stunned. Only a mysterious smile appeared in Aizen's eyes. Kagaya Sr., this joke is not funny at all. It was Hitsugaya Toshiro, a white-haired child who was eager to grow taller. Toshiro couldn't understand. Kagaya-senpai controls the space and wants to exceed what I can't imagine. This means Kagaya can't break either? It's incredible. Nearly 300 years have passed and countless Shinigami think that Kagaya is already at the same level as the captain. And many times refused to invite the Zero Division team. Absolutely the apex of Soul Society. The strength of blocking people in this world is powerful that the concubine body cannot understand. Kaguya's eyes showed 3-point shock, 3-point confusion, 3-point curiosity, and a heavy voice. Could it be possible that in this world there is a strength far beyond that of a concubine? Absolutely not. It was Aizen who spoke, pushing his glasses lightly and murmured. There are some captains in this world, but they are far from Kagaya's senpai. Not to mention the banning of the entire world, which is really incredible. Advertisement the captain's neck. Don't talk about this world, you don't even think about finding an existence far beyond Kaguya's strength from Soul Society or even the Spirit Palace. Look down on me, Sister Kagaya. The Lord of the Empire. Kiraku Shunsui uttered a word that shocked everyone. About 300 years ago, the Lord of the Holy Empire arrived. Although he passed away in a flash, I am pretty sure that the other party is unfathomable. Kiraku Shunsui said very solemnly. After so many years, perhaps the ambition of the Lord of the Empire has opened his fangs. This sentence exploded. The captains talked a lot. Aizen, shocked, and said, oh my god, could it be that the Lord of the Empire blocked the world? What kind of strength is this? Kagaya. Hey, kid, your acting skills are too exaggerated, it doesn't fit your personality, calm down. See here. Ichimaru Jin, who kept his eyes wide open, exclaimed, hi, Lord of the Empire, what is it? Robin. Do you work hard? Yoruichi Shikaden rolled his eyes, and then yelled, ah, Lord of the Empire? Is it the one I saw when I was a kid? Although he is handsome, he is really terrible. Rukia. What should I do? The blind Tusen Kanami thought for a while, squatting directly on the ground and trembling. Is that terrible? Can the stagnant court stop it? It scares me to death. Matsumoto Rangaku. Oh my god, the whole paragraph collapsed. Kagaya murmured inwardly, it's all actors, the captain is too difficult. All human settings collapsed. Even the captain was a little affectionate, and he couldn't help but scolded. Calm down for the old man. Aizen and others immediately recovered their calm. Yuan Luze said solemnly, it is not yet certain whether it is the Holy Empire, let alone whether it is the world that was banned by one person. Hōgyoku's put it down beforehand. The 2nd to 6th divisions check the world, the 7th to 9th divisions go to Hueco Mundo, and the 10th to 13th divisions search for Soul Society. Yes, Captain. This world. After Senju Hashirama finished speaking, the whole world was shocked. The Holy Empire army invaded. All countries in this world are shaking, but their resistance is futile, even if there are mushroom bombs that are ineffective. It is enough to hand it over to army soldiers, generals. Mainly fight in Karakura town. Puff, cough, after being cut a few times by Mihawk, Urahara Kazuki's body was covered with scars and he kept coughing up blood. Manager. Tessai Tsukabishi was terrified and worried, this man with a black knife was slashing to death. But the store manager didn't allow him to act, pot. Mihawk closed his knife and turned around. This stunned Urahara Kazuki, and said in surprise, no more fights, really? Dedudu, Master Hashirama said, Mihawk's knife is too sharp, why don't you let me try it? Doflamingo walked forward with a wicked smile at the steps that the 6 relatives did not recognize. Urahara Kazuki looked bitter. You belong to the Ministry of Finance, can I give you all the money I have earned over the years? Do-do-do-duo. No, Doflamingo's palm flicked open, and his 5 fingers were in the shape of animal claws, and he waved suddenly. Armed 5 color strings. 5 extremely sharp, pitch-black silk threads were cut towards Urahara Kazuki. Hey, let me catch my breath, Urahara Kazuki said, but directly raised Zanpakuto in his hand. Zanpakuto, already Shikai, blood cloud shield. A blood-red shield was released from the end of Zanpakuto. Pot pot pot. The silk thread and the shield made a clanging sound. Urahara Kazuki's expression condensed. Next, be careful, senior of the Ministry of Finance. Bloom, Hong-ji. Whoosh whoosh, countless red light arrows flew from the surface of the bloody shield, rushing towards Dover like a rain of bullets. Armed spider's web wall. Dover raised his hand to thousands of silk threads, forming an extremely dense silk thread defense. Do not. Attacked with one blow. Urahara Kazuki came more and more empty, over the spider's web wall, and pointed straight at Dover. Tether it, Hong-ji. Hong-ji's sword released a net-shaped Ryatsu, completely sealing and restraining Dover's place. Without stopping, Urahara 0.0 Kazuki landed and plunged the knife directly into the ground, causing hundreds of Ryatsu fireballs to appear around Dover. Play with fire, Hong-ji, boom. Dover, who bound the moment, was directly attacked by hundreds of fireballs. Are you still going to the theater? Hitaki looked at Kurosaki Ishin. Kurosaki Ishin directly flew the unconscious little Ichigo, stood up and said solemnly, your goal is Soul Society, the same ambition as Quincy. Well, I was once the captain, so let's fight, boom. Boom. When Shumo and Ishin collided, the person who finished presenting the surgery. Where the Masked Legion is located, the Ishida family and so on. All were attacked by army generals. Let's talk about all suppression. Awakening Wangling White Line. Everything around it turned into silk threads, directly breaking the fireball and exploding, turning into a sea wave and attacking Urahara Kazuki. Hey, be careful of my shop. With such a wide range of attacks, Urahara Kazuki felt very sorry for his shop. It's boiling over, use all your strength and don't let Master Hashirama down. Dover's thread skips the Urahara store. The walking posture made the shop manager secretly praised, it was really cool. It can only be this way. Compared to Mihawk's knife, Urahara Kazuki still thinks Dover's ability is easy to deal with. Solved. Boom. Chapter 23. Solution. Guanyin Kai. Hongji Kai. Hashirama vs Mask Legion. Advertisement Zanpakuto. Honheim. Basic ability. Release and manipulate the red light. Usually a double-edged cane knife, Urahara carried Hongji with him in the form of a cane. And at the moment, solved, Kanenbaraki Benihime Aratame. With Urahara Kazuki Ryatsu erupted. After being resolved, Hongjigu became a huge figure, with long hair in a classic bun, wearing a sleeveless kimono, and having puppet-like limbs and joints. Tens of meters high. Sitting cross-legged behind Urahara. Recover it for me. Urahara Kazuki shouted. In Doflamingo's astonishment, Urahara Kazuki recovered from the injuries previously cut by Mihawk. And his string fruit's awakening affects the changing building land, and has received even more bizarre powers. Start to change. As if undergoing transformation, all the white lines of the barren waves like the ocean disappeared. All have been remodeled, there are traces of stitches everywhere. Seeing the astonishment in Dover's eyes, Urahara Kazuki chuckled lightly. My solution is very simple. I will reshape and repair anything within a certain range that Zanpakuto touches, including myself. Dedudu, this ability. Doflamingo smiled evilly, and then became speechless. Boy, you haven't seen you for decades, you have learned a lot of bad things. Master Hashirama never taught you, don't you tell others about your abilities? This. Urahara Kazuki looks one. After all, in Soul Society, most of Shinigami's opening remarks are to introduce their own abilities, for fear that others may not know it. Kazuki was also affected. Boom, the next moment. A hole appeared in a dimple on the ground where Dover was. Numbfinger. Another Urahara Kazuki appeared from the entrance of the cave and pointed at Dover. Self-created ability. Through the contact of the fingertip 07 Ryatsu, the enemy's body is temporarily paralyzed and unable to move. Dedudu. Use the ability to transform the ground to create traps, and then use the ghost clone to sneak attack. Good plan. In the surprise of Urahara Kazuki clone, Dover was not affected at all, and grabbed it with 5 fingers. But you still haven't seen enough. Dover grabbed Urahara's avatar by the neck, smashed it to the ground, and smashed it directly. Chance. Urahara's eyes narrowed. Hongji, who was several tens of meters away, raised her hand and pressed it over, and hurriedly pressed towards Dover. Shield white line. Dozens of huge white lines turned into shields and stood in front of Dover. Change. Urahara ability to activate. The moment Hongji touched the shield's white line, she directly reshaped it, and tore it apart, and landed on Dover. Change. Without hesitation, Urahara frantically modified Dover's body to achieve the effect of serious injuries. Chi. Dover's body was ill-formed, and there were traces of stitches all over his body. No. Seeing Dover still smiling wickedly, Urahara's heart brightened. According to his understanding, the Doflamingo of the Ministry of Finance is capable of string fruit, but the holy text is unknown. String fruit. Urahara Kazuki is confident that it can be transformed, but this posture seems to have no effect. Then open it up. Hado 99.5 Swirling Dragons of Destruction. Large Divine Destruction. Urahara condensed the huge blue Ryatsu dragon with one hand, and drew an arc in the sky with the other, and a huge bow and arrow appeared on the trajectory. Roar. Accompanied by the roar of the dragon, the blue Ryatsu dragon rushed towards Dover following a major extinction. Dudududu, my sacred text is the conceptual thread, the thread is me, and I am the thread. Whatever you want to modify the sewing, I will still be the thread. Your abilities are ineffective to me. Doflamingo disappeared in a smirk. Concept line and space line. It merges into the space with the body as a line, so as to move near teleportation. It's over, kid. Dover came to Urahara Kazuki almost instantly and raised his hand to grab it. Concept line, twist line. Anything that the line touches will be distorted, provided that the strength is sufficient. Chi. Urahara's body was distorted and turned directly into twists. Manager. Tsukabishi was taken aback and subconsciously shot. Forbidden technique time is still. Go away. Dover snorted coldly. Before Tessai Tsukabishi's spiritual power erupted, Ryatsu erupted and directly shook it into flight. At this moment, Dover looked at the twisted Urahara and noticed the abnormality. No blood. Not a clone, nor a puppet, because Ryatsu is the same as Urahara. Sacred Destroyer Beijing Fireframe sealed out. In an instant, in the shadow on Dover's left side, a flash of light flashed quickly. The light penetrated Dover and completely covered him, leaving only 3 crossed sword cones in the air. Completely sealed. What? Urahara Kazuki appeared with a bright smile. Senior Dover, this battle, count me as winning. Shousuke, good job. The sudden sound made Urahara Kazuki extremely pleasantly surprised. When he turned around, he saw a man in a black military uniform. Teacher. Long time no see. Urahara Kazuki ran towards Hashirama excitedly and hugged him immediately. Shousuke, you really have grown up. Looking at the 1.83-meter Urahara Kazuki, Senju Hashirama smiled and said, but it's still not as tall as me, without my teacher, ha 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 ha. Advertisement this familiar smile. Urahara Kazuki squatted on the ground and cried softly. Oh, teacher, I'm so miserable. After waiting for you for 300 years, I was either chopped by Mihawk or beaten by Dover. I almost died. Yes. Senju Hashirama squeezed his chin and calculated, but 30 years have passed since my place. Urahara's cry stopped abruptly. Teacher, you and I are not the same channel. How many years has this happened? I was beaten. Never mind. Yurihara Kazuki's expression changed in seconds. He stood up and smiled brightly. Teacher, I won. Is there any reward? Of course there is. Yurihara was overjoyed when he opened the password, and then Senju Hashirama said seriously. I will not send anyone to beat you anymore. After all, you have grown up, and you want face. Very good. Yurihara is overjoyed. But the next moment, Senju Hashirama laughed. I will hit you personally, and there will be talents under the stick, ha 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 ha. Yurihara. Boom. The sealed object in the sky burst, and Dover fell to the ground intact. Doo-doo, you won. Dover didn't find any excuses. According to the hard power, the fighting power of Dover 7 stars is definitely not comparable to Yurihara. But at the same level, he did lose. Senior Dover, it's my trick. Facing the seniors, Yurihara remained modest and said, when I used 5 swirling dragons of destruction, Hongji covered me and I entered the realm of shadows. Attacked by Dover. It is a portable prosthetic developed by Yurihara. It can be used as a stand-in. It is penetrated by Hongji Doriatsu. If you don't perceive it carefully, it will be no different from the main body. So after attacking the portable wreckage, Dover was surprised for an instant. Yurihara stormed from the realm of shadows. The sacred Mizuya Kyoto fireframe is sealed. Yurihara's own seal system Kido combines the acceleration of destruction. In the original track, Yurihara was Aizen who used the Beijing fireframe to seal the seal. Dover raised his brow slightly. No, if you enter the realm of shadow, I should be able to perceive Ryatsu's movement, but there is no. Of course it was my invention. Speaking of this, Yurihara Kazuki said with a little excitement. Look, teacher, this is the black cloak that I invented, Ryatsu that can completely hide the user. I have invented many, many more. Yurihara at this moment. It's like a child who gets a perfect score in an exam and expects the teacher's elders to praise him. Wow, but there was a sneer. Yurihara Kazuki was sluggish. Senju Hashirama turned into a spiritual sun and dissipated. Ling Ling. Clone. Yurihara Kazuki was in love for an instant, and suddenly squatted on the ground, full of decadent circles. I haven't seen it in 300 years. The teacher used a clone to see me. I'm so pitiful. It's boiling over, you really look like Master Hashirama. Looking at Yurihara, who was squatting on the ground, Dover couldn't help but smile, and he deserved to be a student. Learned the essence. Manager, Tessai Tsukabishi ran over. Yurihara Kazuki stood up immediately, not joking, and said seriously, you are here, you must remember every sentence I say next. First, I am a citizen of the Holy Empire, what? Holding Zhang Tessai in a daze. Karakura town is on the other side. Shumao vs Heart, Mahawk vs Ishida Dragonstring. Izuna vs Manifestation. Jiraiya took the Imperial Army generals to clean up Karakura town. The soldiers of the Imperial Army swept the world. The Masked Legion wanted to find Yurihara Kazuki, but was blocked. Kosuke, I really grew up. Senju Hashirama took back the doppelganger 367 with a gratifying smile, and then looked forward. Congratulations, you are surrounded by me. The Masked Legion held its breath. So horrible. The smiling man in front of him. With the unconscious breath, they seemed to see the captain. Masked Legion. Hirako Shinji, Sarugaki Hiyori, Yadomaru Lisa, Hashijin, Muguruma Kensai, Love Ekawa, Kuna Mashiro, Atoribashi Rojiro. The 8 people are controlled by Aizen behind the scenes, so Hollow Shinigami, when he was executed by Room 46, Aizen rescued Yurihara, and Yurihara also took them away. Mask. Shinigami's Hollow. Arankar, Virtual Shinigami. Masked Legion, there is no weak person, let alone the captain of Gode 13. You are that person. Hirako Shinji took a closer look at Hashirama, and couldn't help but said in a deep voice, the strongest empire who used to fight with the captain. About 300 years ago. Hirako Shinji is the seat officer in Gode 13, who has seen Hashirama from a distance. But, Hashirama at that time, it is far less powerful than Ryatsu, which is now unconsciously distributed. It will become stronger too soon. Huh? You guys. Senju Hashirama sensed the Masked Legion and was a little surprised. Not only Izuna's Shinigami breath, but also Kisami's virtual breath, it's strange. The Empire has no masks. Shinigami's Hollow makes Hashirama feel very messy, but very special. Stop talking nonsense, what exactly is your Holy Empire going to do? Come on. Lowly Sarugaki Hiyori, the 1-meter high yellow hair, opened his mouth impatiently. Hirako and others didn't care. There have always been violent factors in the Japanese world. Didn't I say? Senju Hashirama spread his hands and chuckled. I surrounded you. Of course I want to suppress you, that's it. Too arrogant. Violence Lowly couldn't bear it. Sarugaki Hiyori immediately drew his sword and rushed towards Duma. Cut him off, the snake, directly Shikai. The blade became a large knife with neatly notched blades, which was bigger than Lowly himself. Hisori, Hirako exclaimed, too impulsive. Boom, Chapter 24. Break it, play it, fall it down, kill 5 people in a flash. Advertisement next. The Masked Legion saw an amazing scene. Sarugaki Hiyori. On the surface is an extremely violent 1.3-meter Lowly, but he was originally the deputy captain of the 12th Squad. These years passed. The strength on Gode 13 is also outstanding, especially when it comes directly to Shikai. But this is Lowly. Chop the watermelon. Hoshiri rushed forward, holding Shikai's big knife, and slashing towards Hashirama like a watermelon. In the exclamation of Hiriko and others, Hashirama lazily said, "If a child is too violent, it will not be cute." Flick. A ray of light flashed away. Boom. Shocked by Hiriko and others, Zanpakuto and Hiriko instantly collapsed and exploded. Bang 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 bang. The whole person in the Japanese world turned into a streamer and flew back hundreds of meters in a flash, crashing many buildings and smashing into the ruins. History. Hiriko and others were horrified. In perception, the limit of the breath in the Japanese world is weakened, either fainting or dying. Zanpakuto, suppressed the deputy captain. What kind of strength is this? Lisa, go and see Shiri. Hiriko Shinji looked at Hashirama like an enemy and said to his side. Hey, you guys be careful. Yadomaru Lisa, the former deputy captain of the 8th Division, dressed in school uniform like a schoolgirl and ran away. Ruoshi is grumpy lowly, that Lisa is lecherous girl. Everyone in the Masked Legion has a personality, but the biggest feature is unity. So, she won't go? Senju Hashirama pointed to the other girl. What do you mean, look down on women? Kuna Mashiro glared over. Kuna Mashiro with short green hair, the former deputy captain of the 9th Division, seems innocent, but in fact very smart. Glancing at Hiriko and others who were secretly communicating, they said bluntly, "Then you really misunderstood, I just think you were weak." Damn it. The truth of Hashirama made Kuna Mashiro stare again. You hurt Shaoriri, no matter what you say today, The 9 wheels of Bakudo. Kuna Mashiro hasn't finished speaking yet. Directly released the yellow rope-shaped spirit from the fingertips and caught it toward Hashirama. You go there too. Senjuju's finger flicked again. A tiny Ryatsu bomb directly broke the rope and exploded. Fly upside down to Hisari and Lisa, the 99 prohibitions of Bakudo. At the same time, the former Kido Deputy Chief Kido, Hashijin also attacked. A large number of leather straps and nails sealed Hashirama's arms. At the same moment, Bakudo 63, lock and lock. Bakudo 75 5-pillar iron pipe. Bakudo 79 9 lures. Mugaruma Kensai, the former captain of the 9th Division, released several snake-like chains and entangled away. Love Ikawa, the former captain of the 7th Division, hit Hashirama with 5 huge iron pillars. The former captain of the 3rd Division, Atoribashi Rojiro, made 9 pitch black Ryatsu to seal the 8 sides and center of Hashirama. Do you want to seal me up? Senju Hashirama exclaimed. This is indeed a good strategy. All kinds of restraints and blockades of Kido are attacked by so many captains, gorgeous and dangerous. It's not enough. Senju Hashirama has some expectations. After all, his snap finger suppression of Rishili showed that he was strong. These Kido, even if he didn't fight back, would be able to avoid him in a flash. Unless there is something that can distract him, there is still one missed. Huh, what's the smell? Hashirama smelled a peculiar fragrance. Fall down, Nii. When various Kido were about to restrain Hashirama, and when Hashirama was about to raise his hand, Hiriko gave a low voice. In an instant. Turn upside down. At least in Hashirama's eyes, it is truly upside down. Like everything in the world, everything in all directions up, down, left, and right is completely reversed. Hashirama was also startled. Chichichichi, startled for an instant. Various Kido completely bound Hashirama, chains, nails, cloth strips, etc. all covered Hashirama's body, and he was smashed by an iron pillar. Wow, that's amazing. Under the bewilderment of Hiriko and others, Senju Hashirama seemed to have discovered the new world, and his voice was extremely pleasant. He won't be sick, will he? Mugaruma Kensai murmured. Because Hashirama is too strong. It was planned that after being bounced off by Heisei-ri, eye contact between a few people started. Step 1. Kuna Mashiro attracts Hashirama's attention. However, he was bombarded directly by Hashirama. Step 2. Love Ikawa and others release Bakudo together and ban Hashirama. But the stronger the person, the faster. It is necessary to further divert attention or weaken the strength. Step 3. Hiriko Shinji Shikai. Zanpakudo Shikai. The blade emits a fragrance. After the enemy smells it, the up and down, left and right, front and back, the direction of seeing and the direction of being slashed are all reversed in his vision. The upside-down world is extremely terrifying. All attacks are in completely opposite directions, and almost no one can remember these and then switch. Once they are hit, they will be at a complete disadvantage. Pure support ability. Extremely restrain the opponent's strength. Even a strong man who has experienced many battles will be stretched the first time he faces it, making it difficult to exert his strength. Just like in Shanghai, the Empire powerhouse released Ryatsu. For the first time, the pirates felt it was difficult to adapt. The world suddenly turned upside down. Hashirama was in a trance, then pleasantly surprised. I thought it would be boring to fight with you. After all, I am too strong now at Jushing. A little seriousness will lead to the end of the world. Advertisement. Hashirama's voice is still happy, but now it seems that you are pretty good, at least very smart, come on. Arrogant, ill, Hiriko couldn't help frowning. It would be the end of the world if he was a little serious. This was the craziest thing he had ever heard. Why don't you say that one blow will destroy the world? A fanatic who fell into the wind and was banned. Shoot. Hiriko shouted. Step 4. Open up, attack the blocked Hashirama, and fight to death. Break it, Tenguin. Love Ikawa's knife turned into a mace like an extra large cactus and flew out at high speed. Play it, Kinsaro. Otoribashi Rojiro Shikai, Zanpakuto lay flat in the air to form countless golden threads, which can control others and kill them in seconds. The ashes are gone, let's break the wind. Muguruma Kensai Shikai, the wind turned into a flickering thin line, and all the places cut by the thin line burst. Hado 33, Kengwo Pendant. Hado 63 Fiery Lightning Howl. Hachigen and Hirako Shinji, release explosive fire and thunder beam respectively. Boom. 5 attacks blasted towards Hashirama, producing a terrifying explosion and forming a mushroom cloud. There. Kurosaki Ishin glanced sideways, and suddenly felt a pain in his abdomen and snorted. Dad, little Ichigo, who was watching from a distance, exclaimed. Hitaki Tsukumo said flatly, distraction in battle is a taboo. You are right. Kurosaki Ishin got serious. On the other side, Mihawk and Ishida Longxian were playing fiercely, and Xiao Yulong was worried. Izuna squeezed the manifesta. Jiraiya quickly wiped out other parts of Karakura town and ran towards Hashirama. Wow, my teacher, Urahara Kazuki, who was watching the game from a high building, was crying like a heart-piercing one. Tessai Tsukubishi is silent, he has not recovered from Urahara Kazuki's identity. Dover smiled and said, oh, if you are seen by Lord Hashirama, you will inevitably be beaten. Did I say something? Urahara Kazuki's face was puzzled, which opened Dover's eyes. It was weird. Hashirama is located. The earth collapsed and the dust filled. Love Aikawa retracted his mace, and he smiled cheerfully and said, it should be done, so many attacks have been suffered in the banned state, even if the captain. Your captain hasn't taught you, do you want to make up? The sudden explosion made Love Aikawa's expression greatly changed, and he saw Hashirama flashed before him intact. So fast, not good. Hirako and others were shocked for a moment. Hashirama adapts to the upside-down world so quickly and is unharmed, which is amazing. Boom. Senju Hashirama grabbed Love Aikawa's Zanpakuto and crushed it directly. Kick it. This kick was so terrible that it directly kicked Love Aikawa's half-body to pieces. Do not. The next moment, Senju Hashirama came to Hachigen, I didn't feel pleasantly surprised by you, so please leave. Boom. It's another kick. Hachigen had no resistance and was kicked half of his body hard to react. Hachigen Aikawa Ra and Wu flew upside down, smashed into the distance, dying in a coma on the spot. Solved. Iron Fist cuts the wind. Muguruma Kensai opened the solution in his anger, pouring the bursting power into his fist. Go to hell. Muguruma Kensai blasted a hurricane. The hurricane formed a terrifying storm, instantly destroying all surrounding buildings, and even affected the entire Karakura town. Pure physical attack. Senju Hashirama has no interest in this type of ability. Boom. In Muguruma Kensai's shock, Senju Hashirama resembled a humanoid beast. He raised his hand and tore through the hurricane, blasting a Reiatsu beam with one punch. Muguruma Kensai destroyed half of his body directly, and flew upside down on the verge of death. Wang Ma Jiao. Damn it, how can he be so strong? Hirako Shinji was incomprehensible, and had some palpitations, and was helpless for a while. His has been solved. Not suitable for singles. Hollow. Hirako Shinji put on the mask and entered the hollow state. Solved. Kinsaro Dance Company. Odoribashi Rojuro Reiatsu erupted. The long whip Kinsara stretches infinitely, spiraling into 2 rows of weird giants. The giants only have hands and feet without a torso, and their face is in the shape of Jinhua. Boom boom boom. Like ocean currents, like volcanoes, like the music of heroes ending. This ability is good. Senju Hashirama stopped. First sound. Ocean current. Lu Shilang waved the baton in his hand. Make dancers dance around Hashirama, creating a powerful Uzumaki current to trap the enemy. Illusory. Senju Hashirama quickly analyzed the ability. This trick is actually Lu Jiro manipulating the dancers, allowing him to see the illusion of Uzumaki water flow. To be precise, it is a scam. The deception of the music department. Odoribashi Rojuro manipulated the music to echo the melody of deception in Ju's ears to capture Hashirama's heart. Opportunity. Hirako Shinji's eyes lit up. It's not that Lujiro's attack worked, but Jiraiya ran over. Solved. Chapter 25. Solving the 8 Treasures of Rebellious Evil, Quincy Ishida Ryaxian. Advertisement. Marshal. At this moment, Jiraiya came over. The reason for his arrival is to look at Hashirama's style and to report on the situation. Hashirama didn't care, either, and said casually, how is Karakura town? The second. Ring. Messenger of the volcano. Lu Shilang waved the baton in his hand, causing the dancers to raise their hands and form flames from their palms. The dancers accumulated flames in their palms and joined forces to attack Hashirama. Hey, the ability is pretty good. Jiraiya sighed and continued. All the strong in Karakura town have been found. Izuna seniors are fighting, and they have not found any special forces. There is no special note of combat power. I can only say that my army is out of luck. With a sigh of emotion, Hashirama burst the flames. How can he be so strong? Odoribashi Rojuro looked at Hashirama's attack so casually undermined him, and then recalled the previous spike, and couldn't help being horrified. He felt so weak for the first time. The music tricks after the solution, all the hallucinations of attacks, have no effect on Hashirama. Is that senior Jiraiya? Urahara Kazuki, who was looking at from the high building, recognized it, and was inexplicably surprised. For so many years, I don't know which part of the serialization of Intimate Paradise has been, okay. Ahem. When the police came to Dover to look over, Urahara Kazuki coughed lightly, What kind of love is in heaven? Senior Jiraiya should be blocked by the imperial literary world, it will spoil the children. Dover Xie smiled and said, it's boiling over, the 108th is now, and I also made a web drama. Really? Urahara Kazuki was overjoyed, and then coughed lightly. I am, not interested in these, what I want to say is. Urahara Kazuki said with a solemn expression. Jiraiya-senpai shouldn't be here at this time, Hiriko's explanation is very special. Dover looked down at the man with short blonde hair and bangs, squinting his eyes slightly, which is special. Extremely scary. Urahara Kazuki is very sure. In my opinion, as long as the strength is not much stronger than Hiriko, then as many people as they come will have to die. Huh, that's not bad. Doflamingo just feels good, not shocked. After all, the extraordinary 2-star Lan Yu, a drop of 987 blood is enough to burn mountains and boil the sea, and can be diluted and used by 10,000 people. And now Lan Yu, who is an extraordinary 7-star, a drop of blood is enough to destroy the planet. Can be diluted for use by hundreds of millions of people. Diluted, it still perfectly inherits the inheritance of various imperial spiritual power systems and unlocks abilities. So, the holy script is not valuable in the empire. Of course, the holy character is the name Lan Yu is too lazy to change, and it is accurately called, talent ability. Although Lan Yu did not madly make all the people of the empire take his blood, everyone in the imperial government, military and political parties took it. In order, it is to fill the defects of omniscience and omnipotence with countless abilities, so that Lan Yu can do anything to a certain extent. At least, in the cognition of the small galaxy, Lan Yu is the omnipotent god. Above, in the 3 realms, tens of millions of people in the imperial government have sacred scripts, so even if you choose one in a million, there are thousands of terrorist abilities. There are some abilities that make Madara amazed, and Dover naturally sees more. No matter how strong his ability is, it depends on the user. Only his own strength can shock Dover. Untie. Evil 8 Treasures Containment. Hiriko's Reiatsu exploded, and a peculiar lotus stand appeared at his feet. Although I don't know what ability it is, his Shikai ability is good, right? Senju Hashirama looked forward with a smile. Jiraiya's jaw head. It's really good, even in the Empire, it is considered the top level in support capabilities. As soon as he comes, I smelled the special scent from Hiriko Shinji Zanpakuto Shikai. In the eyes, up and down, left and right, turned upside down, in an upside down world. Although there is no power, Jiraiya is also difficult to adapt and restrict strength. Lu Shi Lang. Hiriko shouted. Lu Jiro nodded solemnly, put on a mask, and burst out all Reiatsu. The third ring. A hero's career. Lu Shiro waved his baton and played music. The dancers jumped frantically and surrounded the two of Hashirama. The third ring of Jia Jin Shiluo dance troupe. It can make the enemies who hear the music directly breathe out. To be precise, use music tricks to ultimate, forcibly taking away your opponent's heart. Ah, I'm going to die, Jiraiya exclaimed, then shuddered, and fell to the ground with a painful face. Hashirama, the actor, it's you. Lu Jiro, this. Seeing Jiraiya, near death, Hiriko Shinji stopped moving. Thus, his solution is not great. Lu Shilang chuckled. Sorry, I don't know him. Ha ha ha, lie to you. In Lu Shilang's consternation, Jiraiya stood up and jumped up and said proudly, I am also the director of a self-written, directed and acted web series. I was deceived. How come? Lu Shilang couldn't understand. His ultimate didn't kill Hashirama, even if Jiraiya was unharmed. Negative caress, turned to the lotus platform. Hiriko Shinji moved, and the lotus platform under his feet quickly turned, and he washed away the strange power within the range of Reiatsu that he had already solved. Buzz. In an instant, it swept thousands of meters. I am Shinigami, I am the enemy of the Holy Empire, I. Jiraiya murmured. Snapped. Senju Hashirama gave Jiraiya the back of his head, be sober. Woke up, Jiraiya immediately set off on Reiatsu, dispelling the peculiar power, and exclaimed. Awesome, somewhat similar to my holy script, but with essential differences. Trouble. Lujiro and Hiriko sank in their hearts. Hiriko's jealousy was the last hope for the two of them, but now, it still fails. It's not ability to restrain each other. But because the gap was too big, Hiriko's solution was forcibly cracked. Hiriko has solved. As long as the people within the scope of the solution, all cognitions are reversed. Advertisement. Including the cognition of the enemy and self will also be rebellious, so as to achieve the goal of making the enemy kill each other. Disadvantages. 1. Because the solution is too dangerous, it is forbidden to be liberated in Soul Society. 2. Not suitable for heads up. Rebellious cognition can not only cause enemies to kill each other, but also greatly weaken their opponents, which has great potential. There are too many words to recognize. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is an alternative distinguished heavenly gods, an alternative enforcement, etc., and even stronger. Therefore, Hashirama looked at Hiriko with appreciative eyes. It is undeniable that many of the ability to attack the physics department are very strong, but I prefer the ability to approach concepts, because I am also, and there are countless possibilities. Join the Holy Empire, your future should not be limited to the spiritual world. Persuade you to surrender. Hiriko Shinji was silent for a while. The Masked Legion were criminals sentenced to the death penalty by the Central Committee, and Xie Lingting could not tolerate them. Unless. Save the underling court as a hero. And make all the sages in the 46 room be updated before they have a chance to go back. But this possibility, they have waited for 100 years, the chance is still slim. Can only be hidden in this world. We haven't lost yet. As the leader, Hiroko Shinji has a different spirit. If I give up easily because my opponent is too strong, then I will look down on myself. Seeing this, Lu Shilang, who was calm and graceful, also laughed. Ha ha ha, that's it, we are not afraid of everything. Swipe. Surugaki Hiyori and Kuna Mashiro were covered in blood, Hachigan, Muguruma Kensai, Love Akawa, who had broken half of their body, and Yadomaru Lisa, who was unscathed. Come together. Except for Lisa, Kuna Mashiro and others Zanpakuto were all destroyed by Hashirama. But they are still full of momentum. Boom. When everyone put on the mask and opened hollow, Reiatsu ran away. The Masked Legion, join. Full HP resurrection. Explosive species in danger. Neither. They just stay together and never give up. They would rather stand to die than kneel down and beg for mercy. What a masked army. Senju Hashirama's eyes became more admired, and then smiled lightly. Do you think I don't know you with a mask? Masked Legion. We are not kidding. Upstairs, Dover glanced at Kazuki and smiled evilly. Do, you look nervous, are all your friends? Oh, yes. Urahara Kazuki didn't hide anything. Aizen idiot secretly planned to drive me and Hiroko out of Soul Society, but it was just what I wanted. They are no longer the captain, they don't need to fight for the stagnant court anymore, they have more choices if they are free. I just think they are alive. Boom. Senju Hashirama's Reiatsu erupts. Reiatsu turned into a beam of light and directly blasted the sky of Karakura town, revealing even the outer space. This scene makes the Masked Legion shocked. They couldn't move at all, and felt that if Reiatsu of Hashirama came over, they would die. The gap is that big. Hiroko and others were shocked. What a horror. Not only the Masked Legion, Kurosaki Isshin, Ishida Ryujin, and the performers all looked at Hashirama in horror. So far apart, they all feel suffocated. If Captain Reiatsu is restrained and turned into high-temperature possession, then Hashirama is the heroic collapse of everything. Reiatsu. Reach the limit that the world can bear. The 9-star Hashirama Reiatsu, if it is released all at once, it can instantly clean the surface. Leave it all down for me. Boom. Hashirama Reiatsu swept. The brains of Hiroko and others were blank, and they fell to the ground and passed out. Buzz. When Hashirama put away Reiatsu, I don't know how many people are relieved. Urahara Kazuki came even more quickly. Teacher, leave it to me. Hashirama nodded slightly, then gave Kazuki a strange look. Why are you so green? Jiraiya Thief smiled and said, the hat is also green. Do you like wearing green hats so much? Cough cough cough. It's white and green, not a green hat, forget it, don't bring it anymore. Thinking of words like the green hat of the Empire, Urahara Kazuki's face turned red, and he was about to fly off the white and green hat on his head. Even the dark green jacket was used, but green pants and green skirt remained. It's still so green. It's okay, green and green are healthier. Hashirama patted Urahara Kazuki on the shoulder, making Urahara Kazuki want to cry without tears. Is it wrong to like green? What is wrong is this world? The other side. Fei Lianzhao. Boom. Ishida Ryuzen hugged Ishida Ryu to avoid Mihawk's slash, and when he looked back, he saw a bottomless abyss. Father. Xiao Yulong stared at Long Xian. Isn't his father an ordinary person? Grandpa Xian is a Quincy. But Long Xian had always concealed the fact that he was a Quincy, and Xiao Yulong knew it for the first time. Stay away. Fly Xiao Yulong. Ishida Ryushuan looked at Mihawk solemnly. Are you Queen Killer too? You can't go wrong. Just now, Mihawk's movement method is Fei Lianzhao, but it seems to be more advanced. Queenskiller. With a murmur, Mihawk said coldly, this title has long been outdated in the Holy Empire. The frog at the bottom of the well. See how big the world is. Chapter 26. Yulong meets Ichigo, pretending to be ashamed. Silver thrombus arrow. Advertisement. Pin. Under Ishida Ryuxian's gaze, Mihawk took the black knife back into Naling Ring, pulled out the cross knife he was wearing, and pointed it at the dragon string. The knife is very ordinary. Not Zanpakuto. Ishida Ryujin was calm and composed, but at the moment he couldn't help being annoyed. Just use a fruit knife to deal with me. How arrogant. In Longxian's cognition, Shinigami and Quincy want to slash, and their weapons must be at least spirit blade level. A knife for cutting fruits. Who do you look down on? Mihawk said coldly. It's not a fruit knife, this is a cross knife. The steady dragon strings are also exploded. Do you think you are humorous? Holy destruction illness. Long Xian flew a light arrow moving like lightning and rushed towards Mihawk. Shock. Boom. Mihawk lifted the fruit knife, and directly split the light arrows with extremely precise accuracy, and exploded around them separately. Fei Lian feet. Ishida Ryuxian blasted out with one blow. He jumped into the air for a short while, holding the quilling cross pendant, which was a symbol of the last Quincy, and turning the quilling cross pendant into a short gray bow. Longxian aimed his short bow at Mihawk. Holy destruction. Rain of light. Longxian fired countless light arrows perpendicular to Mihawk from the air, extremely fast, like a storm sweeping the earth. The attack is quite gorgeous and magnificent. Father. The little rain dragon in the distance was shocked. This gorgeous attack made Xiao Yulong understand Longxian's words. I'm not interested, you are not talented. Ishida Ryuxian inherited all the abilities and techniques of Zongxian, but instead of becoming a quencher, he became a doctor. And he opposes Yulong, who has wanted to be a Quincy since he was a child. Therefore, Longxian is very indifferent to Yulong, even contemptuous of words, but it is a typical knife-mouthed tofu heart. Secretly caring. The bells and whistles. The rain of light was extremely gorgeous, and Yhwach used a knife to use his spiritual power. Boom boom boom. A slashing storm of spiritual power advanced from Yhwach and collided with the rain of light. The scene is magnificent. Little Ichigo, who was farther away, was stunned, and unknowingly stood with Xiao Yulong, muttering, "The arrow rain just now is so cool." "That's my father." Xiao Yulong spoke proudly. He is a clever and quiet person, but when someone is present, he tries to make himself look cooler in front of others. "Wow, your father is amazing." Little Ichigo spoke subconsciously, then hummed, "My dad is the best." Although that said, but little Ichigo feels like dreaming. What about the good everyday world? Yulong has been learning the skills of Quencher since he was a child, but Ichigo is just an ordinary person. "When I was 4 years old, I was beaten and cried by Arasawa Tatsuki in a karate dojo. At the age of 10, I have always thought that karate masters are masters. When I was 9 years old, Ichigo did not suffer from a falsehood, and his mother, Kurosaki Suzuko, did not die. Kurosaki Maki is with Kagaya. Isshin has also kept concealing his identity, leading to little Ichigo, who has never seen a supernatural power, and received a strong impact today. Your father is going to be beaten to death." Looking at the funny uncle that Ichigo pointed at, Xiao Yulong said. "Ah, Dad, don't die." Little Ichigo looked over and saw Isshin hiding everywhere with injuries. "Wait when I go back and beat you up." Kurosaki Isshin turned his head and shouted. Xiao Yulong clearly saw that Ichigo's body trembled. Xiao Yulong couldn't help being curious. "Your dad, do you often beat you?" "Often." Little Ichigo curled his lips and said, "It was hitting every day. If I was happy, I kicked, and if I was upset, I was kicked. I've been taken care of since I was a child. But I feel that you and your dad have a very good relationship." Xiao Yulong is a little envious. Fighting is pro, scolding is love. Although there is no such sentence here, what Longxian brings to him is indifference and contempt, and he doesn't even bother to scold him. Well enough. Little Ichigo didn't say much, but looked worriedly at Isshin struggling in the distance. There is no need for Shinigami. What little Ichigo didn't know was that Xiao Yulong gave Kurosaki Isshin angrily in his eyes. Now he still hates Shinigami. Boom. The light arrows continuously released by Dragon String were completely destroyed by Yhwach and disappeared instantly. Brush. As Longxian's pupils shrank, Yhwach came to him in an instant, stabbed him with a knife, and could only subconsciously raise his hand to block. Puff chick chick. 3 knives in a flash. Longxian's right hand, left leg, and right leg were pierced one after another, turning bright red into an out. If the left hand is not pressed by the right hand, then all the limbs are pierced. Piano chaotic arrows. Ishida Ryuxian's remaining right hand absorbed Reiko to condense the divine destruction. Multiple bursts. Boom. Yhwach pointed the knife to pieces, and said coldly, "Give up the most basic sacred loss, and only use the abilities developed by yourself. Do you think this is very strong?" The words are full of contempt. Ishida Ryuxian was startled. His moves were indeed developed by himself on the basis of sacred destruction. Huh. Yhwach stabbed again coldly, piercing the dragon string's right arm. Puff. All limbs were gone, and the dragon string fell to the ground. Because the knife has spiritual power, Longxian's limbs were destroyed by spiritual power, making it difficult to move. Yhwach looked down at Dragon String. "Your Majesty once said that divine destruction does not require too much development, at most it adds its own abilities. It's unsightly." Longxian was silent, seemingly gorgeous, but actually fancy. He remembered that his father Zongxian had said that the divine destruction of the ancestor of the Quincy Master was extremely pure and simple. But Longxian never liked small, medium, or large-scale sacred destruction. He didn't even like Quincy. "Father!" Xiao Yulong exclaimed and ran towards Longxian. "Advertisement. Do not come." Longxian yelled, then looked at Yhwach pleadingly. "He is still young, please let him go. If it is an ordinary child, forget it." Xiao Yulong is also a Quincy. Longxian can't guarantee whether Yhwach will make a move. Reiatsu passed away in a flash. The little rain dragon fainted in the distance. At this moment, a bright arrow came out from Longxian's hand. Too fast. This arrow is almost ultimate. Puff. An arrow hit the body. Yhwach's eyes narrowed slightly. The blood suit. What made Yhwach even more interested was that the exhausted dragon string suddenly got up and kicked it over. Wow. Yhwach was kicked, but turned over in midair and landed, gliding in place for tens of meters, looking up at the dragon string, still cold. This arrow is good. Pretending to be ashamed. Longxian ignored Yhwach. Turn Link C into silk thread and wrap it around your hands and feet to make yourself move. Pretending to be ashamed. Advanced Quincy skills. Think of your body as a puppet. Even if your hands and feet are no longer able to move, you can use Link C silk thread to force your limbs to move and fight to the last minute. Tell me, the purpose of the Empire. Ishida Ryuxian walks indifferently. Yhwach. Don't move rashly. Although you are not sure whether you are a quintil or not, you have the essence of a quintil. This arrow is enough to seal the power characteristics of the ancestor of the Quincy, and seal all the strength of the Quincy under the ancestor. Seal. Yhwach looked down at the huge barb-like arrow in his abdomen. Very peculiar. Ishida Ryuxian did not hide anything, Last year, many mixed blood quintessences were deprived of all their lives and powers. Do you know what this means? The ancestor of the Quincy is about to wake up. He used, holy, to kill the Quincy to recover, among which, including my wife. This year Xiao Yulong is 10 years old. Last year, when Yulong was 9 years old, the ancestor of the Quincy erased the quintessentially to carry out the ethnic cleansing actions and restore his own power. This race cleanup operation caused Yulong's mother to become unconscious and tragically died 3 months later. Ishida Ryaxian continued. I used the silver thrombus in the remains of many mixed blood quintessences who died by the sacred to seize the power and cast a special silver arrow. With the power characteristics of temporarily sealing the ancestor, it is more useful under the ancestor. Named silver thrombus arrow. Mihawk's eyelids twitched. He couldn't understand why Ishida Ryaxian said this. Moreover, Long Xian put on a pair after finishing talking. I'm done talking, it's up to you. This is the spirit world rules. That's a lot of nonsense. Mihawk stood up calmly, and said coldly, too much nonsense and not making up for the knife or your weaknesses. He doesn't make up the knife. I want to see Longxian's performance, but if Longxian doesn't make up his sword, it is a strategic error. Boom. Terrible Reiatsu blooms. Mihawk said Reiatsu all over his body, turning into a slash, tearing the ground apart. Are you okay? Ishida Ryaxian was astonished for the first time. Regardless of whether Mihawk is a Quinkez or not, it has Quinkez characteristics. Even the power of Mihawk can't be sealed. Talking about how to seal the ancestor of the Quincy exterminator. As I said, the Quincy is outdated a long time ago, not to mention. Mihawk drew out the silver thrombus arrow and flew, and said flatly, external force, I want to seal the ancestor, then the ancestor in your mouth is too ridiculous. Brush. Mihawk came in an instant. Slash in a flash. Cut off all the threads of the messy pretending to be ashamed, and Ishida Ryaxian was paralyzed on the ground again. If you want revenge, join the Empire, I only say it once. Mihawk closed his knife and turned around. Cool to leave. Vengeance to the ancestor. Ishida Ryaxian gave a wry smile. I thought that he could defeat Yuha and avenge his wife on his own, but now. He who doesn't even know a name is obviously not a figure at the top of the empire. If he easily defeats him, he is entitled to revenge. Crescent Moon Sky Chong. In the distance, Kurosaki Isshin shouted. Reiatsu on Zanpakuto turned into a crescent-shaped blade and flew out of the blade to attack Hatake Tsukumo. This knife. Extremely brilliant. Good job. It was the first time to feel a touch of crisis. Hatake Tsukumo was awe-inspiring, and he drew his sword and slashed. Sword crushes 16. It is not a 10 6-path slash, but a 16-fold increase in the sword slash. Boom. The two slashes erupted in Karakura town with a terrifying roar and turned into a wave of energy to rise into the sky. Aroused the attention of Hashirama and others in the distance. Isshin and Tsukumo retired as soon as they touched. The two flew together for hundreds of meters. Chi-chi-chi-chi. Many small scars appeared on Hatake's body, and he recovered in no time. Hoo-ha-hoo. Kurosaki Isshin gasped, ignoring the wound on his body, raised his head and said solemnly, I didn't think that Crescent Moon could not solve you. You are the strongest opponent I have ever fought. Shuamao was silent. He was amazed by Isshin. The 8-star Shuamao was wounded by a small captain class. Ling Shuamao. There is a sense of immediacy of encountering Might Guy in the parallel time and space of the Empire Ninja world. Parallel time and space, Jonin Might Guy, a young man, exploded and collided with Uncle Ban. There is also a miracle in Isshin. You can only use that trick. Kurosaki Isshin was solemn. Victory or not, Isshin doesn't care, he just wants to fulfill his responsibilities as Shinigami. Kurosaki Isshin burst out. My cut. Absolutely invincible. Chapter 27. Kurosaki Isshin. The Last Crescent Sky Clash. The Surgery Ender. Advertisement. Boom. Boom. Kurosaki Isshin Reiatsu paved the way to the sky, and with each step, Reiatsu is strong. It caused the soul to roar and the atmosphere vibrated. Dad. This scene. In the eyes of little Ichigo, it was like a god descending to the world, and in Karakura town Ichigo's house, two little loli were stunned. Kurosaki summer pair, Kurosaki Yuzu. Ichigo's two younger sisters also looked up at Isshin who rushed into the sky, feeling that the worldview had collapsed. In the eyes of three children, Kurosaki Isshin has always been a careless man who loves precious treasures. He is funny every day, often attacking Ichigo unexpectedly, and this has caused a lot of trouble to his family. But now, Isshin, who is walking through the sky, has a serious expression and a palpitation that is cleansed all over. This guy, the lying dead Ishida Ryujin narrowed his eyes slightly. He knows Isshin naturally, knowing that Kurosaki Suzuko is his fiancé. But he married Isshin. As for Kurosaki Shinsaki, the mother of Ichigo's original locus, Ishida Ryujin also has a deep memory. The two Quincy families are going to marry. It is profound. When I first met Kurosaki Maki when I was a child, I met a woman with long light blue and white hair and crimson eyes with terrible pressure on her body. It is the strongest existence Longxian has ever seen. Take away Kurosaki Masaki from his childhood. Kurosaki Suzuko was left. The Ishida family, married to the Kurosaki family, the two, August 17, Chishi, but when they grew up, they broke off contact because of Isshin's appearance. Holy killing. Hatake Tsukumo came to the sky, drew his sword and slashed, slashing with gorgeous arrows, full of sharpness. Burn it, Lu Yu. Ishin condensed a large number of Reiatsu to release flames on the sword, and manipulated the flames to explode. Boom. There was a crash. Kurosaki Ishin retreated, pressing the hot Zanpakuto in his hand, and said, "For months, don't resist, this is my only chance." Buzzing. Zanpakuto sword Moon nade. Moon resists Ishin's decision, resists Ishin's power to abandon it. Buzz. Hiyu nade again, and finally reluctantly gave up resistance. Chi. Under Sakumo's gaze, Zanpakuto Tsuki and Kurosaki Ishin's right hand merged. The moment of fusion. Boom. Boom. The terrible Reiatsu appeared from Kurosaki Ishin like a volcanic eruption. Reiatsu went straight into the sky. In Karakura Town Wine, the black Reiatsu light rain was even more palpitating. What is this ability? Jiraiya couldn't help but stared. His Reiatsu is more than 10 times stronger. So broke out. He was only seen when the Might Guy in the parallel world played 8 inner gates formation, a crazy explosion. Zanpakuto merged with the right hand. Izuna, who was fighting against the manifestation surgeon, narrowed his eyes with a startling glance. There is even this kind of operation. As one of the few people in the Empire with Zanpakuto, Izuna is also an eye-opener. 7 stars. No, 8 stars. Senju Hashirama was full of admiration. In an instant, Reiatsu reached the 8-star limit, several dimensions beyond the ordinary Captain Shinigami. The Masked Legion will not. This proves that Kurosaki Ishin's moves are like the 8 inner gates of the Empire Ninja world, which is extremely difficult to learn. Ishin's outburst, even with Urahara Kazuki couldn't help but be astonished. This guy hides so deeply, is it the protagonist? The word protagonist. It has been in the Empire for a long time, and it is the world's great fortuner and the darling of the times. If there is no imperial influence, it is bound to reach the top of the world. He is the protagonist, his dad. Lan Yu murmured while looking sideways. Kurosaki Ishin, but one of Ichigo's plugins, especially the 2 stunts he taught, makes Ichigo invincible. The crescent moon and the sky before were amazing. But it is not enough. Now, enough. Kurosaki Ishin yelled, and the violent Reiatsu almost burst him, exuding an aura like an ancient beast. Hatake Sakumo exclaimed, "I thought it was an ordinary captain-level Shinigami, but I didn't expect you to be the biggest surprise in the world." Surprise? No. Kurosaki Ishin became cold. When I merge with Zanpakuto, I will have an unstoppable combat capability. Giving despair to any opponent. Yes. Hatake Sakumo agrees slightly. What kind of style should such a momentum have? Bring it on. One shot to decide the victory. Sakumo's blue Reiatsu is also erupting, and Ishin's pitch-black Reiatsu appears one blue and one black in the sky. Karakura town and the surrounding cities. One after another quieted down. Countless people watched and held their breath. How horrible. Feel the shock of Saku Shigeru and Reiatsu, Kurosaki Ishin, who are at the same level after he exploded. So, were you playing with him before? Senju Hashirama whispered, "Sakumo is the trump card of my army." Jiraiya nodded seriously. Today's Shuamao is also 8 stars. Kei Shuamao's holy text. Increase. Few people in the Empire can make Shuamao explode 10 times or even dozens of times anytime and anywhere. Sakumo is also the only person in the Empire who, besides Lan Yu, could use Reiatsu to shake his class to death. Because it can increase Reiatsu. An instantaneous increase of dozens of times Reiatsu, alive to the same level to death. Can't wait any longer. Feeling that Shumo has a lot of energy left, Kurosaki Ishin gathered all his strength and burst out. The last crescent moon rushes into the sky. All Reiatsu. Release all at this moment. A slash that was incomparably black and grand as a tsunami, covered the sky and covered the sun. Advertisement. Boom. In an instant, the sky tore. The monstrous shady covers Karakura town and the surrounding city sky. This blow shows the power beyond the Shinigami dimension. So strong. Urahara Kazuki held his breath. This move is gorgeous and simple, but he has never seen such a move. Like a lake, it was drawn time and time again and fell in the city without any impact. If the lake water, it would be no small disaster to dump them all in the city at once. The last crescent moon is to release all Reiatsu at once. This trick is too difficult. If the previous, crescent moon sky clash, was amazing, then the current, crescent moon sky clash, is a great horror. To release all Reiatsu at once, even Mr. Hashirama can't do it. Hatake Sakumo felt the fatal crisis, and the last crescent moon rushed like a terror caused by countless attacks. Sword pressure 99. The name of the move is the same as the class, but it is a combination of 99 swords in one blow. And Shuo Mao. It is a 99 times increase in one blow. 99 times is also the limit of Sakumo's current increase, even with Reiatsu. Boom. The same tearing the sky. The two slashing slashes collided together, sending out a roar that teared countless people's eardrums. The whole canopy, completely torn apart. It even triggered a grand and incomparable energy tide, spreading the cracks in the sky for many miles. If it weren't for fighting in the sky, then the entire Karakura town and many surrounding cities will be shattered. Boom. The sky is full of shattered scenes, and the aftermath continues to roar and vibrate like apocalypse. As the last crescent moon rushing, he is better than me. Mihawk spoke affirmatively. Not to mention other things, Kurosaki Ishin's final crescent rush, Mihawk felt that his knife couldn't stop it at all. Brush. A figure fell on the ground. 0. So strong. Jiraiya looked at it, a little surprised. Hitachi Sakuma was completely split in half of his body, and his whole body was filled with dense bloodstains, like a blood man. This is the first time Shumao has suffered such severe injuries since joining the empire. Hitachi Sakuma stood there calmly, looked forward calmly, and said a word. Reiatsu's increase is no victory. I lost. Wow. The soldiers of the empire were in an uproar. The 8 stars of the realm, the Imperial Army Admiral Hitachi, who was on the Imperial high-level battle platform, was defeated. A figure fell from the sky. Dad, little Ichigo exclaimed, and ran over quickly, his eyes rushing. Isshin really looked too miserable. Although he didn't break his hands or feet, he was bloody and hard to move on the ground, as if he was dead. Dad, don't die, Dad, wake up and take me. Puff, cough, don't curse me. Unexpectedly, Kurosaki Isshin flew the little Ichigo with one kick, and then lay on the ground with big words and gasped for breath. As Shinigami's responsibility, I tried my best, Captain. Kurosaki Isshin couldn't help laughing as he said, I have become a waste again, so that I don't need to fight anymore. I have a silly son and 2 daughters, ha 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 ha. What's so funny? It's fine if you don't die. Little Ichigo breathed a sigh of relief. I see. Hitachi Sakuma felt Isshin. It was discovered that all of Isshin's strength had disappeared, just like an ordinary person. As Shinigami, fight for Soul Society. As a father, don't fight for your family. Loyalty is a dilemma, so, the heart used the last crescent moon and sky. The last crescent moon. Use it once and you will lose all of Shinigami's power. Isshin who lost Shinigami's power. There is no need to worry about the linking cord anymore, now he is just an old father who wants to protect his family. Talent. Senju Hashirama walked over and sighed. Ahem, sir, leave him and Longxian to me. Urahara Kazuki was a little embarrassed. Hashirama patted Kazuki on the shoulder. Let's talk about how many of your good friends are in this world. Absolutely, it's gone. Urahara Kazuki immediately shook his head. 0.1. He has rescued Tessai Tsukubishi, Masked Legion, and Kurosaki Isshin, so he can't ask for anything else. Kazuki is very clear. This is war, not playing house. Of course, these people are mainly talents, otherwise Kazuki will say nothing. Those are sure to have nothing to do with you. Senju Hashirama pointed to the distance and asked. Kazuki looked over and shook his head suddenly. I don't know. That's it. Senju Hashirama looked at the distance for a few moments, but it didn't seem to catch his eye, so he said flatly, since you are okay, you are rebelling against the empire. Then kill them all. Always kill the chickens and curse the monkeys. And in the distance, Uchiha Izuna stood with a knife. Several people around were lying in a pool of blood, completely lost their breath. Only 2 men stood. Jackie, Tongzi, Hans, are all dead. With black slightly curly hair, the big man with a book that looks very elegant murmured, and then looked to his side. Kongo, what do you think? Hearing this, Yincheng Kongwu's face was full of indifference. The dead waste is not worthy of attention, is it? Of course it is. Tsukishima Hidekiro looked at Izuna and smiled coldly, but this strong man from the empire, but even we have to kill. In this world, the one who has finished the spell. Chapter 28. The world view collapses. Izuna vs Silver City and Moon Island, kill. Advertisement. Complete manifestation. Some people with special human spiritual abilities with virtual power. Their relatives were assaulted by the phantom before they were born, and the power of the phantom stayed on the mother and passed on to them when they were born. A person with this ability is called a person who is full of manifestation. Perfection is a kind of technical ability. Control the soul of other objects. The representative figures are the 2 people in front of Izuna, Tsukishima Hidekiro and Ginjo Korgo. Listen to your tone, full of indifference and ruthlessness, and. Looking at the 2, Izuna's tone was extremely flat and dropped 2 words. Ignorance. Hearing that, Yincheng Kongwu was even more indifferent. I admit that you are very strong, and that the empire is very strong, but you look down on us too much. You are nothing more than a Shinigami, and I haven't killed it. Izuna has Zanpakuto. The essence is indeed Shinigami, but the system of the empire has changed over the years, and this name has become history like the Quincy. Really, I can feel the power of Shinigami that has not completely dissipated in you. Izuna's gaze fell on Ginjo Kogo, with a weak Shinigami power. Tsukishima smiled while holding a book. Yes, Sorigo used to be Shinigami's agent. Ginjo Kogo. First-generation agent Shinigami, and later deliberately abandoned his position to hide the recruits in the world, and use each other's power. Tsukishima Hidekiro. Adopted by Kogo when he was young, he trusts Kogo, the leader of Execution's first generation. Execution. An organization of those who have completed the present. Under the original trajectory, the real purpose of Execution is to absorb Kurosaki Ichigo's power of manifestation for its own use. And now, Ichigo is still a child, and 07 Execution's goal is not him, but he has been organized. Except for 2 people, many people in the original trajectory, such as Poison Peak Liluka, have not yet joined, but those who have joined Zune's Tongzi and others have already died under Izuna. Currently lying in a pool of blood. But the death of his companion ushered in the indifference of Yincheng and Tsukishima. These are just rubbish. Yincheng is cautious in doing things, and will do whatever it takes to achieve the goal. Once the other party and even his companions lose their value, they will immediately abandon or even kill. Moon Island, raised by Silver City, is even more ruthless. Those who don't obey will be punished physically, and countless are destroyed by their own hands. Byakuya Kuchiki commented. A shameless person who takes away the fetters of others without taking action personally, fools the enemy and acts extremely despicably, and deserves to die. Two people. One is colder than the other. But they are dependent on each other. After all, Moon Island was raised by Yincheng, and he was regarded as a foster father. This pair of father and son was absolutely perfect. The strong from the Empire can tell me about you. Tsukishima Hidekiro took the book, ignoring the corpse of his companion, and walked towards Izuna. Puff. At this moment, Ginjo Kogo took the Zanpakuto cross gallows in his hand and directly inserted it into his companion Schwanzawa Kiriko. Instead of attacking himself, but instead plugging in his dead companion, Izuna couldn't help frowning. Performance surgery, transformation in the early stage. After the insertion, Yincheng started to transform. There is more armor like a skeleton on his body. Moon Island. Yincheng gave a low cry. A strange power from the knife swept through Yudeo's body, making Yudeo smile even more terrifying. Deprived of gifts, Izuna sensed the transfer of power. The Great Sword of Silver City can deprive other performers of the power of the magic. After turning on the first stage of transformation, you can distribute the power of the magical effect that you have gained to other performers. When speechless, a pocket watch appeared in Tsukishima's hand. It was the magical power of Misawa Tongzi deprived of by the Silver City, and the pocket watch was the medium. Directly on Izuna, time without evidence. A time limit mechanism can be set to allow items to change at the same time when they exceed the set time limit, and a certain time range limit can be set for people and objects. If it is something that is set with a time-limited mechanism and attempts to break the set time rules, it will be burned out by the flames of time. Shit. At the same time, Silver City swung out a slash with a huge sword and attacked Izuna directly. Boom. Izuna Reiatsu passed away in a flash. Silver City's slash immediately collapsed, and Tsukishima was equally shocked. Click. The time-limited mechanism is crushed strongly. The pocket watch is cracking. This scene made Tsukishima and Ginjo unbelievable. Not only did they use Reiatsu to destroy the attack, but they also destroyed the pocket watch and time-type abilities. Although shocked, but the two quickly recovered their calm. The ending technique, the Book of End. The medium of Tsukishima's ability is bookmarks, turning bookmarks into a samurai sword that can chop everything. Bai exists. Moon Island slashed towards Izuna. Performance surgery second stage transformation. Ginjo's body shape changed sharply, like a skeleton possessed, and he entered a state like Shinigami Bankai, and looked at Izuna as his strength surged. Sero. Silver City fired Sero from the accumulation of the two-handed sword blade. Slightly, Izuna raised his hand and collapsed Sero, and said flatly, "Your power is messy, it's really unsightly." Compared to Shinigami, Shu, and Quincy, the person who completes the modernization is a kind of upgraded system that is not up to and down. If it is really big, will the captain not care? If it is really strong, will he hide in the gutter and calculate this and that? Your ability is good. Izuna looked at Moon Island again. Then feel desperate. How is it possible? At the moment, Moon Island was sweating profusely, and his eyes were full of shock and horror. As if I saw it. Absolutely unbelievable shocking things. Run. Tsukishima Hidekiro snarled in horror. Korgo, I'm blocking him, you run. Silver City, who was just about to continue attacking, couldn't help being shocked. He had never seen Tsukishima like this. It seemed to be shocked. Even Yuanlujai is not enough to scare Moon Island like this. Is it? Advertisement. Central entering existence. Without hurting the opponent, you can clip your own existence into the opponent's past, change the opponent's memory, and also know what the hacked person knew before buying the point. Clamp in, rewrite, and no. You don't need to cut, you just need to cut. Therefore, Tsukishima was activated when he used the intervening existence and slashed towards Izuna. Izuna also noticed it, but it didn't stop it, so Yudeo successfully bought it. Before he could rewrite anything, he saw the terrifying memory. Ninja World, Skyline, Qinghai Realm, the heavens and the world. 8-star Extinction Continent, 9-star Washing Ground, Transcendent Realm, Start of Star Burst. The 4 armies of the Empire, 5 stars at the bottom. His Majesty the Emperor of the Holy Empire, the depth is unfathomable, and thousands of galaxies are broken with his finger. Fear. Great horror. Tsukishima Hidekiro's 3 views and world views completely collapsed at this moment. Not to mention the Holy Empire, Uchiha Izuna, the 8-star limit, is definitely not something they two scum can resist. There is only despair left in my heart. Run away. Tsukishima burst out, and Reiatsu exploded, trying to affect Izuna's memory. Fight for an escape opportunity for Silver City. The indifferent person, the last pure land in his heart. Izuna was unaffected at all, as Tsukishima tried to split his eyes, drew his sword and cut instantly. Slash through the void. In a flash, Gincheng Kogo passed. What a gallows. What medium cross necklace. What a second stage transformation. What the heart of Reiatsu. All were torn directly under this random cut. In the blood enters and disappears. Yincheng Kongo, die. Seeing the death of Ginjo, Tsukishima Hidekiro was in grief, and even his mental will was greatly stimulated and he vomited blood directly. Emotionally spitting blood, we can see how much Yudeo depends on Silver City. Dead, he is dead. Yu Dao's eyes became hollow, and it was hard on the ground, like a zombie. No, he is not dead. Uchiha Izuna walked to the Silver City and raised his hand to grab it. If you die in this world, there is a high probability that the soul will go to Soul Society. Moon Island's eyes lit up. Can see a more painful scene. Crack. Izuna smashed the soul of Silver City directly. In the original trajectory, Ginjo was killed by Ichigo, and Tsukishima vomited blood in grief, and was rescued by Shiokawahara. And the dead Silver City came to Rukongai and started a new life. But the Imperial Army has iron laws. To kill a person must make a knife, and the soul must die. You are so cruel. Tsukishima Hidekiro's eyes were red, and he looked at Izuna with great resentment. Thank you for the compliment. Uchiha Izuna doesn't care, and kills must kill thoroughly, otherwise there will be hidden dangers. You are here too. Great dark sky. Without waiting for Tsukishima to struggle or escape, Izuna's body was washed away with the pitch-black Reiatsu, and Tsukishima was directly enveloped. 140. Ultimate darkness. Swallow Moon Island to the end. The vitality is cut off, the soul is not over. Tsukishima Hidekiro, die. FK. Senju Hashirama clapped his hands and walked in admiration. Wow, Izuna is getting cooler and cooler. If Ben sees it, he will definitely be happy. Leave me alone. Izuna glanced at Hashirama. Although he is admiral of the Imperial Army, he is also a subordinate of Hashirama. But it is also the same generation. Izuna has always been lukewarm to Big Brother's follower Hashirama. Ahem. Senju Hashirama gave a light cough, then solemnly shouted at the soldiers. The whole army listens to the order, speed up the victory of the world. Yes, Marshal. In the space mezzanine, the Imperial Marine, Air Force, and Holy Soldiers withdrew their gazes. I've been watching the army fight before. Basically understand what the combat power of the high level in the spirit world is. Lan Yu looked at the Empire Marine and said, Madara, let's go. Yes, Your Majesty. Uchiha saluted Madara and turned to look at the Imperial Marines. Imperial Marine, set out. Invading the spirit world is an extraordinary game and movie for Lan Yu. Did not choose to attack at the same time. Attack one by one. Conan's eyes flickered brightly, and said softly, Your Majesty, when will the holy soldiers be dispatched? No hurry, let that guy be happy for 2 days. Lan Yu looked at the country in the shadow of Xiaolingting, somewhat surprised. It was even more than 10 years early to recover. However, it was just right. Uzumaki Kushina couldn't help saying, Your Majesty, let my air force go. I'm going to save Sister Kagaya. What to save? Lan Yu flicked Kushina's forehead with his fingers, and opened his mouth under the sister's nozzle. Your sister Kagaya is doing well, you see. Huh, what to look at? Kushina looked at the projection screen. I saw the figure of Orochimaru appearing next to Urahara Kazuki, and there was also a beautiful scenery of guy who disappeared in a flash. Went to other places in Karakura town. Ah, it's Kagaya's sister. Hey, why is there a little loli next to him? Chapter 29. 7th Division Captain Rukia, Kagaya take Inoue or Hime. Advertisement. The Imperial Army swept the world. The execution was shattered. After the Masked Legion, the Ishida family, the Kurosaki family, etc. were managed by Urahara Kazuki, the Imperial Army had no further obstacles. Currently banned by Lan Yu. Hōgyoku Mundo, and Soul Society cannot come to this world if they are not in the Transcendental Realm, nor in the Grandmaster space. Urahara Kazuki had just handled the affairs of Hiroko and others, and was about to join the army to participate in the war. A figure blocked Kazuki. You don't have to go to battle in the world. Orochimaru, wearing gold glasses, looked at Kazuki eagerly. Join the Academy of Sciences, there is your future. Senior Orochimaru. Urahara Kazuki couldn't help but be overjoyed. Originally, Kazuki did not know why he fell in love with scientific research, but he entered the empire at the age of 8. The reason is simple. Due to the rules set by Lan Yu, in the long life, everyone must have their own hobbies, so as not to lose humanity. So, Madara took Aizen and Kazuki to the casino, disco, medical school, etc., to see what the two students like. Result. Aizen fell in love with calligraphy and is still a special calligraphy teacher at the Spiritual Arts Academy. Kazuki fell in love with scientific research and founded the Technology Development Bureau, which continues to this day. The scientific enlightenment was started by Kazuki being taken by Hashirama to the Academy of Sciences. So Kazuki respected. Senior Orochimaru, I am willing to join the Academy of Sciences. Orochimaru Ruya smiled. Don't inherit your teacher's mantle. Ahem. Kazuki kept coughing, and then seriously said, I can't bear the word Empire Gambling God, only the teacher deserves it. Empire Gambler, Empire Dance King. When Kazuki and Aizen knew the true title of their teacher, they were shocked. Then they were also desperate. Kazuki won't talk about it, it doesn't matter if you bet too occasionally, just for entertainment. But you asked me Aizen to dance, I really can't stand Aizen, ladies in the hall. When the army came to this world, I was there and saw your performance. Very wise in combat, but what attracts me the most is your black cloak, which can completely hide Reiatsu, which is really good. Orochimaru's words are full of admiration. In his opinion, Urahara Kazuki is definitely a scientific research genius, and an innovative genius. This is exactly what the Imperial Academy of Sciences lacks, because many technologies have developed to a certain degree and have fallen into a deadlock. There is an urgent need for innovation. The black cloak is just a little toy. Speaking of invention, Urahara Kazuki is very confident. I have invented a lot of things over the years. Kazuki couldn't wait to show it to Orochimaru. Senior Orochimaru, come with me, and I will show you. Kazuki took Orochimaru away. Over the years, he has forgotten how many things Kazuki has invented, but there is a lot of value. Black cloak. Hide Reiatsu. Portable prosthesis. Stand in. Transform the divine body. Force Zanpakuto to materialize, which greatly increases the chance of self-solving. Flying carpet. Fly in any direction according to the host's wishes. There are also soul foreign body extraction medium, Hōgyoku, Anti-Ling Zong liquid no sore A, Anti-Ling spraying Ling X, electromagnetic tonic pill small ball B, special spirit knife. Special playgrounds, special training grounds, transforming watches, turning pillars, restoration medicine, righteous soul pill, Reiatsu isolation type righteousness, projection computer, invisibility cloth, suppression of hollow type righteousness, shadow medicine, etc. It is said that the Zero Division has contributed a lot. Urahara Kazuki also contributed greatly. Of course, the members of the Zero Division are all pioneers in their respective fields, and Kazuki is also innovating again on certain foundations. Seeing Kazuki join the Academy of Sciences and take Orochimaru to see the invention without even thinking about it, Hashirama was in a daze. Oh, suddenly, Hashirama squatted on the ground and started crying, tears streaming down her eyes. Seeing this, Jiraiya was a little at a loss. Master Hashirama, don't cry, I will go and bring Xiaosuke back. No, do not want. Hashirama said with tears in his eyes, this is tears of excitement. Kosuke has finally grown up, and finally someone can see it. Jiraiya was speechless. Weeping and crying, Hashirama laughed. Xiaosuke was admired by the Academy of Sciences, very good, but Shaoran who loves calligraphy seems to have no characteristics. Madara will be jealous of me, ha 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 ha. Jiraiya couldn't laugh or cry. What's the comparison? Aizen can stay in the army without joining other departments. Huh, idiot. Uchiha Madara hurriedly glanced at the projection screen, leading the Imperial Marine on the journey. The eyes of Lan Yu and others fell on the other corner of the projection screen. A corner of Karakura town. This is regarded as the poorest place in Karakura town, and it is regarded as a small village in the city. It's terrible outside. Brother will have an accident. No, no. When will brother be back? In a very ordinary room, sitting on her knees is a little girl with light orange long hair, with bangs and eyebrows, about 10 years old. The little girl's eyes were full of worry, her hands clenched tightly, and she kept whispering and praying. Various battles in Karakura town. There was a roar, and the sky tore many times, which made the little girl very scared. She is not afraid of her own accident. She is really afraid of something wrong with her brother. My mother sells yin, my father is also a devil, and my parents are assholes. The little girl was born in a discordant family, and her parents have serious violent tendencies. Because the parents often violently confront the siblings, the 15-year-old brother of the older girl began to take full responsibility for taking care of her. When the little girl was 3 years old, her elder brother took her away from her parents and depended on each other outside. Although the life is not very good, but the little girl who is far away from the devil's parents grows up happily but happily, innocent and lovely, loves peace, and can always bring ease and joy to the people around. You have wicked parents, but you have a brother who loves you very much. The soul is pure, but too weak. Who? The sudden sound made the little girl need not be surprised, her eyes widened as soon as she turned her head. A tall woman with long light blue and white hair and crimson eyes, like a goddess came to the world. Advertisement. Standing by her side was a beautiful girl with short winged hair and a petite black-haired girl with a knife on her body. Where the two women go? There is no need to do anything, and all have a noble temperament. You, who are you? The little girl is a little nervous, but her bright eyes are full of curiosity. The big sister is so beautiful, and the young lady is so cute. The black-haired beautiful girl ignored the little girl, but was puzzled. Teacher, why can she see me? She is Shinigami, a life body with a very high concentration of Link C, in other words a soul body with a very high intensity. This little girl can't even feel the spiritual power, how do you look at her? I see. The black-haired beautiful girl asked and answered, her eyes admired. The teacher let her see me, the teacher is the best. Kagaya slightly foreheaded, and then smiled lightly. Don't learn from your Yoruichi, what's the best, low-key, you know. Rukia smiled and nodded, recalling the past. Robin brought Wei Zhen and Rukia back from Rukongai 78 area. Rewrite the life of the sisters. Fei Zhen no longer suffers from abandoning Rukia, and Rukia no longer grows up alone. Because he showed his talent since childhood, he was accepted as a student by Kagaya. Now, Rukia, captain of the 7th Division. Fei Zhen, deputy captain of the 7th Division. Because Kagaya once swept the top 10 captains, among them was Kuchiki Silver Bell, which made Kuchiki's family face lost. So, 20 years ago, Byakuya Kuchiki believed that he was strong enough to challenge Kagaya, wanting to regain face for the family. Of course, Byakuya's blood was on his head at that time, and he was a bit rebellious, regardless of Yinling's obstacles, and went straight to the battle book. Annoyed Yoruichi on the spot. Okay, this kid who has been beaten up by himself since he was a child dares to challenge the teacher. But Kagaya stopped Yoruichi and let Rukia play, and Hyjin also played. Sister Rukia. Defeat Byakuya Kuchiki. This result makes Byakuya a little skeptical of life. He has been autistic for more than 10 years and has only recovered in recent years, calm. It is said that the strength is one step closer. But Sister Rukia also held the post of captain and deputy captain of the 7th squad. Teacher, why are you looking for her? Rukia glanced at the little girl, but her perception couldn't help but perceive Karakura town. Compared to the little girl, the Imperial Army is the most curious thing about Rukia, and I don't know if His Majesty is there. Different from Yoruichi, the princess of Shihuan family, Kagaya only informed her specific identity after many years of training. Rukia and Feijun came from Rukongai, and on the day they were brought back by Robin, they were cultivated as citizens of the Empire. Rukia naturally yearns for the Empire, and even the Great Holy Empire, His Majesty. Eyes. Kagaya stroked Rukia's hair and said, concubine is looking for someone, never looking at talent or character, because concubine's self-confidence can teach well. Just like her, she has a relationship with her concubine. Coming. Here we go again. In the space mezzanine, the eyelids of Lan Yu, Kushina, Conan, etc. who were watching the projection slightly twitch. Kagaya's Yuyin concubine body is still one of the 10 unsolved mysteries of the Empire, but the girls who have been found have grown up. Let's go with my concubine. Kagaya went straight to the subject and walked to the little girl. The concubine body will train you. First, get rid of your weak temperament, Orihime. You, do you know me? Kagaya's spring breeze smile made Inoue Orihime very warm. I'm sorry, the first time my concubine saw you, she subconsciously read your past. Although she has eyes, Kagaya is not a random selection of people, she will first explore the soul memory. The memory of Inoue Orihime before the age of 3 is a bit vague, but each segment makes Kagaya angry. Parents are not things. Had it not been for Orihime's 15-year-old brother Inoue to take care of him, Orihime would definitely be miserable. May be sold. Kagaya's frankness shocked Orihime. My past. You. Explaining will waste a lot of time. Is it? Kagaya took Inoue Orihime's hand. Don't worry, your brother will be fine. You will see it in 10 days at most. Really? Great. Hearing that the elder brother is okay, the little Orihime smiled happily and purely. Thank you, big sister, and thank you, little sister. Hearing this, Rukia said calmly. She easily believes in others, and being too kind is not a good thing. Kagaya's forehead. Kindness can be, but not the virgin. But this is not a big disadvantage. As long as Kagaya is cultivated, Haki will rise naturally. Kagaya hugged Orihime and said, let's go, if you leave Tillington for too long, the old man will doubt it. Rukia is puzzled. Teacher, why don't you directly challenge the old man and win the position of captain? The concubine doesn't like to fight and kill. Rukia said she learned it. Kagaya took the 2 daughters, turned and left the world, returning to the jingling court. The human breath of little Orihime, Kagaya is easily rewritten as Rukongai soul. Is it gone? Seeing Kagaya walking directly, Kushina was surprised at the screen, and then chuckled. It seems that Sister Kagaya has lived well in the spiritual world, and there are students again. That girl is so cool and cute. It's really cute. Lan Yu somewhat agrees with Chuang. If Rukia is cute, then sisters Rukia and Hyjin are so cute. Sisters, and looks like 99%. Flowers like twin sisters. Loved love. Chapter 30. Espada, the Holy Empire Marine, invade the virtual circle. Advertisement. Spirit world. Ethnic division. Humans, souls, Shinigami, void, Arankar, masks, Quincy, blame people, own souls, man-wolves, full manifestations. Except for humans. The rest are special races under the same soul or even multiple mutations, all with their own characteristics. Cut boundaries. Between the Soul Society and the present world, several severed spaces overlap each other, a space surrounded by the rapids of time. The time density is 2,000 times that of the outside world. In the past, Shinigami was often used as a place for prisoners to be exiled. Also, in order to prevent the invasion of foreign enemies, the boundary is often full of flows that block the movement of the spirit body, and the giant insect scavengers, dogs, that appear in the boundary every once in a while. Roar. Jutu suddenly neighed. In the Duanji, a space portal appeared, awakening all the creatures in the Duanji. Master Madara, there is a special space here, do you want to deal with it? Nagato perceives an opening. Uchiha Madara, who was sitting cross-legged on the giant dragon's head, patted his eyes flatly and said, divide into a small team and take this place. Yes, Lord Madara. Nagato turned to look at the general of the Imperial Marine, and said loudly, Admiral Senju Nawaki, Vice Admiral Lu Bu, Saul, you brought 1,000 people to take this special space. Yes, Admiral. The 3 Nawaki saluted loudly. This space. It does not refer to the boundary, but the special space in the boundary. Name. Called Valley. In the process of reincarnation between the soul and the Soul Society, the soul was accidentally sucked into the broken world, named, O Soul. The free souls will gradually gather in the space called Valley, and all the memories of the souls will condense into an existence called Lost Beads. The overall purpose is to prepare for reincarnation, which is a natural phenomenon. Since the O Soul will keep pursuing the memory of one's own life, it will continue to chase the rosary beads that accidentally come to this world. You owe your soul. The spirit world really played a trick with the soul. After a glance, he didn't perceive any interesting existence in Zhao Jiyu, and Ban calmly said, go on. The space portal close to this world is closed. Another space portal was opened. Imperial Marine enters. 690. In the zone between the present world and Soul Society, the original inhabitants are all empty. The endless desert, the tree trunks erected in the sand dunes, are all made of quartz. The concentration of Hōgyoku Mundo is very high, and small animals in the sand dunes can survive by absorbing them. The surprising part is, in such a barren land, there is a large and complicated labyrinth building. Gorgeous and spectacular. Named Zai Palace. After Lan Yu banned the world, Yuan Lujai sent 3 teams to explore the Duanji, Hōgyoku Mundo, and Soul Society. But the boundary has also been blocked. The 2nd to 6th divisions returned without success, and the 10th to 13th divisions are still fully searching Soul Society. The 7th to 9th division arrive at Hōgyoku Mundo. It took such a long time to enter Hōgyoku Mundo, which is too much trouble than before. Hiraku Shunsui, the captain of the 8th division who just stepped into Hōgyoku Mundo, narrowed his eyes and said, I always feel that someone is disturbing us. Tusen Kanami, the captain of the 9th division, was silent. Sajin, the 3rd seat of the 7th division, also frowned slightly. Does Captain Chunshui feel that way? I also think the space is affected and slows down our progress. Chun Shui first said, if Kagaya was there, I will definitely be able to catch the guy who affects the space. Ahem. Suddenly, Tusen Kanami coughed. Chun Shui was puzzled. What's wrong with you? Tusen Kanami calmly said, it's okay. Chun Shui was surprised, but I feel like you just wanted to laugh. Tusen Kanami said casually, you have to know that men always feel wrong. Yes, Chun Shui didn't care, and then looked at Sajin Village and said, where is your captain? All members of the 7th to 9th division arrived. But the captain and deputy captain of the 7th division were not there. Komamura Sajin shook his head and said, the captain said that her teacher has something to discuss, one late. Sorry, we are late. Before Komamura Sajin's voice has finished, Rukia and Sister Hyjin arrive. AHAC. Fei Zhen. Like a scarlet sky, gentle and introverted, with an elegant temperament. Rukia, no matter what you do, you have a noble temperament, and beautiful girls stand out from the crowd. 2 sisters. It looks exactly the same from a distance, but the only difference from a closer look is the temperament and the look of the eyes, as well as the size of the opening and closing of the corners of the eyes. Seeing the sisters' flowers, Chunshui smiled lightly and said, Kagaya sent you here. I knew we had also asked Kagaya to send them. It took a long time to arrive. Rukia said, the teacher said, there is a surprise for Captain Chunshui here, and we can't miss it. Fei Zhen said gently, I hope Captain Chunshui likes this surprise. Night. Chun Shui came in great interest and looked forward to it. I didn't expect that a restrained and quiet woman like Kagaya would also give gifts. Ahem. Tusen Kanami chuckled and coughed again. Chunshui helplessly said, what's wrong with you? What's so funny about this? Sorry, I have a friend whose child is about to be born, and I am happy for him. Tusen Kanami opened his eyes and said nonsense. No, a blind man can't see it by himself. I always feel something is wrong. Chun Shui stroked his chin, and then threw away his thoughts. The task is important. Explore, Hōgyoku Mundo, shall we be a part or together? Rukia's eyes were bright and said, let's go together. If Hōgyoku Mundo really has an empire or encounters Manos Grande siege, there will be a companion. Fair enough. Chun Shui did not refuse. Led 3 teams, starting from the edge of Hōgyoku Mundo, and deepening. And in the Zai Palace. There are a lot of little mice here. Ah, just a bunch of Shinigami, treat it as my dinner. A few of them are not bad Reiatsu, who will go? Too weak, not interested. In the Zai Palace, blue sky and white clouds. In a hall with a long table, there were 10 people sitting in different forms, most of them arrogant and indifferent. Advertisement. Does that B*********** D have any mission? The one who spoke was an old man with a crown, his tone of arrogance and dissatisfaction. The green-eyed man with short black hair and a weak look said coldly, please use the honorific name, Master Aizen. Ah, Lord Aizen. The old man in the crown dismissed it, and looked at the thin man with cold eyes. If you want to be his dog, you can do it, I will kill him sooner or later. Call. The man with short blue hair was quite disdainful. Who wouldn't say big things? You are only worth hiding in the gutter and letting out cruel words. B************* D. The old man in the crown was angry, and the terrible Reiatsu was washed away. Do you want to die, Grimmjow? Come on. You really think you are still the king of Hōgyoku Mundo, now? Grimmjow didn't even think about it, and was extremely confident of his own strength. You. All right. Baragan also wanted to speak, but was interrupted by a lazy decadent uncle. Noisy is meaningless, let's deal with Shinigami first. Humph. Baragan and Grimmjow snorted at the same time, but said nothing. Hōgyoku Mundo. Espada. Through the Hōgyoku, the virtual reincarnation is completed to the best among Arankar. On the surface, it is numbered 1 to 10. In fact, because of the particularity of number 10 Yami, Espada number 0 to 9. Espada's strength far exceeds ordinary Arankar, and has the authority to control number 11 and below. Espada strength ranking. In a word, Aizen is ranked from 0 to 9 according to the level of killing ability. Perhaps the killing ability does not represent pure combat power, just like number 10 Yami, it takes conditions and time to become number 0. But it is undeniable, no one knows Espada better than Aizen, and his arrangement must be more meaningful than everyone's guess. It seems that the strength is insufficient. Most of them are not fully manifested because of various reasons such as Xingxing and opponents. Shinigami, if there is anything to discuss, leave it to me. The arrogant No 5 Neutra got up and left the Shuyi Palace. Ha 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 ha. Kill. Number 10 is also number 0, Yami, who likes killing the most, also rushed out of the Palace of the Night. The others were arrogant, lazy, or uninterested, and did not move. It's different from the original track. Original track. Aizen planned to obtain Hōgyoku put in by Urahara Kazuki from Rukia, and then enter Hōgyoku Mundo to transform Arrancar after getting the perfect Hōgyoku. Now, another piece of Hōgyoku is still in Kazuki's hands, and it has not been put into Rukia. Aizen, through dreams, confuses Soul Society with lies, and falsified them to become real, and got a more perfect Hōgyoku. So, not long ago, Aizen came to the virtual circle, suppressed all Manos Grande, transformed Arrancar, and formed the virtual Night Palace. After the formation, no mission has been started yet. Aizen did not tell Kagaya about the Zai Palace, because Kagaya was not interested. The periphery of Hōgyoku Mundo. The three squads are sweeping all kinds of emptiness like madness. This type of imaginary basically lacks any wisdom. They are all beasts that only know how to swallow and kill. There are countless successors, but failing to reach the Manos Grande level is just a group of cannon fodder. Chun Shui took a sip of wine, and said lightly, "It would be great if the Empire's army were of this level, so I am." Dream. Suddenly, two words blasted into the sky. The look of the three divisions was condensed, and the breakers were shocked. Boom. The dim sky of Hōgyoku Mundo suddenly tore apart, and under countless virtual breaths, it turned into a sky-shielding portal. What is that? The Espadas walked out of the Shuyi Palace and frowned, but none of them were afraid. All the Arrancars gathered. Rukia whispered, "Captain Chunshui, are you ready to witness the surprise?" The younger sister sang along with sister. Fei Zhen said softly, "Unfortunately, you are the only one. If you have more captains, it will be fine." What's the meaning? Hiraku Shunsui stopped drinking, put away his frivolousness, and looked at Sister Hujin seriously. Quack. At this moment, an Imperial fighter plane, a flying aircraft carrier, and even a huge spaceship of tens of thousands of meters flew out of the portal. Weapon of the world, Komamura Sajin exclaimed subconsciously, and then denied. No, so strong. Too strong. This is the exclamation from the hearts of the three major teams in the Espadas. Don't say anything else. Just to say that the many Reiatsu washed up on the spacecraft made, Hōgyoku Mundo, countless false alarms in place. Above, how many strong people are there? I am the Marshal of the Holy Empire Marine. According to the order of His Majesty the Great Holy Emperor, take Hōgyoku Mundo. The Imperial Marine hearing order. All out. The loud sound washed away the entire Hōgyoku Mundo, shocking the Espadas. Holy Empire. Never heard of it. Yes, Marshal. The shouts of 100,000 soldiers from the Imperial Marine shocked countless people again. No one is weak in the voice. Trouble. Hiraku Shunsui sank inwardly. I was thinking of coming to Hōgyoku Mundo to meet a few Imperial people, but I didn't expect a group to come. Leave Hōgyoku Mundo. Hiraku Shunsui made a strategic retreat plan without even thinking about it. Thinking of taking the third squad to evacuate Hōgyoku Mundo. But it's late. Seal up. The word Lan Yu, the heaven and the Jedi. Buzz. The power of time and space has crossed the entire territory of Hōgyoku Mundo. Block. Hōgyoku Mundo. Directly. Chapter 31. Are all empires. Qinghai Jiyuan Marine 3 Admiral participates. Advertisement. Titicaca. After Lan Yu banned Hōgyoku Mundo. Hiraku Shunsui and others were bounced back from the special channel that returned to Soul Society. Smashed to the ground. Chun Shui tried it again in disbelief, but still couldn't return to Soul Society. This caused Chun Shui and the others to sink to the bottom, which was terrifying. A word. Ban. Hōgyoku Mundo. Completely overthrew the stagnant palace. All that Shinigami speculated. It turned out to be a banned world by one person, not a group of people. Swish swish. In the sky of Hōgyoku Mundo, warplanes, flying aircraft carriers scattered all around. Only the tens of thousands of meters of spacecraft came to the sky above Chunshui and others. Let the 7th to 9th Division hold their breath. The breath painted on the main ship is too terrifying, and there are many. This is really troublesome. Hiraku Shunsui changed his laziness and glanced at Sister Rukia very solemnly. Full of insight, but he had a terrible idea, which made him unbelievable. Ha 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 ha. Strong, many strong, come and kill. In this suppressed silence, there was a crazy laugh in the distance. A bloodthirsty man with a huge body and a residual mask on his chin rushed over with a big hole in his body. Behind him was a man with blindfold and long black hair holding a sickle. 2 Arrancars. How could it be possible? Komamura Sajin exclaimed. There are not many things like Arrancar in Soul Society's records, mainly, Hōgyoku Mundo, is also extremely rare. Because the Manos Grande of Arrancar is too small, but they are all extremely powerful. Hehe, is this woman also Captain Shinigami? Number 5's Neutra, arrogantly ignored everyone, and looked at Rukia mockingly. Let a woman be the captain, Gote 13 is really good. Look down on women. Rukia vanished in a flash, and came to Neutra, drew his sword and cut instantly. It was as if it made a clanging sound on Wanlian's refined steel, but with a powerful force, it directly blasted Neutra. This speed. Number 10 Yami's pupils shrink slightly. Not Shunpo. Hiraku Shunsui couldn't help squeezing his hands. The way Rukia moves just now can be seen from Shunsui's perception. It's Shinigami Shunko plus Arankar plus Quickmaster Fei Lian's feat. There are also some peculiar ways, a variety of fusion upgrades. Too fast. Damn it, damn woman, how dare you let me fly. Neutra got up and was extremely angry. He was the strongest from Espada and even more arrogant. The previous number 3 Nelly was seriously injured by his sneak attack, and he looked down on women the most. Ling Wu, Soda no Shirayuki. Soul Society is the most beautiful Zanpakuto Soda no Shirayuki Shikai, so that the surrounding cold is overflowing. Rukia directly rushed over. I was about to use Sero's Neutra, and suddenly I felt a flower. Absolutely zero. Rukia and Neutra pass by. Pin. Rukia retracted the knife and turned around and walked slowly. Ha 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 ha, you wouldn't think that you won with a single cut. Seeing this, Neutra was full of arrogant disdain. No one can cut me, let alone defeat me. Go to hell. Neutra took the mirror knife and slashed towards Rukia, who turned around. Also at this moment, crack, click, a frosty white air enveloped him, freezing him all over. Absolute Zero is the ultimate move of Rukia Shikai's state. The body of the hit enemy will freeze instantly, and eventually lose temperature and freeze. But Neutra, it is the strongest steel skin of Espada in all dynasties. Its powerful defense slowed Absolute Zero for an instant. It can be frozen. Multiple divine destruction. Under the gaze of Chunshui and Tamari, Rukia's fingertips sent dozens of brilliant golden beams. At this time, a figure arrived, holding a knife to block the arrow. Boom boom boom. The visitor had long golden hair and brown skin, brandishing a short sword and chopped up arrows. Crack. The Absolute Zero time has come, and the strongest steel-skinned Neutra broke free from the ice and shouted angrily, "Damn woman, you!" Shut up. Tyr Harabel, currently number 3, said in disgust, "If I didn't save you, you would be dead now." The arrogant Neutra. In a few seconds of Absolute Zero, if there is no one to help, it will definitely be shattered by Rukia. Frozen at Absolute Zero, the steel skin is very brittle. But Neutra absolutely didn't believe it, and was about to speak, but was interrupted by Kyoraku Shunsui's big drink. Rukia, why? How? Rukia turned around calmly and looked at Chunshui calmly. Don't you like this surprise, Captain Chunshui? Question mark. Yami, who likes to kill, squinted slightly, and Libel and Neutra were also startled. Shinigami civil strife. Surprise. Ah. Kyoraku Shunsui was a little bitter, looked at Hyjin again, and stopped talking. Fei Gen said gently, I'm sorry, I am Rukia's relatives. What are you guys saying? Paimura Sajin is surprised. Be careful. What has been there? Kyoraku Shunsui hasn't finished saying 3 words, Tusen Kanami moved. Puff. Sword into the abdomen. Tusen Kanami's knife was worn from behind Sajin in the village, and said in a low voice, now, do you understand? Puff. Cough. Why? Komamura Sajin vomited blood, unbelievable. The other members of the 7th to 9th division were also shocked. Is this an illusion? Give it to me. Let it go. Let it go. Him. Kyoraku Shunsui said word by word, and the burst of Reiatsu all over his body was heart palpitating. Okay. I let him go. Advertisement. Tusen Kanami shrugged and let go, and slapped Sajin towards Chunshui. Komamura Sajin was still confused, he couldn't understand why Tusen Kanami attacked him. Ha, this kind of surprise really scared me. Kyoraku Shunsui laughed at himself, looking at sisters Rukia and Tusen Kanami with complicated expressions. For 300 years, I have been careful to prevent the infiltration of the Holy Empire, but I didn't expect it to be you. If you don't understand now. That Chunshui was not Chunshui, but this result made him unacceptable. Rukia said indifferently, so, who did Captain Chunshui suspect before? Kenpachi. Chunshui was very calm, claiming to be Kenpachi from the 80th district of Rukongai. I have not found any soul that can prove that he came from there. Chunshui thought of the crazy warlike Zaraki Kenpachi, and said, he still hasn't learned how to solve it. This is very abnormal and it is also evidence. Fei Gen chuckled gently. Good reasoning, is there any more? Toshiro. Chun Shui said another team leader, and said in deep thought. The origin can be checked, and there are as many suspicious points. Ahem. Tusen Kanami coughed lightly again. Chun Shui shouted. You want to laugh again, don't you? I have endured you for a long time. You also know that I rarely speak, but I really can't help it. Although Tusen Kanami is blind, he has a thorough soul and sneered. After a long time of analysis, no one is right. Let me tell you, Blue. Don't be fooled by him. Rukia interrupted Tusen Kanami suddenly. Tusen Kanami also regained his senses, and said angrily, you do what I want. What a pity. Seeing Rukia interrupted, Chunshui sighed. To be honest, I suspect that Kenpachi and Toshiro are not without reason, because all the captains of the new generation are within my suspicion. It's only today that I'm sure. 0. Look for flowers 0. The Holy Empire again. The Yami trio frowned slightly. The sky invaded the country of Hōgyoku Mundo, and even Soul Society infiltrated it. Is it so terrible? But why? Master Aizen didn't say it. As for Tusen Kanami, the 3 of Yami have never met and don't know each other. Because Aizen came to Hōgyoku Mundo to suppress it alone, not even Ichimaru Jin. So, do you doubt the teacher now? Rukia asked seriously. Kagaya. Kyoraku Shunsui was shocked. Kagaya was naturally Chunshui's first doubt, but also the first to give up doubt. Kagaya. There was also a sound from the spacecraft, and he was a little surprised. Are you a student of Kagaya-sama? I'm. Hearing the sound, Rukia answered immediately. Very good, promising. Hiss. At this moment, the audience was shocked. Because a figure appeared without warning, until the sound was heard, everyone saw it. Terrible speed. The man with blonde hair and white military uniform of Imperial Marine looked around and said, First Imperial Marine Admiral, Namikaze Minato. Citizen of the Holy Empire, I have seen Lord Admiral. Rukia, Hyjin, Tusen Kanami bowed and knelt down. Chun Shui gave up completely. Komamura Sajin and others were sluggish. The 7th Division's head and Deputy Belly, the 9th Division Captain, are all people from the Empire. Get up. The Imperial troops are not happy to bow down. Master Kagaya should teach allergic hand salutes. With a gentle smile on his face, Namikaze Minato looked at the jaws of the three of them and said, Your spirits are all good, how is Kagaya-sama? Speaking of Kagaya, Rukia smiled and said, The teacher reads books and sees the scenery every day, and he has a lot of time. Hyjin also smiled and said, Yes, I'm very respected by Shinigami, and I have a lot of fans. Of course, Kagaya-sama is the second idol of the Empire. Minato also showed respect. Faye couldn't help being curious. Master Minato, who is the number one idol? Sister, the first idol is of course the great emperor of the Holy Empire. The cool beautiful girl Rukia has big bright eyes full of longing. Minato looked at Tusen Kanami again. How did you join the Empire? Tusen Kanami respectfully said. Back to Master Minato, I am blue. Triple A, ha 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 ha. Before he finished speaking, Neutra laughed furiously. There must be a limit to arrogance. Are you ignoring me? Pray, holy crying mantis. Virtual Shinigami. Neutra directly liberated Zanpakuto, possessing 4 amputated arms, each holding a double-edged sickle. Die all to me. Neutra sneered and rushed over. Big spray. At this time, a figure jumped out of the spaceship, directly blasted a terrifying magma fist, and attacked the sky dyed red. Boom. The two attacked and collided, exploding a large magma, and Neutra retreated. Ha ha ha, kill. Seeing this, Yami, who was bloodthirsty and fond of killing, also rushed towards Minato. Speed is power. A flash of brilliance came to Yami's head and raised his foot. So, have you been kicked by the speed of light? Kick at the speed of light. Boom. It was another violent attack. Hiraku Shunsui led the team back, and at this time, the temperature of the surrounding air plummeted. Ice Age. Senbai's cold air swept like a tsunami, and quickly swept the audience. Click. The cold air froze. Almost all Shinigami turned directly into ice sculptures. This range is amazing. Akainu. Yellow Ape. Aokiji. Qinghai Area, the original Marine 3 Admiral. Participate. Chapter 32. Akainu vs Sword 5 Neutra, Nagato vs Hiraku Shunsui. Advertisement. Boom boom boom. Akainu vs N0.5 Neutra. As soon as it appeared, it started a series of brutal fights, and the energy of Akainu was beyond your imagination. Neutra was passively beaten. Boom. Kizaru kicked number 10 Yami for a kilometer, and he lost his movement. Doesn't seem to like Yami this opponent. Xing Shang is sharper. One move freezes all the members of the 7th to 9th divisions, leaving only Kyoraku Shunsui and Tamari Village Sajin. This chill. Rukia's eyes flickered. Her Soda no Shirayuki is also a kind of freezing used by cold, which is very different from Hirenmaru. Aokiji's various cold releases can make Rukia learn a lot. Because the real power of Soda no Shirayuki is not the blade to release the chill, but the body. The sword is only an aid. Captain Rukia, you. Seeing that the players were frozen by Aokiji and Rukia was indifferent, Komamura Sajin still couldn't believe it. What benefits did the Empire give you so that you can easily betrayed? What? Hearing these words, Tusen Kanami sneered. Do you know why I joined Gote 13? Revenge. What? Rukia and Fei Zhen were also surprised. They only know that Tusen Kanami was brought in by Aizen, and the others are not clear. Tusen Kanami's anger was vented. I once swore, 897, to kill Central 46, can you help me? Hiraku Shunsui said nothing. Each new generation of captain he has investigated naturally knows the past of Tusen Kanami. Komamura Sajin was also silent. Tusen Kanami's friend was also Shinigami at the beginning, and he suffered from Shiu for accusing him of killing his colleague's husband for a trivial matter. Before committing to the battle to defend justice in his ideals, he tragically killed her husband by the knife. Later, he believed that the Central 46 sentence was unfair, and the Shinigami who killed his colleague and wife was not executed. So he vowed to inherit the woman's will to maintain justice. Central 46. My blind man is going to die. Aizen also appeared when Tusen Kanami was desperate and took him away. What about you? Komamura Sajin still doesn't give up. He couldn't understand why Sister Rukia, a pair of geniuses, betrayed. Our sister doesn't belong to Jingling Court, so how can we betray? Fei Zhen with gentle temperament and sharp words. Rukia said elegantly. The first day we entered Shaolingting from Rukongai, we belong to the Empire. That, okay. Hamura. Interrupting Komamura Sajin's words, Hiraku Shunsui looked directly at Rukia and said, I just ask, why can Kagaya deceive so many people? She is still a child. When Namikaze Minato appeared, when I talked about Kagaya with sisters Rukia, Shunshui's mentality was about to collapse. Others joined the Empire. And Kagaya are from the Empire. Two completely different concepts, because Kagaya has countless Shinigami fans in the Stagnation Palace. He is the idol of almost all Shinigami of the new generation, and several new captains admire Kagaya very much. Children, Mr. Kagaya is thousands of years older than us and read millions of books. And, is that a lie? Namikaze Minato is very sure. To be honest, if you ask Master Kagaya directly, are you an imperial person, then Master Kagaya will definitely say yes. Other things can be concealed, but Kagaya-sama will not conceal it when it comes to yourself. So simple. Chun Shui was a little dazed. No, how old is Miss Kagaya? Rukia said coldly, Master Minato, the teacher will always be 18 years old. Ahem, sorry, I was wrong. Minato Lu Wei was embarrassed, his eyes pleaded in a low voice, please don't spread it. Ah, damn it. The roar of No 5 Noitra was heard in the distance, and Reiatsu was also running violently. Akainu started very hard. He doesn't know how to play any game with you, and the opponent he believes is completely beaten to death. Hole, you angered me. Noitra's whole body was covered with scars, which made him incredibly angry. Every espada has its own characteristics. Noitra is the strongest defense, steel skin is the strongest, even if it doesn't make any defense, it can't be cut by the ordinary Shinigami while standing. But at the moment, Akainu's magma carried terrible spiritual power, and it broke apart Noitra's steel skin, and even burned with his right hand. High-speed regeneration. In Noitra's roar, high-speed regeneration was injured in his right arm in the state of returning to the blade. I will tear you up bit by bit, and then you. What? Akainu snorted and interrupted Noitra, too lazy to talk nonsense, and rushed over again. Canine Tooth Gurren. The lava on the arm prolonged the attack at an extremely fast speed, and the spiritual power on it was even more violent. Sero. The yellow light condensed, and Noitra blasted a yellow light beam toward Akainu. Boom. The magma fist was penetrated by the beam, but it didn't stop, and it hit Noitra directly. Ah! Noitra screamed in pain. His strongest steel skin was broken again, even pierced through his abdomen, almost knocking him off. This is impossible. Once was an accident, but twice, the arrogant Noitra was also sober. The spiritual power on the magma is beyond his imagination, it is too strong. Impossible. I don't believe it. Fake words like this are the sorrow of the weak. Akainu walked towards Noitra indifferently. Is the power of Hōgyoku Mundo only so good? Damn it. Noitra couldn't help but pull the distance. High-speed regeneration recovers, but it takes time. Advertisement. Brush. Akainu rushed forward. Noitra looked relentless. You forced me. Wiping a handful of blood on his abdomen, Noitra's Reiatsu exploded. Go to hell. Wang Shu's flash. A huge yellow beam was blasted by Noitra, and the cry of space rang. Distorted space. Akainu's movements are slightly lagging. The horror on the beam, Reiatsu, strongly distorts the space, which is extraordinary. Wang Shu's flash. For espada. You need to use your own blood, and because it is too strong, it is not allowed to be used in the Zai Palace. Boom. 8-star Akainu didn't evade, and chose to fight head-on, hitting directly. Reiatsu was violent, tearing apart a corner of Wang Shu's flash, but the range was too large, and part of it still fell on him. Akainu snorted. The flash of Wang Shu flew over 100 meters and suddenly stopped. It's okay. Noitra's eyes widened. In addition to strong defense, he does not have so many skills. Wang Shu's flash is already his strongest move. Oh noisy. I almost hurt Sakazuki. Hōgyoku Mundo is really scary. Kizaru said with an exaggerated expression not far away, acting with palpitations. This trick really scares me to death. Damn B************* D attacked me unexpectedly. Yami, who was kicked by Kizaru before, ran from a distance. Kizaru couldn't help but spread his hands. I kicked it upright. I can only say that you are too slow to react. And I don't want to fight you. Kizaru's eyes were full of disgust. Looking at Yami's stupidity, this kind of opponent did not fit his temperament at all. Kill them, angry beasts. Yami doesn't care so much, it's zero. After returning to the blade, Yami's body has become extremely large, with 12 feet, even the 3-meter high Kizaru is like a baby. Although the speed will slow down, the destructive power will multiply. Huh, the numbers have changed. Kizaru found a surprise, the 10 on Yami's left shoulder became 0. Number 10 becomes no. 0. Ha 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 ha, the kick you just kicked me, I recognize you. Yami was bloodthirsty and laughed. He looked down on the weak, but Kizaru was obviously strong. Next, it's me. Yami's huge palm pressed down towards Kizaru. Oh la la la, it seems that you don't like this opponent, just leave it to me. A brawny blonde man with a white crescent beard nearly 7 meters tall, jumped from the sky and directly collided with Yami's giant palm. La. As soon as his body sank, Yami raised his head and shouted, excuse me to fight, do you want to die? Wow, I hope you can hold on for a while. Whitebeard's power exploded, purely without any ability. Boom. A powerful force came, and Yami's whole body fell low and plunged into the pothole. You are so terrible. Kizaru exaggerated again, and then looked like I was scared. It's horrible here, I'd better go there. Hey, Kizaru flies to the palace of the night. Whoosh whoosh. At the same time, the spaceship above, flew out several figures, and headed towards the Void Knight Palace. Alara, who is my opponent? Aokiji spoke lazily, scanning Chunshui, Tamari, and Libel. Senior, leave her to our sisters. Rukia and Feijun looked at No 3 Libel, fighting awe-inspiringly. Aokiji's forehead slightly. Senior, he gave it to me. Tusen Konami targets Sajin, the village of Amber. Just as Aokiji spoke, a figure from the sky flickered and fell. Last one, give it to me. Chingshong. Are all divided. Seeing the visitor, Namikaze Minato said, then leave it to you, Nagato, the stock, let's go over there. It was Nagato who came. Stared at Kyoraku Shunsui. As Minato and Kuzan left, Shunsui stared at Nagato, feeling very strong. If it is convenient for 0.2, can you tell me where your strength ranks in the empire? First, after opening his mouth, he was surprised by Shunsui. Nagato continued, my goal is to become the strongest spear of your majesty. Call. I see. Shunsui exhaled and took out a pot of wine. How tired is it to fight and kill? Why don't we sit down and drink together? Nagato looked coldly. Shunsui looked a little embarrassed, and shrugged. It seems that you don't like drinking, then fight. Hado 78 slashing Huilin. Kyoraku Shunsui took the initiative to release a ring-shaped light wheel sharp blade, which can cause slashing damage the moment it touches the opponent. Small divine destruction. A laser shot from Nagato's fingertips, but it exploded with powerful destructive power, directly smashing and slashing. Lure. Spring water came out of the Hadan Haori, blocking Nagato's sight, and moving quickly. But the movement of Reiatsu and the movement of breath are all in Nagato's perception. The flower wind is chaotic, the flower god screams, and the sky is chaotic. The devil sneered, Kaden Kyokutsu. Shunsui jumped high in the sky and directly Shikai. The game starts now. The taller the stand wins. Slash the Ghost. Chapter 33. Turning children's games into reality, fighting alone against the heroes. Advertisement. Hado 78 Shinwa Wheel. Kyoraku Shunsui leapt back into the sky. Once again, he swung a ring-shaped polished blade, pointed directly at Nagato. Speed, power, range. All surged. This unreasonable increases your ability. Feeling more powerful than before, Nagato's figure dodged the attack and jumped upward. Not so good. Shunsui's blade released a cloud of wind spinning like a top, preventing Nagato from moving like a tornado. Don't let me go up. Nagato thought, and Shunsui's attack came again. Double blade flow slashing technique. Kaden Kyokutsu of Shunsui is a double sword Zanpakuto rare in Soul Society, one long and one short. Chi. Shunsui's slashing was so violent, it did not stop like a violent storm, and Nagato had nowhere to go back. Spiritual power 5000 shields. Thousands of layers of spiritual shields protected Nagato, and nearly 1,000 layers of spiritual shields burst in an instant, but Shunsui continued to attack without stagnating. I see. Seeing that Shunsui has been higher than himself, Nagato calmly said, there is even this kind of rule. When you stand higher than me, your power will increase. Found it. Kyoraku Shunsui didn't care, as he attacked and said, my Kaden Kyokutsu is to make children's games a reality. As long as they step into the scope of Reiatsu, they are mandatory to participate in the game. All rules are set by Kaden Kyokutsu. If you win, you will survive, if you lose, you will die. Even I cannot be an exception. Nagato couldn't help laughing. The people in the spirit world are really interesting. They have to explain their abilities so clearly. This is the way to die. No. Shunsui continued to attack the spirit shield, and said lazily, I don't know why people explain, but my ability must be explained. This is also the 07 rule of the game. Any game must be fair. For example now, rules of the game, the taller one wins. Shingui. Standing higher than the other side, the slashing power of that side is so high that it is enough to make the enemy deadly. Abbreviation. The taller wins. Shunsui is in the sky and Nagato is on the ground, so now Shunshui's slashing power has increased sharply. Thank you for the explanation. After getting acquainted with the rules, Nagato Reiatsu broke out. Spirit Shield Impact. The remaining 2000 spiritual shields turned into a barrier and slammed into Shunsui. Can it still be used like this? Shunsui was stunned for an instant, never thought that the spiritual shield could be pushed out. Unable to destroy more than 2000 spirit shields instantly, Shunsui was directly hit and flew. Brush. Taking the opportunity, Nagato jumped into the sky, much higher than Shunshui's location. This ability is really good. Feeling the characteristic of compulsory power increase, Nagato couldn't help being cautious. Mandatory game. That is almost conceptual, extremely unreasonable and must be cautious. Troubled. You stand so high. Shunsui who got up showed a distressed look, and his eyes were inadvertently warned in other directions. The game needs to be fair, so Shunsui has to explain, but there are also unfair places. That is, Shunsui is more familiar with the rules than anyone, and can switch game modes at will to gain the initiative. The party whose shadow is trampled on loses. Boom. Switch the game directly. Shunsui explained the rules at will, and ran towards the shadow below. Feeling the increase disappeared, Nagato looked at Shunshui's action. Attack, shadow. Next moment, Shunsui was a little dazed, because Nagato's shadow disappeared. What is this ability? The second game of Shunsui. Both the enemy and the enemy can get into the shadow of each other and attack each other from zero distance. But now, Nagato's shadow is gone. Nagato said flatly. You can understand your own shadow with spiritual power, right? Can't understand at all. This enemy is tricky. The one who cuts the color he said wins. Yangui, white. Shunsui jumped high again and slashed towards Nagato. Debate. When the spirit blade was out of its sheath, Nagato also slashed horizontally and collided with Shunsui's slash. But Chunshui ignored the slash, as if giving up all defenses, and slashed towards Nagato. Invalid. Nagato's attack was faster, but he could cut onto Chunshui's Black Death Tyrant outfit, but he didn't seem to cut anything. Chunshui took the opportunity to reach Nagato, and the slashing power forcibly increased. Wow, what surprised Chunshui was. The blow of his own power increase didn't cut Nagato, but cut him back several tens of meters. Instantly use Reiatsu to form a defense covering the whole body. Seeing through why Nagato was not injured, Chunshui's attack was even more fierce. You must win before Nagato fully understands the rules of the game. Boom boom boom. There have been several collisions. Nagato couldn't help but distance himself. This game is a bit rascal. If you win, change to the next game. Why should I change? Hiraku Shunsui was puzzled. The two were enemies. Why did he change when he had the upper hand? Yangui. Name a color, and both sides can only cut the area on the other side that covers that color. If you slash other areas of the color, the slash will be invalidated, and the larger the area of the named color on the color collar, the stronger the slashing power of the color collar. Like now. Chunshui, Black Death Tyrant outfit. Nagato, the White Empire Marine uniform. Chunshui yelled, white. Therefore, Nagato has no effect on the Black Death Tyrant outfit, and Chunshui Chop has an increase in power on the white military outfit. So, Nagato is at a disadvantage. Advertisement. If you don't change, I will forcefully break the rules of the game. Nagato is very casual. This shocked Chunshui's heart. How do you break the rules? Wait, I'll change. Thinking of what, Chunshui was a little bit distressed. Why is my opponent so strong? The first time I saw it forced me to change games. Those caught are defeated. Brush. Next moment. Chunshui's speed increased sharply and rushed towards Nagato. Hado 67 thunders scattered. A large amount of dense fog filled the battlefield, and with flower flashes. No attack, just obstructing the line of sight. Those caught are defeated. Then come on. The line of sight is obstructed, but Nagato can perceive the movement of spring water. Nagato did not move, but looked forward to it. Next moment, Chunshui passed through the thick fog, touched Nagato, and shouted. The tumbler fell down. Sure enough, it is mandatory. Nagato murmured and collapsed to the ground. The tumbler is down. Or the enemy is a ghost in the game. Requirements. 1. The ghost must stay within the sight of the participants. 2. If a participant is seen by a ghost in the event, it is considered a loss. 3. If a participant touches a ghost before being seen by the ghost, it will be considered a win. Not counting perception, dense fog obscures sight. Chunshui, as a participant, touched the ghost, Nagato. Win. What's the mess? Inside the spaceship, Kaido couldn't help but complain. It's all children's games, it's so boring, real men's battles should be fistful. Uchiha Madara folded her arms and said, if you are at the same level as him, you will die miserably. The ability of spring water. It seems to be a bit of a play, but I have to say it is used well, it is very amazing. If you are careless, you will lose. Is it? Kaido is miraculous, the uncle on duty is joking, and then expects, it's time for me to do it, right? Is it an organization founded by Shaoji? Uchiha Madara looked sideways at Zai Palace. In the spacecraft, I read Tusen Kanami's memory directly and remotely. Although Aizen did not bring him to Hōgyoku Mundo, he knew that Aizen founded the Void Palace. Uncle Madara asked, what is the purpose of Shaoji's founding of the Zai Palace? Go to Soul Society to rebel. Kaido said this, and then he sensed the distance. Just these few people are not capable of rebelling, unless his strength is special combat power, which is too fake. Special note of combat power. Can fight the 9-star powerhouse of the Empire, Lan Yu only Mark III. Reminiscences Aizen, Uchiha Madara's eyes flashed eternally. My student Tianzong wizard, maybe there is a surprise. Kaido pouted secretly. No Hōgyoku, no big swallowing technique. If you want to reach Jushin power in the spirit world for 300 years, unless you are the protagonist of the world. My Kaido hasn't reached Jushin, so why did the little Aizen who didn't open it reach Jushin? With this kind of thinking, Kaido was shocked when he met Aizen again. Interesting. Uchiha Madara suddenly murmured. I saw it, these few claiming to be the defeat of Espada. Isn't this taken for granted? Kaido affirmed. Akainu and they are all 8 stars, but they are not comparable to these Manos Grandes. No, he defeated it. 013. Uchiha Madara points to the spring water on the screen. This surprised Kaido. Fight against Nagato, and still have room to beat the others. Exploded. Below. Akainu vs Noitra. Whitebeard vs Yami. Rukia. Hyjin vs Harabel. Tusen Kanami vs Perch Village Sajin. And Nagato lay on the ground. Chunshui solemnly said, you are defeated, I will not kill you, I just want an answer. What is the answer? Nagato raised his eyes slightly to look at Chunshui. Chunshui took a deep breath and said, if the Holy Empire takes the Soul Society, what will it do? What makes Chunshui feel the most stressful? Just one word to ban Lan Yu, who is in this world and, Hōgyoku Mundo, is too powerful. There is also the undiscovered Kagaya. Take the Soul Society as the territory, and all Shinigami souls as the people, treat it fairly. Nagato's answer made Chunshui thoughtful. It sounds pretty good. Besides, you didn't win. In Chunshui's consternation, a terrifying Reiatsu blasted him directly, and Nagato stood up calmly. The explanation of the ability and not making up the knife is your biggest mistake. This kind of Reiatsu. Chun Shui felt his heart palpitations, and said in a condensed voice, I just discovered that you didn't take it seriously from start to finish. It's really powerful and terrifying. This kind of power can indeed break my rules of the game, but... Speaking of this, Chun Shui also got serious. As the captain, you can't be restrained by rules and give up victory. Hey, Chun Shui ran towards the distance. It opened up the distance from the 7th to 9th squad members who were frozen by Aokiji. Entered the battle of Yami and others. Taking the village, you leave here. Next, all opponents, this battlefield, leave it to me. Hiraku Shunsui's voice resounded through the battlefield. Fighting alone, Yami and others were startled, then smiled indifferently, and continued to fight without paying attention. Fortunately, this is Hōgyoku Mundo, otherwise it will be troublesome in Pu-Lingting. Bankai. Chapter 34. Solved Kaden Kyokutsu Kuromatsu's heart, Espada number 5 is dead. Advertisement. Sorry, I almost forgot. The spring water movement that was just about to unravel was stagnant. Under Nagato's surprised gaze, Chun Shui rushed over again, looking bloodthirsty and murderous. Die. Chun Shui drank in his mouth. Nagato squinted his eyes slightly, and proceeded to the medium-sized sacred destruction, passing through the void. Boom. The arrow exploded on Chun Shui, and a cloud of blood splashed all over. But Chun Shui is still moving forward. Are you looking for death? Seeing Chun Shui's funny non-defensive moves, Nagato also lost his patience. Sniper rifle in hand, everything goes through. Without warning, at the moment the sniper rifle aimed, a big bloody hole appeared in Chun Shui's body. Puff, cough, almost died. Chun Shui was astonished in his heart. If he was a little bit more biased, his soul sleep would be broken. Not in sleep. The acupuncture points where the spiritual body produces spiritual power are also the key points of the spiritual body. If the two acupuncture points are hit by the enemy, the spiritual body will die within half an hour, and even if it survives, it will lose its power. Shinigami will lose Shinigami's power if he is hit by the knot and sleeps. This kind of injury is enough. As if he was injured deliberately, Chun Shui raised his head and smiled brightly. If I can go back alive, I must be drunk for 7 or 8 days. Roar. A roar from the battlefield. Yami's huge body became even bigger with this roar. Anger. Fury. With the roar of anger, Yami became bigger and bigger, with 12 feet like a hill, trampling everywhere. Ant, you angered me. Yami roared. Reiatsu was extremely violent. Whitebeard, who is nearly 7 meters away, is indeed like an ant in front of Yami. Gula la la la, it has grown so big, is it a target? Roar. Yami yelled again. Among Espada, I am the strongest, what no? 10, I am number 0. Boom. The violent Reiatsu caused the earth to collapse, the soul boiled, and Yami showed the horror belonging to number 0. Enter the final form. The figure is like a hell demon, covered with hair, 4 sharp horns on the top of the head, and a pair of big horns on the back. Nearly 100 meters tall. Yami magic. Rage. Rage. Store power through long-term eating and sleep behaviors, and burst out through anger when needed. His figure will become bigger and bigger, and his Reiatsu and attack power will also be greatly enhanced. Kill. Die. The demon Yami bombarded the ground frantically, destroying everything he passed. Gu la la la, turned into a irrational beast. Whitebeard dodged at will, with a white halo blooming on his fist, his eyes sharp. This punch, 60 years of penance, 30 years of sublimation, what do you take? Air shock. Delicious. The terrifying shock force advanced from Whitebeard's fist, blasting a shock wave that shattered the firmament. Tearing. Half of Yami's body was directly shattered. It was blown hundreds of meters by the shocking force of a huge range, and smashed into the ruins. The other side. Shoot the village. Tusen Kanami's voice is indifferent. As the only wolf in Gote 13, I'm so angry. Solved. Suzumushi final style Yanmo cricket. Buzz. Tusen Kanami's Reiatsu cleans up. Reiatsu becomes a huge ellipsoid-shaped enchantment, enclosing the shooting village. The sense of hearing, sight, smell, and Reiatsu will disappear completely, leaving only the sense of touch to perceive the pain that Tusen Kanami can kill. Crack. Tusen Kanami attacked Fan Village in the enchantment. Cut the mask to pieces, revealing a face like a wolf like a dog. Even if your body is broken, the old man will stop your betrayal. Komamura Sajin is a family of men and wolves. Because of the crimes he had committed before his death, he fell into the animal life and failed to die, and eventually his soul fell into the Man-Wolf clan of Soul Society. The Man-Wolf clan lives in seclusion in inaccessible places. If it swallows the heart of the same clan, it will extend their lifespan to a state of near immortality. Jijichang village suffered discrimination and exclusion, so he wore masks and gloves. Solved Black Rope Scourge King Ming. Suffering another attack, Pakyun Sajin went directly to the solution. Boom. A huge black armored warrior appeared, covered in heavy armor, and tied behind his back by a huge black thick rope. Scourge Ming Wang's attack is synchronized with Dog Village, and the armor belongs to the solution of the life-filled armor. Sword pressure. Komamura waved his knife, and King Ming waved his knife. It directly smashed Tusen Kanami's weak defensive barrier. Suzumushi 2-style red migratory locust. Tusen Kanami swung his sword and instantly created countless sharp blades with pointed ends, which fell from the air like rain to attack King Ming. Puff cough cough. King Ming was hurt, and Sajin would be hurt as well. He couldn't help coughing up blood. Yes, let go of your inner hatred, you. To shut up. Tusen Kanami yelled. I joined for revenge, and I will never forget, but what about you? Suffering so much discrimination and exclusion, I dare not take off my mask until now. Have you forgotten all this? Brow Bitter Village smiled. He used to have countless reasons to be blackened. But the captain was willing to take him in and cultivate him. In order to repay the kindness of the captain, he would not hesitate to be broken into pieces. It can be said, in the most desperate moment of the filming village, no matter who takes him in, he will repay him. It's just that Aizen missed it. Miss Kagaya let it go. At least some captains should be reserved for the captain, otherwise it would be too miserable. Advertisement. No matter what, the old man will never allow you to go astray. Komamura Sajin got serious, and said with anger, the old man has only the word loyalty in his life, and you cannot forgive it. The other side. Conquer him, the Sour Queen. The returning Harabel, holding the shark print giant sword, attacked the ice that Rukia had hit. Burning ocean current. The tip of the sword releases a stream of water vapor, which directly dissolves and evaporates the cold air of Rukia. Ring. Harabel did not stop, and came to the sky above Fei Zhen like a teleport. You sisters are really alike, it's a pity. Duanhao. A huge water column, like a waterfall, attacked Fei Zhen. Siwu Balian. Rukia came in surprise. The tip of the knife pierced into the water of the waterfall, sending out a powerful cold air like an avalanche, directly freezing the water. Fei Zhen held a knife gently and said, why do you want to keep your hands? The two sisters have little experience in fighting. Fei Zhen is even more so. Harabel finds opportunities several times, but his men are merciful. Harabel said casually, I don't like to prove myself through killing. Pursuing sacrifice will definitely pay the price of sacrifice. As the only woman in Espada, like the previous generation No 3 Nelly, she doesn't like killing. Nelly is simple and kind. And Harabel, even in the face of the unreasonable Manos Grande who came in a sneak attack, never killed him. Incompatible with the rest of Espada. Hearing this, Rukia said, then put down the knife, or you will definitely die. Yes, not liking to kill does not mean surrendering. Harabel stared at the sister flower. I don't think it will lose to you. Clear all the heretics that invaded Hueco Mundo, is the order of Lord Aizen. Senior Aizen. Hearing the words Aizen, Fei Zhen gently blinked and said, he is his own. Question mark. Harabel stunned, a little puzzled. What do you mean? Rukia said coolly. Senior Aizen joined the Empire much earlier than us. Harabel said, I'm talking about Aizen Sosuke. Yes, Empire Aizen. Sister Rukia's forehead. Harabel was silent. She could see that the two women didn't lie, so, the civil war. For a while, the war ceased. Puff cough. Neutra lay on the ground, with burn marks all over her body, her eyes flushed and angrily said, damn. Damn you. As an Aaronkar without any characteristics. Except for the strongest defense, Neutra exhausted all means, but it didn't work. Are you just this sentence? Akainu came with disdain, and the magma became more and more terrifying under the blessing of spiritual power. You seem to be from Aizen, but this is not important. I'll clear the door for him. Neutra. There are no advantages. Arrogant, like to ridicule, and discriminate against women, despicable and cruel. The only shining point is that in the original trajectory, when he was carnival by Kenpachi, he took the initiative to let his own official escape first. But it's just that, even if he joined the Empire, it was the first one to be cleaned up. Just when Akainu was about to end. From a distance came a chilling wide range of Reiatsu, as if he had fallen into hell. Bankai. In Kaiden Kyokutsu Kuromatsu's heart. A dark shadow flickered behind Kyoraku Shunsui, and the double knives were inserted into the ground, and countless black pine trees and pine leaves spread on the ground. Make this battlefield dim. The extremely large range of Reiatsu made Neutra, Yami, and others shudder. What is this Reiatsu? Rukia looked sideways, her heart was chilling, which made her stunned. The scope is too big. Incorporate this battlefield completely. Nagato felt it for a while and said, has a new game started again? Yes, because it's too powerful, it's easy to accidentally hurt teammates, so I rarely use it. Chun Shuiying sat on the ground and looked up and stared. Are you ready? People within Reiatsu's range are forced to participate, and it won't stop until the game is over. Good job, Zhao. Speaking of this, Kyoraku Shunsui was lazy again. The injury on my body is really painful. Can I have a drink? You have a lot of nonsense. Nagato raised the gun indifferently. Sorry to shoot the village, it can only be so. The first paragraph is to share the trauma. At the moment when Nagato raised his gun, the actual first game rule was launched. Puff chick chick. At this moment, an astonishing scene happened. Reiatsu coverage is here. Nagato, Whitebeard, Akainu, Rukia, Hyjin, Neutra, Yami, Harabel, Tamari, Tusen Kanami. All were hit hard. There was a blood hole on his body, and there were more blasted wounds, just like Chunshui's wounds. This is, I deliberately practiced 300 years of change for a powerful empire. Kyoraku Shunsui stood up and walked towards Nagato with a knife. The first paragraph was originally, let yourself be injured by the enemy's attack, and share it with the other party when you solve it. But Chunshui worked hard to rewrite it. The injury suffered by himself was originally shared with everyone in the coverage area of Reiatsu. Meaning, collective suicide. Puff cough cough. I'm going to die here, damn it. Neutra, who had been hit hard, became more and more slightly sound. Even high-speed regeneration is too late. He died directly under Kyoraku Shunsui's injury sharing. The spiritual core is broken. Number 5. Die. Chapter 35. Zanpakuto can't stop it. This is not a fight at all. Advertisement. Such a large-scale return. In the spacecraft above, Kaido's copper bell eyes are a bit bigger. Similar to this kind of injury returned. Conan World Reconciliation, Scapegoat. Kaido miraculously broke the mace. But it is basically a one-on-one injury return, but Kyoraku Shunsui, direct Reiatsu coverage to return everyone. Fight alone against the heroes. Not empty talk. Uchiha Madara smiled faintly with her arms folded. I don't know if I can return it to me, I really want to experience it. Kaido. Here comes the masochist addict. For some reason, Shunshui's Reiatsu did not cover the sky, nor did it affect the people in the spacecraft. Seeing such an amazing scene, Uncle Ben is eager to try. Kaido said immediately. Master Madara, his abilities should not affect you. Right. The class nodded slightly. Watch the play quietly. The battlefield below. Ghoul la la la. Really amazing ability. Is it mandatory to participate? Whitebeard looked at the scars on his abdomen and body, exclaiming. Akainu frowned slightly. Game. Noitra was almost killed by him, and the sudden game snatched his head away. Sister, are you okay? Fei Zhen knelt down and looked at Rukia worriedly, coughing up blood. Sister, are you okay? Rukia also spoke worriedly. Seeing this scene, Harabelle was a little envious and a little sad. In the cruel, Hōgyoku Mundo, this kind of sisterhood was something she had never experienced before. Game rules. The demon form of Yami was interrupted, and Tusen Kanami and Paimora Sajin also stopped fighting. One blow, total injury. Looking ahead, Nagato said coldly, your game has improved. Well, it's a solution after all, a 5 to 10 times improvement. Kyoraku Shunsui walked with double knives in his hands. If Shikai, it is a children's game. Najiji. The realization of adult drama. 287. Mandatory. Everyone within the coverage of Reiatsu will participate, even if Shunsui has to bear a huge risk of injury. The move is divided into several scenes. The moves in each scene are closely related. And the damage caused by the first few scenes will continue to accumulate until the end of the game. Compulsory participation is almost conceptual. Ninja art. Meiotic regeneration. High-speed regeneration. The next moment, Chun Shui was a little surprised. Nagato, Sister Rukia and other empires, glowing green light appeared on their bodies. Yami and Harabelle also recovered quickly from their injuries. Hey, your empires and everyone from Hōgyoku Mundo are too foul. Despite this complaint, Shunsui is still calm. The game is not over, it makes no sense to recover from the injury. Second paragraph, ashamed. Chi 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 chi. At this moment, it is even more amazing. Nagato and others were within the coverage of Shunsui Reiatsu. Irregular black spots appeared on all the injured people. Interrupt the recovery directly. Oh. Yami screamed in pain. Blood was constantly bleeding all over. How could I stop it? It was extremely miserable. This made Yami roar. Impossible, your old explanation is not like this. Shuyi Palace. There is a lot of information about Shinigami. Of course, including Kyoraku Shunsui. But even in the information provided by Aizen, Shunsui is not so strong. 300 years of hard practice, I changed the rules of the game in the second paragraph. Kyoraku Shunsui took a sip of wine calmly. The rules of the game for solving all need to make certain conditions before the solution can be launched. As in the first paragraph, the damage can only be returned to the person who injured Shunsui before the release. The second paragraph can only work on people who were injured by spring water before they were relieved. All can be written. Kaden Kyokutsu, after all, belongs to Shunsui. In order to defend the Holy Empire, he naturally has to work hard to make changes. Nagato said. Dying due to excessive blood loss. Right. Shunsui forehead. Ashamed. Let the injured party suffer from an incurable disease, so that the body is covered with a large number of irregular black spots, and blood will flow out continuously from these black spots, eventually losing too much blood and defeating. Add the first paragraph. This is 2 continuous injuries. No matter how strong the opponent is, 2 injuries are enough to fall into a period of weakness. Run. I want to leave here. Yami was a little frightened inside, and madly escaped from Shunsui Reiatsu's coverage. Chun Shui couldn't help but said, don't waste your energy, the game has already started, and it won't end unless I beat me. Damn it, go to hell. Hearing that, Yami's anger broke out again. This time, Yami turned all the anger accumulated over the years into strength, and his body became even bigger. Yami's hand pressed against the sky like a mountain. Boom, boom, no warning. Yami's hand was directly penetrated through dozens of large bloody holes and dropped down. The right hand is directly scrapped. Nagato held a sniper rifle indifferently and said, he is my opponent, don't interfere with the waste. Move again. Die. Grunt. Yami took a few steps back. The look in his eyes is so scary, why does it feel more scary than Master Aizen? This kind of attack. Chun Shui sighed inwardly. Even if everyone was forced to participate in the game, Chun Shui would not be able to tell. After all, there are too many strong players. But Nagato's words gave him a chance. Do you have any stronger moves? Come and please me. Nagato ignored the injury and spoke. The Uncle Madara in the spacecraft raised his brows, and the kid did plagiarism again. You are right. Even in the second paragraph, it will take a long time for a strong like you to lose. There will be all kinds of accidents. The opponent is too strong, and the spring water is dignified. He always felt that if Nagato was serious, the battle would be over in an instant. This feeling shocked Chun Shui. Part 3 Broken Fish Tide. Wow. In an instant, Chunshui Reiatsu erupted. Advertisement. Reiatsu is transformed into a large-scale body of water, such as creating a sea out of thin air on land, including everyone within the scope of Reiatsu. Broken Yubuchi. Reiatsu is used to create a large range of dark water bodies. Regardless of whether you are foe, as long as you are within the game range, they will be forcibly dragged into the deep water until one Reiatsu is exhausted. The feature of this trick is Kiraku's powerful Reiatsu as its support. As long as it is weaker than Kiraku, it will not escape death. And the enemy suffered 2 episodes of accumulation of damage, and the weak state could not last too long. Air shock. Meteor volcano. The realm of shadows. Whitebeard and Akainu blasted the deep sea strongly. Rukia and Feijun entered the realm of shadows, and even Haribel was taken away. So strong. Quincy. Chunshui was shocked by the strength of Whitebeard and Akainu, and even more amazed by the way Sister Rukia avoided. Ahad, but Yami, Tusen Kanami, and his own people can only struggle. The deep sea is like an icy abyss. Yami and Tusen Kanami passed out for a moment. Only Sajin is struggling. What should you do? Chun Shui ignored the 3 of them and looked directly at Nagato. But he was disappointed. From beginning to end, Nagato looked cold and calm. Fight to consume. Nagato's tone was not cold or cold. It seems that you only have this degree, then. The battle is over. Under Chun Shui's gaze, Nagato in the deep water slowly raised his sniper rifle. Danger. Extremely dangerous. Chunshui evacuated the place without thinking, but no matter where he hid, the deadly danger followed. Everything goes through. Boom. A hole in the abdomen. Hiraku Shunsui didn't see any attack, so he felt a pain in his abdomen. I will get hurt as soon as I aim, an invisible concept attack. Chunshui's analysis is fast, but it is a headache. In this case, evasion and distance are all looking for death, and they can only approach the counterattack. Drama. Spring water moves at high speed in the deep ocean. Boom. A shocking scene happened. Chunshui's Zanpakuto was shot out of a hole immediately and pierced him with it. Zanpakuto can't stop it. Chun Shui was shocked. Only then did I recall what Nagato said before. I will forcefully break the rules of the game. At the time, I thought that Nagato meant that he was very strong and the game was ineffective. But now I understand. Means to destroy Zanpakuto. Wow. Kaden Kyokutsu is a double knife, but when a knife is destroyed, Yuyuan is relieved. The deep ocean disappeared. Spring water fell. Puff. Cough. You are really too strong. Hiraku Shunsui lay on the ground with a bitter voice. This is not a fight at all. First of all, there is insufficient intelligence. If in the beginning, Nagato directly destroyed Chunshui's Zanpakuto, Chunshui would have long been defeated. Even if the original trajectory, Chunshui and Liji Luo, who possessed all things connected, ended in a disastrous defeat. But Liji Baro ran out of Eucharist. As for Nagato, the Eucharist was not opened. Why are you keeping your eyes closed? Seeing Nagato coming, Chunshui questioned. Nagato's left eye has been closed, which is strange. After all, sniping doesn't need to be like this all the time. Do you want to know? Nagato approached Chunshui, and aimed his sniper rifle at Chunshui's forehead. Chun Shui spit out a word and moved suddenly. The final stage. The link C gathered on the fingertips, forming a white thread like link C thread, which was directly wound around Nagato. Tie cut iron and blood to stain the throat. Kaden Kyokutsu has 2. 1 damage makes the 3rd stage invalid, but there is another one that can continue the 4th stage attack. Last paragraph. The winding silk ends here. Shit. The sniper rifle was cut directly, but when the winding thread tried to cut Nagato off. Nagato opened his left eye. My strength is too strong. I kept shutting my left eye to suppress myself. When I open my eyes, it is the true manifestation of Wangguantong's strength. In a trance, the attack was ineffective. When the eyes are opened, in this state, any attack is invalid. Of course there is a time limit. After opening the Eucharist, it will also enter the invincible state. In order to harm Nagato, besides Lan Yu's sanctity, it is a conceptual damage return, or a counter-penetration attack. For example, the 8 mirror sword rebounds damage. Chi-chi-chi-chi. Several small spirit blades appeared in Nagato's hand. Directly penetrate Kiraku Shunsui's, not in soul sleep, to seal off the acupuncture points that produce spiritual power. Also blocked spring water operation. Why didn't you kill me? Kiraku Shunsui looked at Nagato. Nagato didn't say anything and stunned Kiraku Shunsui directly. Captain Chunshui. Paimora Sajin exclaimed. In such a desperate scene, Sajin broke out in Pai Village. Humanized technique. Komamura Sajin made up his mind. Humanization technique. An ancestral secret instrument of the Man-Wolf clan, the operator needs to devote his heart. Strength sword. Immortal. But when the humanization technique is lifted, the life of a person will end, and it will become a beast that loses the ability to speak. Medium divine lost. Absolutely 0. But when Sajin in the village is preparing to use the secret technique, Hyjin and Rukia appear from the realm of shadows. Fei Gen arrow hit the village directly. Rukia's knife also slashed Komamura, freezing it in place. Plus the fainted Yami. And Haribel who never fights. This battlefield is over. Theatrical battle. Lan Yu in the void made a comment. Then I looked to the other corner. There is a little loli with long green hair in the lake, running in the desert. Cute little Nilu. Chapter 36. Captain, the big thing is not good. Feel the anger of love. Advertisement. Captain, the big thing is not good. People from the Technical Development Bureau ran over again, very anxiously. Hōgyoku Mundo, have also been banned. What? The captains who were still discussing were taken aback. Yuan Lujai also frowned. He hasn't figured out yet in this world, Hōgyoku Mundo has also fallen. Chun Shui. The thought of Chun Shui and them being sent to Hōgyoku Mundo for investigation made Yuan Lujai's heartache. Can block Hōgyoku Mundo. Not to mention whether it is the Holy Empire, at least there is a strong person who Chun Shui can't resist, and the loss is too great. Are you at Hōgyoku Mundo so soon? Aizen nudged his glasses, eyes showing weird light. He seems. Did not tell the Zai Palace Empire. What happens if Espada meets the Empire army? Aizen knows when he thinks about it. Exclude a few. The rest are arrogant and arrogant guys, commonly known as no brains. If you encounter an empire, you must endure it. The ending can be imagined. But Aizen doesn't care that Espada is not Espada. It is a subordinate to say that it is good, and it is a lot of experimentation and cannon fodder to say that it is not good. I wanted to counterattack Soul Society. Let Espada play against the captains, so as not to cause chaos. But now, Aizen felt his own strength, then looked at the captains of Gote 13, and suddenly felt that Espada was useless. He alone is enough. Thought of this, Aizen glanced at Kagaya who was quietly reading, and Kagaya just looked up and passed Aizen's gaze. Eye contact. Aizen. Kagaya-senpai, do you act? Kagaya. Young people just have no patience. Aizen. That's right, no matter whether the dust removed is 1 or 2, it is difficult to identify with the naked eye. Don't worry. Kagaya. Huh, you can do it well. Aizen. Teacher Madara taught well. Yuan Lujai suddenly said, Kagaya, I need to trouble you to try again. Yes, Captain. Kagaya stood up and said elegantly. As the owner of Zanpakuto of the Space Department, it is incumbent on her to explore the space-like ability of banning the world. After Kagaya leaves, Yuan Lujai said solemnly, let the notice go down, Jing Lingting has it all, and be prepared to fight and sacrifice. This. Many captains were surprised. That's right, it is suspected that the Empire banned the world, and then banned Hōgyoku Mundo. The interval was less than half a day, too soon. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. It may be Soul Society's turn. The absolute coma is not good. Go all down. Yuan Lujai drove people. Recently, things have been a bit annoying, and the old man wants to be quiet, he wants to be quiet. The captains retired one after another. On the deserted trail. Ichimaru Jin always looks like a smiling Mimi, and is as unpredictable as a snake. Captain Lanliang, according to the current situation, at most 2 days, the Empire will come over, don't you plan to do something? Quote. Silver, you will see. Aizen is also estimating the time. He guessed that the Imperial Army should not be a collective offensive, but split the army, otherwise it must be faster. The 4 armies of the Empire, but the main combat power is in the 5 realms, if you add Hell to the 6. Perhaps, no army is assigned to Soul Society, that will be my stage. Or maybe, it is preparing to take down other circles and attack Soul Society collectively. Anyway, I will hand in a perfect answer sheet, which will make the teacher proud and please your majesty. Aizen thought so, and he could see the sky above Soul Society, as if it was broken at the touch of a touch. But, no one stands in the sky in the first place. Is this really what I want? This is not some kind of ambition, but Aizen's childhood desire, to pull all the gods and kings down from the mortal world, and let him reach the top. The original intention remains unchanged. But the class teacher taught the policy set by your majesty. His original intention has not changed. Ichimaru Jin still smiled. Captain Aizen, why do you think people have ambitions? Silver, your question is very interesting. After hearing this, Aizen chuckled. All ambitions stem from self-confidence or ignorance, self-confidence in strength, or ignorance of the power of God. Ichimaru Jin opened his eyes slightly and said, so, is your majesty a god? Certainly. Aizen was sure to speak, and then slowly added, even gods, come up from mortals. Those born gods seem to be perfect, but they are deep in a cage. Your majesty becomes a god from fan. Ichimaru Jin agreed with this point, but smiled at Mimi and added, Captain Aizen, I don't think this sentence is accurate. It should be said that although your majesty has become a god, he is the god we always look up to, and never want to surpass it. It is absolutely impossible to surpass. We can't go beyond. Don't try to transcend. The former was when he was a child, and Ben was able to speak to Aizen, and the middle was Urahara Kazuki who spoke to Aizen, and Yin said it again. 3 different but the same words. Every time I heard it, Aizen felt differently. In childhood, there is only worship. Now I heard that it is a bit complicated. Yin, you haven't seen your majesty. Captain Aizen, you forgot, you fetched spirit orbs for me from Kagaya-senpai. Hey, your holy writing is good. I'm thinking, your majesty should have it too. After all, it is part of your majesty's power. No, to be precise, a drop of blood dilutes a trace of power in hundreds of millions. Aizen pushed down his glasses and looked at Yin Dao with a smile. The Empire is coming soon, accompany me to have a cup of black tea to celebrate. Okay. Ichimaru Jin smiled and nodded. The two left slowly. Kagaya, who was in the void, retracted his gaze, rubbed his chin and blinked and said, "What should I do if the child is in the rebellious period?" Advertisement. But, it's still Xiao Paozi who has an idea, not like Xiao Sukezi who is heartless, Your Majesty. I should be more optimistic about him. The Empire wants to be prosperous. We definitely can't always rely on Lan Yu alone, let alone some veterans, to manage the Empire. There has always been a new generation rising. Hinata's generation is very good, but it can be crushed too hard by the veterans. No one has ever thought about it. Take Kagaya instead, take the Pillar Madara instead. Soldiers who don't want to be marshals are not good soldiers. Without ambition, they have no motivation, and without motivation, they will be ordinary. I'm not afraid that you have ambitions, because I am confident to suppress everything, but you don't even dare to expect the marshal, it disappoints me too much. These are the words of Lan Yu in a conference hall. Lan Yu is very calm. The Holy Empire is not a mortal dynasty, but an empire based on military power with him as the main body. He didn't encourage the soldiers to rebel, but to be motivated. Someone wanted to rise up, but when they saw Zu Madara and Kagaya reading quietly, they were suddenly angry. The backlog is over. The Pillar Madara Kagaya is a mountain that is difficult to cross, and the new generation dare not think about it. The Kagaya trio were also a little disappointed. Therefore, Kagaya nurtures Hinata, Class nurtures Aizen, and Hashirama nurtures Kazuki, all have the same goal, try to surpass me. Try to chase me. Lan Yu is very simple. Because it is indeed impossible for the people of the Empire to surpass him, not at all. Come on, the new generation. Above the sky, I sit on the throne of the pinnacle, waiting for you to come and worship. Hōgyoku Mundo. The war continues. No one knows how big Hōgyoku Mundo is, but it is definitely not a small space. It's not like the present world, except for some Shinigami, masks, quintessers, and manifestas, the rest are ordinary humans. After sweeping Karakura town, there are basically no obstacles, even mushroom bombs and the like are useless. 0. For flowers, White Zetsu is a clone, directly replacing the high levels of various countries in the world. The army is directly taken over by the Imperial Army, and the network promotes the Empire, changing the sky and the ground every day. It's easy. No need to fight too much. And, Hōgyoku Mundo is not counted. Relying only on the 100,000 soldiers of the Empire Marine, it took too long to completely suppress countless irrational virtualities. Goal. Okay. 800 miles and 30,000 emptiness ahead, there is no obvious wisdom, it can be cleared. Energy stable. The test is complete. Preparation for micro-spiritual nuclear weapons. Emission. When the soldiers of the Empire swept across, all flying aircraft carriers also launched dimensionality reduction strike forces. Empire. Spiritual nuclear weapons. Once under the watchful eye of elites in all departments of the Empire, he hit, destroy the star. Of course, the main purpose of the spiritual nuclear weapon is to destroy the soul, preserve everything, clean and pollution-free. Only the soul is destroyed, the others are indestructible. An invisible wave swept across the flying aircraft carrier for 800 miles in a flash. Wow, there are tens of thousands of virtual things ahead. All of them stagnated and suffered a devastating blow. When a breeze blew, they all turned into dust and nothingness. Hiss. See this silent great horror again. Oh. Even after many tests, the Empire soldiers on the flying aircraft carrier are still amazed. Horrible. The wide range of silent and unable to defend the soul's destruction attack will be a nightmare for all creatures in the spiritual world. More than 30 years ago. Life below 8 stars, soul shattered. Nowadays, beings below the transcendent realm can't hide their souls with a single shot. Stop using strategic weapons. Yes, the soldiers of the Empire need military service, so you can use it or not. Switch weapons, prepare laser cannon. Boom boom boom. A plane, a flying aircraft carrier, sailing on the Hōgyoku Mundo, spraying laser rain. 99.9% of Hōgyoku Mundo are witless beasts. Clean up a wave first. Outside the Zai Palace, the remaining 7 espadas had different expressions, but most of them were angry. What a holy empire. I simply don't put Hōgyoku Mundo in my eyes. But they were all stopped by the commander of the Imperial Marine. Hōgyoku Mundo, so badly, Master Aizen will never let you go. No. 7 Zamari Ruro's complexion is extremely ugly, even if you don't see it here, you can feel a lot of vanity. Gui Zhao grinned with a big knife, you mean Aizen Hōgyoku? Yes, praise Lord Aizen. No. 7 Zamari is full of enthusiasm. He is Aizen's #1 fan, and even a fan of the brains, the original track, even if he is dying, he has to shout, long live Aizen. Think of Aizen as God. Looking at the worship in No. 7's eyes, Gui Zhao said casually, with your words, I won't kill you. Arrogant. No. 7 Zamari is also arrogant. This shark face that looks like an imaginary is too arrogant. Quite it, cursed Isanga. No. 7 Zamari goes straight to the edge. Zanpakuto bends and squeezes out smoke to cover his whole body, and his lower body turns into a peach-colored pumpkin-shaped ball and floats off the ground. As many as 50 eyes appear on the body, and the skill can be cast from any eye. Love. Oh, so many eyes, you are so scary. Not far away, Kizaru felt that he had committed intensive phobia. As the opponent, Kisame frowned slightly. So, my opponent is a pumpkin. Oh, You will pay the price. Known as a pumpkin, number 7 Zoli immediately became angry and started. Love. Feel the anger of love. Chapter 37. Ah, long live Lord Aizen. The tragic battlefield of the Night Palace. Advertisement. No. 7 Zamari Ruro. As Aizen's diehard fan, he is also the fastest moving among Arankar. In Espada, the ring is the first. It is also one of the few Arankars who are calm and not arrogant in Espada. Ability. Love. Similar to Jiraiya's love, it is the ability to control. Love. The body parts staring at Zamari's eyes will be dominated by him, and the dominated parts will show sun-like patterns. If you dominate the mind, you can dominate the whole body and control it completely. However, you can use Reiatsu-type defense capabilities, such as Keto Splitting Void Defense. After returning to the blade, Zamari blinked with 50 eyes on the pumpkin on his body and lower body. Chi-Chi looked at the ghost father. Motivation. Love. No. 7 Zamari looked at Kisame indifferently and said, Hōgyoku Mundo belongs to Aizen adults. No outsiders are allowed to cause chaos. That's it, shark-faced humans. Unexpectedly, Aizen has a brain fan. It seems that he has grown a lot. Seeing the sun pattern on his body and the body that is difficult to control, Kisame grinned. The ability to control the class is very good, but you. Too weak. Wow. Next moment. Under No. 7 Zamari's stunned, Kisame, controlled by his ability, turned into smoke, and turned into a pure spirit. What is this? Dead. In the surprise of No. 7 Zamari. A deep voice came from my ears. That's a clone. There are too many abilities in the spirit world. The 463 clone test is the best choice. Clone. No. 7 Zamari was shocked and felt the crisis from behind. Ring. Like teleportation. No. 7 Zamari instantly disappeared in place, but the crisis behind him still did not disappear. The twins are ringing. In an instant, the speed of No. 7 Zamari skyrocketed, and a few small steps were added after the normal ringing, forming an afterimage. It produces something like a clone, and there are 5 No. 7 Zamari moving at high speed. Good speed. However, it's still too slow. The ghost dragon's body that followed, holding the big sword Samahata, also entered the home edge. Speaking of which, I'm Arankars, of course, this title is out of date. Conquest him, Jiao muscle. Karaka. No. 7 Zamari's afterimage was shattered. When Kisami's masseter muscle turned into a shark-legged giant sword, No. 7 Zamari's body turned his head back and gave a glimpse. How can it be? Kisami's home blade. It is too similar to No. 3 Harabel's home blade, which makes number 7 Zoli difficult to understand. Ability can be repeated. Brush. Kisame approached No. 7 Zamari, slashed with a knife, and Reiatsu boiled. Burning ocean current. The high-temperature water vapor flow turned into a huge high-temperature water dragon, rushing to number 7. Really? Is her ability? No. 7 Zamari was stunned by Kisami's move. The abilities and moves were exactly the same as Harabel's, but it was even more terrifying. For a while, he forgot to use Kisami's body. Love. Baby posture. The terrifying water dragon rushed and roared, and No. 7 Zamari finally recovered. In the state of the Senga of returning blade curse eye, No. 7 Zamari directly retracted his body into the pumpkin-shaped body of his lower body to avoid the attack. Boom. The water dragon collided with the pumpkin, exploded a piece of spirit, and set off a wave of steam. The body shrinks into the pumpkin to defend. Seeing this scene, Kisame couldn't help but laughed. Are you too high on your defense? Large divine destruction. Kisame used his weapon to draw an arc in the air, and a huge bow and arrow appeared above the trajectory. The huge arrow pierced the void. The moment it touches the pumpkin, it turns into a huge lightsaber, directly splitting the whole pumpkin. Boom. The lightsaber remains unabated. A huge, narrow and terrifying abyss was cut outside the Zai Palace, and No. 7 Zamari was hit with heavy losses. Puff cough cough. No. 7 Zamari fell to the ground, a hideous scar on his body, almost split his whole person. Blood red goes in and out. The spiritual core was hit hard. One blow sent No. 7 Zamari into a near-death state. The process is too fast. To the surprise of the rest of Espada, No. 7 Zamari had no resistance. Brush. The ghost dragon landed in front of No. 7 Zamari, pointed the tip of the knife at No. 7 Zamari and said, You. Stop talking nonsense. No. 7 Zamari opened his mouth very hard, and his eyes were full of madness. Kill if you want, I. Smashed down. Star No. 7 Zamari directly. Gui Zhao shrugged and said, I won't kill you, you are blue anyway. The words were not over yet. To the surprise of Gui Zhao, No. 7 Zamari woke up on the spot. No. 7 Zamari's eyes were full of fanatical worship, and he shouted, Ah, praise Lord Aizen. Long live Aizen-sama. No. 7 Zamari fainted after shouting. At this scene, Gui Zhao was shocked, and it took him a long time to whisper, Talents. Espada is mostly arrogant. He did not listen to the announcement, and even dreamed of killing Aizen's Arankar, and some were very obedient. But only No. 7 Zamari, who admires Aizen the most, is willing to die for Aizen. But it doesn't matter. No. 7 Zamari is not arrogant and has good abilities. The ghost dragon let him go. It's a waste to lose so soon. On the other side, Grimjow of number 6 gave a cold snort, extremely disdainful. If No. 7 Zamari is a diehard fan, so number 6 Grimjow is the kind of Arankar who has no respect for Aizen. Impetuous, cruel, and conceited. Alala, you don't seem to have the right to look down on others. Xingshang spoke lazily, acting very casually, not caring about Grimjiao. Grimjiao felt contempt for this posture, and couldn't help but angrily said, "You look down on me. Who do you think you are?" Advertisement. It turned out to be a human. Interrupting Aokiji directly, Grimjiao took a closer look at Aokiji, disdainfully said, "I don't know where you have the courage to face me, feel the Leopard King." The words have not fallen yet. Xingshang's figure flashed, and he flew Grimjiao with one foot, shrugging his shoulders and said, "You are really noisy. You angered me." Grimjiao, who got up suddenly, became angry. He felt insulted by being taken away, and got up and went back to the edge. Wow, quack, king. After returning to the blade, Zanpakuto disappeared, his body turned into a white leopard ears, long hair and green eyeshadow, Reiatsu violent. The claws of the Leopard King. Grimjiao turned around. The two claws produced two huge blue light marks, which directly tore open the atmosphere, and grasped Xingshang with a sense of oppression. Brush. Xingshang quickly avoided. Arriving in the sky above Grimjiao, the coldness of ultimate burst into his hands. Freezing time capsule. The air conditioning is like a torrent, everything freezes wherever it passes, and it spreads quickly. Get out of here. Grimjiao ran away like a leopard. Reiatsu went all the way and broke the air conditioning. At the same time, a red energy ball is condensed in the hand, and Reiatsu is highly concentrated and released instantly. Sero. The response was, "Yes, I seem to be underestimating you." Aokiji didn't fight back, and just avoided Sero. Hiding. Dreaming. Grimjiao looked sharp. Mixing Reiatsu with his own blood, the palm of the hand produces blue Sero. Wang Shu's flash. The extra-large Sero shows violent destructive power, distorting the void as soon as it appears, causing devastating blows to wherever it goes. It's troublesome, but avoid it. Xingshang disappeared in place in a flash. Your Excellency Kuzan, it's interesting. The smile from the rear was playing against No 9 Aronio, and when he saw it, Xingshang dodged and Sero attacked. Smiling eyes. Has long since recovered. With a smile, he clearly saw that Kuzan was too lazy to fight back, and directly avoided, causing the attack to come to him. Damn Grimjiao. No 9 Aronoluo couldn't help but get angry when he saw Wang Shu's flash, so couldn't he run to other places to fight? Gravity Knife Tiger. With a smile, he drew his sword and cut instantly. The terrifying gravity wave slash directly distorted the void, and powerfully destroyed Wang Shu's flash. This guy. Grimjiao was stunned when he saw Sero tear open so easily. Where are you looking? The sudden explosion made Grimjiao startled and felt cold. Ice Age. Aokiji appeared from the realm of shadows, directly placed his hand on Grimjiao, and burst into the ultimate cold. What is it? Grimjiao was instantly frozen. Layer after layer of cold air in the forest, carrying a lot of Reiatsu from Aokiji, completely froze Grimjiao in place. Even the Reiatsu with him was frozen. Completely frozen. It's a pity, you didn't even give me the opportunity to use the holy script. Aokiji shrugged and raised his foot. Holy text. Ice. Ice. Freeze from the icy cold of the material level, freezing thinking, will, energy, etc. Stunt. Time freezes. Boom. Xingshang fell. Kicked the ice sculpture directly, Grimjiao's body shattered to the ground, and the spiritual core shattered. Number 6. Die. Your Excellency Kuzan is very efficient. He smiled and chuckled not far away. And No 9 Aronio seized the opportunity and rushed in. Eat him. Late night. After number 9 returns to the blade, the upper body remains unchanged, while the lower body changes into a huge, ugly, octopus-like form. As he who has swallowed tens of thousands of imaginary, his ability is to swallow and evolve, and the blade has the power of tens of thousands of imaginary. If it swallows Shinigami, he can even use all the power of Shinigami that he has swallowed as he wants. Mighty humans, let me swallow them, ha 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 ha. No 9 Aronio laughed greedily and swallowed it with a smile. It's also a blessing to not look at things. I didn't expect that after the eyes were restored, the first opponent would be such an ugly monster. With a smile, he felt Aronilo's greed and bloodthirsty, and drew the knife. 0.3. Gravity Knife Hell Brigade. Boom. The terrifying gravity fell under the pressure, directly suppressing No 9 Aronio in the collapsed abyss. Gravity Knife Kyuhei. The lavender gravitational waves on Yishao's body washed away, directly affecting the gravitational field in the abyss. The crazy squeeze directly shattered the body and spiritual core of No 9 Aronilo. Ming. When he smiled, under the influence of gravity waves, the ground was leveled again, as if nothing had happened. And Aronilo was buried deep underground. Number 9. Die. Except the first 4, the rest can be killed. This is an order from Lan Yu. In Lan Yu's view, a Espada removes the first 4 blades, and the rest is unsightly. The first 4, not to mention the character, but the ability is very good, very potential. The battlefield is fierce. The tragedy is Arankar's side. No. 8 Zael Aporo Grants, who currently has no opponent, saw this and ran away secretly. There are too many strong empires, let's leave here first. Where are you going? Suddenly a huge shadow of nearly 10 meters blocked him, and no. 8 Glands looked up and saw the tall Kaido. Kaido Reiatsu was extremely violent, and shouted like a demon. You, and all the Arankars except Espada, let's go together. Boom. Chapter 38. Rage. Advertisement. Kaido said a word. directly blasted in all directions, and all Arankars, including Espada, felt the eardrums roar, one place in their hearts. Then, the audience was in an uproar. Presumptuous. Arrogant. Ridiculous human. %#%. Well, the last sentence is the unique, civilized language of Hōgyoku Mundo, which is ugly. Number 8 plus all Arankars except Espada, right? Kaido this sentence. Similar to lousy has to hit hundreds. You know, Arankar doesn't just have Espada is just the best in Arankar, and Aizen ranks the number according to the killing ability. Except Espada. There are also subordinate officers, Espada culprits, buried troops, and special Arankars. The serial number row can be ranked in the 100. In particular, the Espada knockouts were all 3-digit numbers. They were originally members of Espada, but were overtaken by other Arankars. The numbers were changed to 3-digit numbers. Just look at the record. Original track. No 103 vs Kurosaki Ichigo. No 105 vs Ishida Yulong. No 107 vs Sato Yasutora. Although they didn't win, the three of them were able to play against the three brothers of the protagonist, and they knew their strength once they were driven into a desperate situation. The subordinate officials also have outstanding ones. There is also a werewolf who can fight the undead werewolf against Captain Genryujai. Espada. No one can beat all Arankars except Espada alone. Quantitative changes cause qualitative changes. It is conceivable that Kaido's words not only angered Espada, but also devalued Espada to the extreme. Guilty of public anger. Do you know how to bark? Kaido stared at Tongling with big eyes, with arrogance and disdain. I know from Espada's defeat in such a short time, a bunch of rubbish. **%07#*. The beautiful, Hōgyoku Mundo, civilized term. But the Arankars could not refute it. No. 3 Harabel surrendered to Hyjin and Rukia. No. 5 Neutra was severely injured by Akainu and died of Kyoraku Shunsui. No. 6 Grimjow, died of Qingshong. No. 7 Zamari, defeated by the Ghost Dragon. No. 9 Aronio, died with a smile. No. 10/0 Yami was severely injured by Whitebeard and died of Kyoraku Shunsui. How long is this? Most of Espada knelt. But this is not the reason Kaido looks down on them. No. 8 glands floated angrily. Do you know how terrible it is to anger scientists? Humans. Scientist. Just you. Kaido glanced disdainfully. No. 8 glands is arrogant and contemptuous expression on his face almost made Kaido vomit. Think of Orochimaru wearing glasses, a gentle scum, cough cough, and an elegant scholar appearance, that's what a scientist can do. And this guy, scum. Number 8 is a research institution staff member of the Virtual Circle, who is responsible for intelligence and data, etc., and is an expert who develops all spiritual weapons. The original track was killed by Nirvana and made a specimen. Hehe, you will pay the price. Seeing the disdain in Kaido's eyes, No. 8 glands almost died of anger and yelled. Go on. Although broken straight people are speechless. But one by one came to an end. Wake up, volcano beast. Squash him, giant elephant soldier. Spin, barren storm. Grow up, skeleton tree. Break him off, wheel Tion. Sero, virtual bomb. All kinds of home blades, all kinds of Sero, dozens of hundreds of brilliance, rushed to Kaido. The attack from all directions was like a tsunami, making the remaining Espadas uncomfortable. They seemed to underestimate the Arankar outside of Espada. Unity is strength. But Kaido laughed loudly. Finally it looks a little bit, come on, kill lousy, ha 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 ha. Madman. Too crazy. Kaido stood there with no defense, no evasion, no counterattack, and opened his hands to meet the attack. This attitude. The way to death. You know, some Arankar's abilities are not physical attacks, and some are almost conceptual. Just like the sugar in Qinghai. Childlike fruits. Although powerful armed colors can defend, Kaido will also become a doll if you don't do any defense. Under this circumstance, Kaido's madness made the Empire powerhouses such as Gui Zhao stun their tongues. This guy is getting crazy. But Yoshio and others are not worried. Even if there is a near-concept ability, it depends on the strength gap, and there is no ability to ignore all levels. No matter how strong the abilities of ordinary people are, they can't affect Lan Yu. There is a truth. But such a scene made No. 8 glands' eyes lit up and chilled, making a strong sneak attack. Warm drink, evil concubine Yin. The No. 8 glands of the home blade becomes the tentacles itself, spraying a lot of juice toward Kaido. Dominate the doll. Boom boom boom. Various attacks exploded on Kaido. Kaido, who was nearly 10 meters tall, was hit like a boot. For a time, the battlefield stagnated. One after another looked over. Dead. I can't feel Reiatsu anymore. Definitely dead. I have never seen such an arrogant human being when I grow up. The dust flooded Kaido, and the Arankars discussed it, but when the dust cleared. Arankar was horrified. Guru, how is it possible? The dust cleared. No, it was a bigger figure, and the violent Reiatsu ripped the dust away and appeared. Unscathed. Height, tens of meters. Advertisement. Just to add such a little strength, you guys disappointed lousy too much. Kaido, who is scaled by God, is very dissatisfied. The power of miracles turns all disadvantages into advantages, namely, miracles. It can turn all the damage into one's own power, God's measure, the body becomes huge. But when he was nearly 10 meters away, he only became tens of meters, and he didn't increase much strength at all. Because Kaido himself was much stronger than in the Qinghaijia period, Arrancar's attack was like a tickle to him. The straight guys were horrified, but no. Eight Glands laughed wildly. It's powerful, it's so powerful. I thought Yami was already brave and invincible, but I didn't expect you to be more brave than him. I like it. No. Eight Glands' eyes are maddened. Come out, doll. A rag doll appeared in his hand. Domination doll. A large amount of juice wraps the opponent and replicates an opponent's ragdoll. The ragdoll is to dominate the controller of the opponent's 5 senses, which can convey touch and damage to the opponent. No. Eight Glands laughed wildly. If you kneel now, I can keep your whole body, ha 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 ha. Boom. Kaido swung it straight down. Too fast. The terrifying Reiatsu shock wave directly landed on number 8 Glands, blasting him apart. Half of his body collapsed, lying on the ground. Puff, cough, how could it be? The power of Kaido made no. 8 Glands incredible, and he was dying. I can't die, I can't die. Lumina, no. 8 Glands burst out in horror. Lumina is number 8's a subordinate officer. It is also a manufactured man-made human, whose body structure is a healing medicine, which can be consumed to heal itself in an emergency. Woo. The chubby Lumina turned into Streamer, forming a purple-black energy ball that flew into number 8's hand. Kachacha. Number 8 picks it up and eats it with a whistle. This made Kaido raised his brow slightly. How do you feel that you have seen it before? Turn the kid into an energy ball and eat it to recover and become stronger. Isn't this Otsutsuki Peach style? Go all out. The Arrancars shot again. Various Sero attacks reappeared. But Kaido obviously has no patience. Lousy gave you a chance, but the waste has no second chance. Miracle Thunder 8 trigrams. This trick is the miraculous power of Kaido Armed Color plus Conquerors plus Large Sacred Killer. The thunder flickered. Thundering 8 trigrams broke into the void directly, turned into a huge range of energy tides, and drowned toward the broken ones. Boom. The energy tide ran away. As if the entire Hōgyoku Mundo trembled, the Arrancars ushered in a devastating blow. Nearly half of his opponents didn't even have a chance to scream, they died in one blow. Oh, it's terrible. Kizaru blasted the aftermath, with an exaggerated expression on his face, and looked at the opposite side and said, handsome boy, why don't you stop hitting? I'm going to be scared to death. Espada, the black-haired opposite, was cold and silent. Kaido's attack directly broke the guts of the rest of Arrancar, and immediately fled around. You can't escape. Kaido snorted coldly. If it can run away in my hands, it will be a miracle, but lousy itself is a miracle. Go to hell. After eating the no 8 glands recovered by the subordinate officer, he shouted angrily and directly twisted the doll. Take out the internal organs of the doll. This time you are dead. No. 8 glands is looking forward to it very much. Domination dolls, if they hurt a rag doll, then the copied person will also be hurt. Destroying the internal organs of a ragdoll can also destroy the corresponding internal organs of the opponent. 510 inches come on. Kaido looked forward to it. Waiting for no 8 glands to break out, otherwise it would be too boring. You, are you okay? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. No. 8 glands feels going crazy. Kaido frowned. Have you shot? Puff. No 8 glands vomits blood. He obviously sprayed sweat and copied Kaido's ragdoll, which could harm the ragdoll to defeat Kaido. But why is Kaido okay? This kind of abnormal power is a disadvantage for Kaido. The power of miracles turns disadvantages into advantages. But this disadvantage is not strong. Kaido didn't feel much, so I thought that no 8 glands didn't make a move. Do you want to laugh lousy? After waiting for a long time, when no 8 vomited blood and lost consciousness, Kaido laughed angrily. Boom. Kaido stepped on it. It directly smashed Glands' body, bones, and spiritual core. Number 8. Die. A bunch of rubbish. You can't even let lousy use up the Eucharist. Go to death. Kaido turned around to hunt and kill Arrancar, violently destroyed. Boom. Boom. The violent Kaido often tears the world apart, and even destroys the Shuyi Palace. Humph. Kaido glanced over Espada's only remaining crowned old man, black-haired brother, and decadent uncle, and did not make a move with a cold snort. Because there are opponents. It's troublesome, can I not fight? Uncle Decadent sat lazily on the ground, looking troublesome. Namikaze Minato calmly said, your companion has died so many, is there no revenge? I'm not interested in them. Uncle Decadent spoke directly. Namikaze Minato didn't care, that's it, but I'm interested in you. Why? Because your number is 1. Where did you see it? Exclusion. Uncle Decadent was a little helpless. It seems that it won't work if you don't fight, but this blonde man looks so strong, it's really troublesome. All right, I am number 1. Chapter 39. Namikaze Minato vs Stark, Unlimited Reloading Sero. Advertisement. Uncle Decadent. Espada. Number 1. Although the real number of number 10 Yami is number 0, according to Aizen's method 0 to 9, it has a stronger killing ability than number 1. But, Yami upgrade is too troublesome. It is also necessary to accumulate anger and burst out anger. If it really fights, number 1 can definitely kill Yami before it becomes number 0. So, under normal circumstances, number 1's killing ability is undoubtedly Espada's first. Aizen arranged it himself, no doubt. Of course, the ability to kill can only be regarded as a part of the combat power, and cannot be completely regarded as the combat power. It depends on the opponent. Number 1's Coyote Stark also means the same. The servant is lazy and said, although I am one, I am not strong. Well, you are really weak. Namikaze Minato nodded slightly. Stark stunned, then nodded. Yes, I'm so weak, so don't fight. Minato smiled suddenly. It seems that you are really strong. This made Stark a little confused. Why can't I understand you? The previous sentence is very weak. The latter sentence is very strong. Minato's words made Stark stunned, and continued. Backquote from the perspective of ordinary people, if a person is handsome and is called ugly by another person, then he will not care and treat it as a joke. If a person looks ugly and is called ugly by another person, then there is a high probability that he will be angry. Even if he doesn't show it, he will be angry inside. Because he is really ugly. Stark squinted his eyes slightly. Minato's words are very interesting and explained to him the previous words. To say he is weak is a joke, but to say he is strong is serious. I can see you don't want to fight, but this is war, not a game. A spiritual blade appeared on Namikaze Minato's right hand. Whoever it is, during the Imperial War, suppress it first, understand? Fei Lian feet. Minato came to Stark in an instant, and chopped down with a knife. Ring. Stark, who was sitting lazily on the ground, also disappeared in a flash. Good speed. Namikaze Minato praised it, and turned around to condense a huge arrow with his left hand. Threw it towards Stark. Medium Divine lost. It's a peculiar ability to condense the spirit attack. Stark looked directly at the arrow that struck. Hey. The arrow pierced the void. Very fast. Stark also launched a counterattack, almost without any preparation. A blue Reiatsu rushed out from Xjong's mouth. Sero. Stark's Sero, in terms of speed and power, outperforms other Arankars. Boom. Two energies exploded in the void. Also at this time, Namikaze Minato disappeared again and came to the sky over Stark the next moment. Boom. The police arrived at Minato, and Stark's Reiatsu broke out and tried to stop Minato's movements with the powerful Reiatsu. Pity. Minato didn't seem to feel anything, and kicked hard. Boom boom boom. Stark flew backwards for hundreds of meters in an instant. More than a dozen potholes were smashed in the desert-like sand drifts, and finally landed. Stark. A petite loli yelled worriedly. Wearing an Arankar mask on his head, light green short hair, easy to wear, very compact. She is also the only one who did not besiege Kaido with other Arankars. Stark subordinate officer. Liliet. The same Reiatsu fluctuation, anger. Namikaze Minato couldn't help but glanced at little Loli, feeling very strange. This Loli, and Stark, seemed to have the same root. Brothers and sisters. You're a big shit, Minato asked with a weird look. It's Stark. Stark's eyelids twitched as he stood up. Minato said sincerely. It's all the same, except for your strength, you really look like ordinary people. I want to be an ordinary person, too. Stark looked forward to it. His Arankar mask is like a necklace hanging around his neck, with brown curly hair and a beard, just like an ordinary human uncle. If it weren't for the big hole in Shang's mouth that represents the emptiness, the appearance is really no different from that of a human being. I am always lazy and uninterested in external affairs. Hate trouble, hate being alone. It seems that he doesn't care about anything, but he values his companions very much in his heart. For example, those Arankars who died made Stark's heart very confused. There is always something to be done. Stark inadvertently glanced at the dead Espada and the Arankars who were chased by Kaido. Hey, what can I do? Stark sighed, looked lazy, and began to take it seriously. Nice look, I hope you can surprise me. Minato looked forward to it, watching Stark quietly. It's really troublesome. Stark looked aside. Lily, please. Don't you lose. Liliet nodded cutely, and ran towards Stark. Under Minato's gaze, Liliet turned into a streamer on the way. Hunt him, pack of wolves. Stark entered the state of returning to the blade, and the rising Reiatsu made Link see boil. After returning to the edge, Stark dressed like a hunter of a hunting wolf, holding a musket-shaped weapon in each hand. The weapon is transformed by Liliet. Minato was surprised. That little girl, is your Zanpakuto. To be precise, she is me, I am her, we are one. When Stark was in Hōgyoku Mundo, in the early days, because Reiatsu was strong, the weak approaching would automatically consume his soul and die. So there has been no companion. A person travels alone in Hōgyoku Mundo, seeking a powerful companion who can be with himself without being shocked to death by Reiatsu. But things are counterproductive. In order to get rid of loneliness, Stark split his soul into two individuals, Stark and Liliet. Advertisement. Also known as, the body is split, Stark is the flesh, Lily Knight is Zanpakuto. You are very nice, come with me. One day, Stark ran into Aizen and accepted the invitation to join the Shuyi Palace. Stark is still very happy. Because there are many powerful Arankars in the Zai Palace, although they are all arrogant and cold, but at least they are no longer alone. It is worth mentioning that Stark is the only Manos Grande from Arankar in Espada. Another, Ulquiorra. But Stark is a self-propelled Arankar, while Ulquiorra is a self-propelled and semi-Arankar. The two have great potential. The unity of the soul is the body now. Is it divided because it is too strong? No, because, lonely. This answer makes Minato different. Then understand, at the top, you can never win from the heights. Sometimes being too strong is not necessarily a good thing, but it is the dream of countless people. Lonely shit is big, let me see the power of your so-called loneliness. Minato spoke, motioning for a shot. I don't like being alone. Stark picked up a pair of guns and aimed at Minato, cleaning the powerful Reiatsu wave. If you can't hold it, just shout surrender, and I will stop. He always doesn't like fighting, and will show mercy to the enemy's men. Unlimited reloading of Sero. Whoosh whoosh. In an instant, countless Sero shot out from the double guns. Instantly release an infinite group of Sero, with a large range and rapid shooting speed, like a majestic rain, the extremely dense Sero rushes towards Minato. Very strong Reiatsu, good moves, but also very dangerous. Namikaze Minato's eyes flickered. Holy text. Open. When Minato's holy text is opened, it is destined to hold the initiative in the hand. In the next moment, the inattentive Stark couldn't help being stunned. This speed is incredible. In Stark's eyes, Minato is like walking in a garden. Wander through the guns and bullets, avoiding all Sero at will. Infinite Sero. Do whatever you want, move your body with your heart, and teleport infinitely. Learn about it. In Minato's infinite teleport, there are basically no inevitable attacks. He thinks as fast as he can. Stark, Sero seems useless. Liliet's voice came from the two guns. Stark squinted his eyes slightly. Try again, shoot 1,000 shots in an instant, without leaving any gaps for him. Boom. 1,000 shots of Sero in an instant. As soon as he appeared, Lingxi roared, completely sealed off the void, and rushed towards Minato without any gaps. It's useless. Namikaze Minato also got serious. End of the Eucharist. Open. The terrifying Reiatsu erupted, causing all Sero to freeze in the void for an instant. A pair of illusory wings spread out behind Minato, and the space ripples between the waves. Buzzing. One after another, Sero seemed to pierce through Minato. When the Eucharist is opened, any barrier, energy, obstacle, space, etc., nothing can stop Minato from teleporting. So, Minato during teleportation, almost all attacks can be invalidated, which is a near invincible state. Speed is power. Have you ever been kicked by teleport? There was a sudden explosion in my ears. Only then did Stark realize that Minato in front of him had disappeared, and he felt the crisis. Flash kick. Carrying the armed color, blessing the blood suit, this is an instant violent kick from Minato. From top to bottom, Stark fell to the ground in an instant, smashing a deep hole in the desert. Oh, this sentence is inexplicably familiar, it's really scary. Kizaru, who was fighting in the distance, kept murmured, the copyright fee, the copyright fee. Wang Shu's flash, Stark in the pit, directly using blood as the medium, erupted with the strongest Sero. Buzzing. Minato, Li Dezhao teleports, the attack is invalid. Stark didn't care, he just feinted and took the opportunity to get away. Use Wang Shu's flash as a feint. If the dead Neutra and others know, they may be angry and come back to life. After all, Wang Shu's flash is Neutra's strongest move. To be honest, you are really strong. Looking at Stark who was pulling away, Namikaze Minato said casually, the moves are all simple, but they are not simple. These, not important. Stark never cared about his own strength, he hadn't practiced anyway. And, the blonde man in front of him is really strong. Just after the opening of the Eucharist, the Reiatsu passing by in an instant made Stark's heart palpitations. Definitely the strongest Reiatsu he has ever felt. Aizen can't match it, because Aizen and Reiatsu were not too strong when they formed Espada. Soul split, pack of wolves. The opponent is too strong. Stark shot it all out. Ho 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 ho. The ferocious wolves roared out. This is Stark's strongest move. Divide his soul into many pieces, and each piece can be turned into a fierce one. Multiple. Holy destruction and lost feathers. Namikaze Minato's fingertips shined. Dozens of lasers flew out, but Minato was surprised that the attack was ineffective. The arrow passed through the pack of wolves. Similar to the state of his teleportation. Ignore the attack. Chapter 40. Kizaru. Xiaowu, are you talking rash? Block it, Black Wing Demon. Advertisement. Split Soul Wolves. As the strongest move of number 1 Stark, every fierce soul split is an independent weapon like his compatriots. An explosion will occur after biting an enemy. Moreover, when a pack of wolves encounter a physical attack, they will pass through the physical attack like a flame, just like a wolf-shaped positioning missile. So, the sacred destruction of Namikaze Minato, attacking the pack of wolves, will pass through like elementalization, and will not cause destruction to the pack of wolves. This trick is really powerful. Namikaze Minato admired it. Although it will not affect him, it is undeniable that the power of the pack of wolves. Just like countless indestructible positioning missiles, collectively bombing the enemy. The body and soul are all in the range of strikes. Is this even useless to you? After seeing that Minato's attack was invalid, Stark still avoided viciously as if taking a walk in the courtyard. The moves are more powerful. Also hit the talent line. But for Minato, who has infinite flashes and ignores attacks during flashes, the pack of wolves is the most troublesome. Moreover, the pack of wolves has shortcomings, the number is not unlimited, and Liliet will disappear after all the wolves have exploded. Although I am not interested in winning or losing, I should always work hard. Stark glanced at the tragic battlefield inadvertently, and the gun's magazine drew out the blue Reiatsu blade. Kang Wolf. Knife. When the pack of wolves rushed towards Minato, Stark also rushed over with the wolf knife. I see your weakness. The speed is incredible. All attacks are ineffective, but the ineffective attacks happen while you are moving, as long as you stop. When Stark said this, he had come to the top of Minato and cut it down. Pot. The spirit blade collided with the sword of the wolf, exploding a spirit atmosphere. Minato resisted the wolf's sword and said, "Good way, you come and pretend to stop me, and then the pack of wolves will attack." Sero. Stark said nothing. The blue Sero came forward from 517 without warning and pointed straight at Nagato. At the same time, when Minato was stagnating, the pack of wolves gnawed towards Minato like a madman. Boom. Sero, the sword of the wolf, collided with the pack of wolves and burst apart. But, you underestimated my speed. The sound blew from behind again. Stark was a little hard to understand how Minato moved. Surrounded by wolves, Sero attacked, and the spirit knife slashed. How did Minato get through? As long as Minato thinks, nothing can stop him from moving. Even if there are countless spatial barriers, as long as Minato's endurance is not exceeded, he can still teleport as he wants. Stark turned around quickly. But there is still no Minato. You don't seem to have any stronger moves, so let's end it. The voice still rang from behind. Stark turned around again, feeling the crisis suddenly. Spiral flashing super round dance sword pressure cut. The dazzling spiral sword pressure slid across Stark's back in an instant. Puff. Boom. An extremely hideous wound appeared from behind Stark and blasted him to the ground with a powerful force. Pin. Namikaze Minato teleported. The spiritual blade pierced Stark's body, and the tip of the blade was against Stark's spiritual core. You lost. Ahem. Stark spat out blood, no mood swings in his eyes, as if he was not interested in anything. After the battle, I understood. Namikaze Minato's infinite flash is almost unsolvable, as long as there is no means to prevent him from flashing, the opponent is the target. Minato can. Thousands of instantaneous attacks, and each time is in a different direction, and the attack is ignored in the instant. If there is no strong means, then the enemy's neural response, physical response, energy response, etc., will not be able to keep up. So, even in the kingdom of Ahad, few people are willing to fight Minato. They are too clueless and rascal. Stark. Worried voices came from the pack of wolves, and they gathered together and turned into the figure of Lily Knight slowly again. Are you okay? Liliet ran up worriedly, and then lowly glared at Minato. Bad guy. Stark doesn't like fighting. You have to fight him. The knife hits the spiritual core. You want to kill him. Bad guy. Namikaze Minato. What's the experience of being so stared and shouted by a lowly? Minato feels terrible. Mainly, this lowly, but the split body of Stark's soul, is also Stark's Zanpakuto, and it is also Stark himself. Minato always has the feeling of the big masters pretending to stare at lowly, which is terrible. Certainly, since it is a soul split, Lily Knight is an independent individual, and it is also a real lowly. Okay Lily, I'm fine. Stark persuaded Liliet, and then lazy again. I didn't feel the killing intent from you, then lock me up so that you won't be embarrassed. Minato's forehead. After all, during the war, there is no time to persuade the talents to join the empire. Stark ended. Very good. Original track. Star KVS Kyoraku Shunsui plus Jashiro Yukataki. Immediately afterwards, Star KVS Odoribashi Rojiro plus Love Akawa. The four captains, the wheel fight. Stark doesn't like fighting, and he has always been merciful, letting go of Odoribashi Rojiro and Love Akawa, but they don't appreciate it. When Stark landed, the Chunshui attack severely injured Stark. When the pack of wolves exploded and Liliet disappeared, Stark felt Ultimate's loneliness, fell into the memory, and finally died tragically. Advertisement. Standard. Justice will prevail, and no matter how strong the villain is, it must be killed in plot. Certainly, it cannot be said that Stark is better than the Captain 4, nor can it be said that Stark is better than Chunshui, but Stark is not weaker than others. And now, Liliet didn't disappear, and Stark accepted the defeat with peace of mind. Crack. When Stark and Liliet were handcuffed with Imperial traits. Represents the end of number 1. Far away. The black-haired boy glanced at the ending of Stark, still cold. Cool brother, we've been playing for so long, so it's time to show affection. Can you tell me what your name is? Kizaru played with the black-haired boy with ease, like playing games. Other battlefields. Not only compete, but also fight for life and death. And Huang Yuan is here, paddling and paddling. After fighting for a long time, the two of them were unscathed except for a few more small holes on the ground. You are noisy, human. The black-haired boy has a cold voice. He has short black hair, pale complexion and green eyes, with dark green Arankar patterns resembling tears on his face. Compared to other male Espada, the black-haired guy's appearance is considered the coolest. Number 4. Ulquiorra Cipher. If no 7 Zamari is an avid fan of Aizen, he admires Aizen most. Then Ulquiorra, the most loyal subordinate, is trusted by Aizen. So that's it. Is Ulquiorra a good name? Kizaru suddenly said his name. Ulquiorra has no mood swings, and still coldly said, knowing my name is not something to be proud of. My task is to guard the palace of the night before Master Aizen returns. You will die. Oh kiss, these cold words, of course self-confidence, are really terrible. Kizaru basically made a move, said 10 sentences, and grinned. Aren't you curious where I know your name? Let's put it straight, I know it from your heart. Fight for a long time. Kizaru is not purely playing, but slowly infects Ulquiorra with his soul, taking the opportunity to survey the soul. Soul reconnaissance technique, red memory fragments. You mean the mind. You humans always put this word on your lips, as if you know what others mean. My eyes can reflect everything. There is nothing that I can't capture, something that can't be mapped, it means it doesn't exist. I'm so sure, and have been fighting on this basis ever since. In Kizaru bewildered. The cold Ulquiorra's witty words are continuous, with a hint of anger. What is the mind? If I tear up your Shang cavity, will I be able to see everything in your heart? If I smash your skull, can I see everything in your mind? Because of the heart, so jealous, because of the heart, so arrogant, because of the heart, so greedy, because of the heart, so angry. Because of your heart, you humans want everything. Rubbish. Ma. Oh my god. Kizaru was stunned. He just took advantage of the other battlefields to have not stopped, and said casually, he didn't expect the cold guy to say so much. Human set collapse. I didn't understand anything, but Kizaru understood the word, trash. This made Kizaru grin exaggeratedly. Xiao Wu, you have more nonsense than me, is it pretending to be cold? Don't be surprised, it's annoying. What Ulquiorra can't stand most is that every time Kizaru speaks, his expression is extremely exaggerated. Certainly, Xiao Wu doesn't care about these very much. After all, he is not interested in everything except completing Aizen's task. Looking at other battlefields, Kizaru also started a debate. Speaking of soul, I think my ideas are more meaningful than yours, such as. The words are not over. Ulquiorra said coldly again. Meaning. What is meaning? Our world is meaningless, and we who live here are meaningless. We are still thinking about the world without meaning, and knowing that this matter has no meaning in itself is also meaningless. I served it. You win. I thought you were a cold man, but I didn't expect you to be a swinger. Kizaru opened his mouth and said for a long time, Trash, follow me. Ulquiorra turned around and left. Kizaru. One bite and one rubbish, you are enough. Brush. Ulquiorra came to the sky above the Void Knight Palace destroyed by Kaido, overlooking the wreckage below. It is his task to guard the Zai Palace. But the Zai Palace was destroyed, and Xiao Wu was a little angry, so let's destroy it on this site. Boom. Kizaru broke out and Reiatsu came. Ulquiorra had obvious mood swings for the first time, and said slightly differently. His Reiatsu was like rubbish, but it was above me when it was up. What's going on? Because I am stronger than you. Kizaru flew up and raised his hand to gather light. Laser. This kind of move is meaningless. Ulquiorra escaped easily and said coldly. The espada with the number 4 and above is not allowed to return to the edge of the sky, because Reiatsu may destroy the Palace of the Night. But the Zai Palace is ruined, so let's see it, human. True desperate gesture. Block it, Blackwing Great Demon. Boom. Chapter 41. Ulquiorra. Human, you are not rubbish, the gun of thunder. Advertisement. Ulquiorra cipher. Among male espada, the messiest child. Usually, he doesn't open his mouth coldly. When he opens his mouth, he talks like a philosopher. Kizaru had a deep understanding before. The messiest boy. Compared with other espada, it is very different. It's just a matter of words, but it's just a dead end, how earth-shattering. Block it, Blackwing Great Demon. Returning to the edge of the word roared, Kizaru's movements were stagnant, and he looked around with an exaggerated expression, making a very scared look. If you are cold, Brother Lee, you are really terrible. Boom. Wow. Accompanied by the roar of Link C. At the moment Ulquiorra's return to the blade was liberated, the terrible Reiatsu rose to the sky. And it turned into black Reiatsu raindrops, which fell from the sky like a majestic rain. Chi-chi-chi-chi. Reiatsu raindrops are not only in a big situation, they are also extremely powerful. They fall on the ground and send out potholes. Xiao Wu is home to the blade. The momentum is huge. At first glance, it is the demeanor of the top boss, the form is also extremely cool, and it once again stands out from espada. Oh, that's pretty cool. Kizaru exclaimed suddenly. Ulquiorra at the moment, with a pair of black wings that are enough to cover the sky, wearing a white robe and a double-horned helmet, the black nails become longer, the hair becomes longer, and the tears deepen. Are you afraid? Tell me, are you afraid? Human. Ulquiorra asked flatly. Kizaru nodded earnestly, with a more exaggerated expression. I just thought you were directly upgraded to Jushin, you really scared me to death. No nonsense. You can only answer yes, if you say anything other than this, I will kill it. Ulquiorra is so cool. This made Kizaru a little confused. Why? You talk so much nonsense, why do I? Don't ask anything, don't say anything, you don't have any rights. Hey, Xiao Wu, you. Human, let me say it for the last time, this is not a negotiation, it is an order. Kizaru was really convinced. The cool little brother is not just words, but also a dominant president. Oops, I loved it. Kizaru can also see. In Xiao Wu's world, everything is meaningless, and it is even more boring to have emotions or be fettered by these emotions as a human being. You can't say that Xiao Wu is ruthless. It can only be said that Xiao Wu does not agree with the mind that human beings say, and thinks it is unnecessary. You have seen the Gui blades above number 4, this is a desperate gesture. Ulquiorra stood high in the sky and walked towards Kizaru step by step. Kizaru shrugged and said, I didn't see it before. After the number 1 return, it was defeated by Minato Admiral of our Empire Marine. Because he has the heart and possesses that meaningless emotion, so he will lose. Huh, what about number 3? I didn't see it, she didn't lose. Kizaru said that he had seen him a lot, and found him, but he couldn't speak coldly. Don't reason with people who don't want to. Virtual bomb. Xiao Wu really started to fight if he didn't agree with him, raising his hand was a scarlet light. Virtual bullets are not as powerful as Sero, but the speed is indeed 20 times that of Sero. The red light beam cut through the void and came to Kizaru in no time. Oh, what a terrible attack speed. Huang Yuan narrowed his eyes, then, slowed down. Puff. The virtual bullet penetrates Kizaru. Kizaru's whole body got up and made a painful look. Ah, it hurts to death, old man, how can you be so strong? Seeing this, Xiao Wu said coolly, isn't this what it should be? Rubbish. Kizaru's expression stagnated, and frowned slightly. Xiao Wu, I want to ask you, why do you call me trash? Weak human beings are rubbish. Xiao Wu spoke very plainly. When he went to the world, he usually talked about rubbish, which is also a fact. Kizaru raised his eyebrows. Am I weak? Reiatsu is strong. Xiao Wu said coldly. Explore the nerves. Arrancar's Reiatsu perception. Reiatsu, who feels that everyone around him, including the enemy, can know the strength and location of the opponent. In Arrancar's mind, the objects under investigation will be displayed in the form of burning flames. Kizaru was as powerful as a monstrous flame in Xiao Wu's mind. But, when Xiao Wu hits casually and Kizaru gets the move, Xiao Wu doesn't like Kizaru even more. I wasted such a strong Reiatsu, rubbish. If the body can still move, stand up and accept death. If you can't move, just die there, the way you are walking. This is the end. Ulquiorra's fingertips shine again, this time with green Sero. Okay, I just teased you. Kizaru stood up and spoke casually. Ulquiorra's movements were stagnant, and for the second time there were obvious mood swings on his face, and his voice was extinguished. What did you say? Kizaru shrugged indifferently. I said, the blow you just made was too weak. Although it penetrated me, it is no different from tickling, understand? Is this your last word, human? Ulquiorra's voice was flat again. No, I'm going to be serious. Before the words fell, Ulquiorra's Sero suddenly charged, and Kizaru's figure disappeared in a flash. Boom. Sero blasted a big hole. Cool little Wu, did you know that speed is power? The light flickered and came to the top of Xiao Wu, condensing the figure of Kizaru, and raised his foot. Have you been kicked by the speed of light? Kick at the speed of light. The speed was too fast. Ulquiorra subconsciously raised his left hand to block. Boom. Ulquiorra fell from the sky and hit the ground directly. A big pit was blasted into the ground and dust was lifted, while Xiao Wu was lying in the pit. The left hand was directly kicked to pieces, and the smaller half of the body was stained with blood, which was directly injured. Is this the strength of your seriousness? Sure enough, one hand didn't catch it. Ulquiorra spoke very plainly, not irritated by the injury. Each espada has the ability and characteristics to symbolize and represent, no 5 Neutra's strongest steel skin, no 7 Zamari's fastest ring. And Ulquiorra, the strongest high-speed regeneration. Chi. When high-speed regeneration was launched, Ulquiorra's injury was recovered and his left hand also recovered. Get up again and stand coldly. Oh kiss, this kind of recovery speed, you are so terrible. Kizaru was really amazed, and then smiled to himself. That's good, I can play a little longer. What happened to the paddling? His Majesty, the great Emperor of the Holy Empire, looks at the result and never looks at the process. And every soldier has his own personality. Even Lan Yu doesn't force it, as long as the task is completed, the result is good. So Kizaru paddling, no one cared. As long as you don't cheat your teammates. Allah, this guy, Aokiji, who was handling Grimjiao's body in the distance, glanced at the police, a little speechless. And Akainu, who came with Yami who was fainted, even snorted coldly. Advertisement. This B***************** D. Pelusolino, the way you paddle is really damn it. And noticing everyone's gaze, Kizaru shrugged his shoulders indifferently. Look, I'm always so eye-catching. What can I do with such a great charm? I am also helpless. Call. Everyone sighed softly. No longer talk about it, and clean up the battlefield with the army. Ulquiorra went on Sky's path again. Human, you are very different. Listen, what's the difference? Your heart is shameless. No, you heartless Arrancar, do you know how to write shamelessly? I can't write. Xiao Wu is really funny. Kizaru raised his hand, his fingertips condensed light. I'm going to be serious again. Multiple sacred lasers. Dozens of lasers fired from the fingertips, forming a big net, and attacking Xiao Wu. Moonlight sword. A long and narrow weapon with green light, like a gun, appeared in Ulquiorra's hand. Moonlight sword. When multiple lasers hit, Ulquiorra wielded the moonlight sword. Boom boom boom. The moonlight sword shatters all the laser light like a phantom. Well, is this a sword or a gun? Huang Yuan's hands also bloomed with golden light, and a golden sword appeared. Sky Kong Yunjian. Kizaru arrived in front of Xiao Wu in a flash, holding a sword in the sky. Chang chang boom. The roar of close combat. Ulquiorra wielded the moonlight sword, and Kizaru wielded the sky cloud sword, and they collided fiercely. The two moved at high speed in the sky, and each collision caused the soul to roar. 0. Look for flowers 0. Kizaru's sword trick is just one word. Hurry. The tricks of the little bird are also one word. Just. No matter how fast you are, I'm tough, but after a few collisions, Ulquiorra found that it couldn't keep up. Ring. Ulquiorra immediately moved away. Why do you want to keep the distance? If you want to cut me down, you should get closer. Do you know Mr. Aizen? Kizaru was about to pretend, but Ulquiorra's abrupt remarks shocked him. Hello, what does this have to do with Aizen? It's hard to pretend to be half of it. Kizaru's face was pulled down. I didn't interrupt when you were talking. Why interrupted me? It's very impolite. That sentence, Master Aizen said. Ulquiorra said coldly, lifted the moonlight sword and pointed it at the yellow ape far away. Kizaru retorted. Wrong, that is what your majesty said. I don't know your majesty, so it's what Aizen-sama said. Well, Kizaru can't say it again. Moonlight sword. Ulquiorra directly threw the moonlight sword like a gun. Hey, very fast. I arrived in front of Kizaru in a flash, and Huang Yuan was slightly staggered. But even if they staggered and just passed by after the shot, Huang Yuan was repelled from 100 meters away. Boom. The moonlight sword exploded in the rear. Kizaru took a stunned glance and saw that the rear was completely destroyed, showing great power. You are so terrible, suddenly throwing the weapon over, this trick scared me to death. Kizaru spoke in fear. And Ulquiorra is no longer nonsense, spreading his hands, condensing a spear-like spiritual weapon with a green light. The power on it, far more powerful than the moonlight sword, making it difficult for Ulquiorra to control. Very good. Kizaru squinted slightly. I deeply felt the terrifying power of this spear. The gun of thunder. Ulquiorra aimed at Kizaru and threw. Tear. As soon as the thunder spear was released, it directly opened the Link C atmosphere strongly, distorting the void. Link C was madly repelled. Tear. Boom. Kizaru clearly saw that the thunder spear pierced through the void, and then, passed him and exploded in the rear. Voted wrong. Kizaru was surprised. The cast was wrong. Ulquiorra didn't care. The thunder spear is too powerful and difficult to control, and Ulquiorra is not proficient, and it's not surprising to miss it. But even if the cast is biased, the shock wave generated by the thunder spear's attack also made Kizaru retreat far, and even blasted a chasm in the abyss that was far more terrifying than the moonlight sword. This move, if it is hit undefensively, seriously injured. Kizaru gave a high evaluation. Sparkling fruit, elemental, giant of light, soul elemental. Two kinds of elementalization can make Kizaru basically ignore all kinds of physical attacks, but the thunder spear can also be an attack. The collision of energy and elements will always cause injuries. Such is the center of a nuclear explosion. The hundreds of millions of temperatures that erupt in an instant, even if there is only a moment, if Kizaru is in the deepest center, the element will disappear instantly. This is the horror of powerful energy. Chi. Ulquiorra was not discouraged when he made the first miss. Gather the thunder spear again. There are some things, just once. Kizaru came quickly. The leg was photonized, and he kicked Ulquiorra fiercely, kicking him directly. Boom. Half of his body was kicked to pieces. Ulquiorra stood up blankly. Taking a serious look at Huang Yuan, Xiaowu said coldly. Human, you are not rubbish. Kizaru cried. You finally know. He was suddenly a little excited and moved. Kizaru shrugged and said, you have seen things like gaps. I haven't taken it seriously yet. You are going to die. Can you surrender? What is surrender? Ulquiorra high-speed regeneration recovered from his injury, and said coldly, what you said is what people who don't understand the real despair would say. Since you don't understand, then I will tell you. True despair. The gesture of possession. Whoops, here it comes again. Kizaru really wanted to grab Ulquiorra's head and see how his brain was made up. Duan Gui Edge. Boom. 3. Chapter 42. The second stage of the dying explosion. Look at me, Kizaru, the giant of light. Advertisement. What is homecoming? The characteristic of Arrancar is that the virtual mask is broken, revealing the human face, and carrying a knife, with an indestructible skin, that is, steel skin. And Arrancar's knife is different from Shinigami. It just looks like Zanpakuto, and is essentially sealed by the spiritual core of Arrancar's power. That is, enclose Arrancar's power in the knife. Angelica Blade Queen. Lift the seal of the spiritual core, restore the original appearance of the power, and return to the strength and appearance of the Manos Grande state to fight. Strength, speed, Reiatsu, etc. surge. The more advanced Arrancar, the smaller the posture changes after returning to the blade. So, regardless of the few steps, its essence is to liberate the true form of oneself and release all the power. Duan Gui Edge. Boom. Wow. The black Reiatsu raindrops were much larger than before, and they merged into the Reiatsu ocean around them, raging everywhere. This scene make the whole battlefield look sideways. How can it be? The old man with the crown uttered an incredibly low growl. This guy, Reiatsu, can do this. It's amazing. The old man with the crown boasted that Hōgyoku Mundo was invincible, and never put anything in his eyes, even Aizen refused to accept it. Did not expect. Ulquiorra, who is usually inconspicuous, has liberated a new state. I chose the wrong opponent. Number 1 is not the strongest. Namikaze Minato in the distance let out a surprise. It's really the Reiatsu that Ulquiorra showed at the moment, it's amazing. Far more eye-catching than number 1 Stark's homecoming blade. Sister Haribel, he is number 4, right behind you. Rukia, who rushed over, said curiously. I've heard before that the serial number of Espada is meaningful, it is Aizen personally arranged according to the killing ability. Those with insufficient power will be directly excluded from Espada, such as the 110, are eliminated. He-07 Libel was also a little stunned. It shouldn't be, he actually has a second stage. As this weird, Shinigami has a solution, and Erankar has a two-stage return. It should be normal. Fei Zhen really thought so. Harabel shook his head. No, it's not the same. Returning to the edge is to directly release the power of the seal, not to liberate it for a while. This is very special. The special ones are not Ulquiorra, but Rukia, Hyjin and Harabel. Other Erankar, the suppression of the suppression, the killing of the killing, only Harabel is fine. It is strange that the three girls became good sisters in a few words. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Fake. I don't believe it. This is fake. I am number 0. I am the strongest. Yami, who had been fainted, was awakened by Ulquiorra's Reiatsu and roared. Really? Believe me, I really am the strongest. Number 0. I am number 0, not number 10, I broke out and even feared myself. The serial number arranged by Master Aizen himself, I am the strongest one. Yami yelled like a madman. But seeing everyone ignoring it, Yami continued to shout. No one knows us better than Lord Aizen, can't you believe his arrangement? So Ulquiorra is a fake. Yes, he is fake. Yami felt like he was going crazy. What Stark, what Baragon, what Harabel, in Yami's eyes, he is the strongest one. As for Ulquiorra, although he often acts with him and complains to each other, they are also friends. But Yami doesn't think Ulquiorra is so strong, just because it is trusted by Aizen. And now, Ulquiorra is going to heaven. Aizen-sama's arrangement of our serial numbers is indeed true. Before, according to the killing ability, Yami, you were indeed number 1. Ulquiorra's voice was drowned. This made Yami nod again and again. Yes, that's it, so you are fake, your Reiatsu can't be so strong. No, that was before. Ulquiorra retorted. At this moment, Ulquiorra's upper body clothes disappeared, black Reiatsu dripped in his eyes, and the back of his hands and lower body were covered with black feathers. The wings are fully open, exposing bat-like claws and an extremely long tail. The virtual hole becomes bigger and Reiatsu overflows. On the basis of the increase in the ability to return to the edge in the first stage, the strength has been greatly increased again. The released Reiatsu made everyone feel as heavy as an ocean above the sky. And it is the Reiatsu that Yami has felt in Erankar so far is not as powerful and special as any Reiatsu. Too strong. That's why Yami went crazy. How could he be so strong? The Duan Gui edge that I just learned, I haven't seen Master Aizen either. Ulquiorra explained to Yami. No one has ever seen Ulquiorra's second-tier homecoming blade, because it was in the battle against Kizaru that he gradually realized his true form. So, not before, so Aizen has never seen it. Only now. So, Aizen still hasn't seen it. Above, the arrangement of Espada was died before the blue, and when Xiao Wu realized the second stage of the sword, who was number 0, it is not necessarily true. Xiao Wu is not weaker than others. Lan Yu from the void commented. Yes, Aizen's arrangement is the most accurate. But that was before, when Xiao Wu didn't have the second stage of the sword, did not fully comprehend and liberated all his strength. The previous Xiao Wu, version 1.0. The current Xiao Wu, version 2.0. If Aizen is here at the moment, he might want to admire him and give Xiao Wu a promotion. The premise is very important. The arrangement of Espada does not include the bird's Duan Gui edge, because there was no previous one. So, you fight with me, and break through. Kizaru's eyes were weird, and his expression was extremely exaggerated. You are so terrible, he has a kind of, dandan, sadness. Kizaru, just paddled for a while, the opponent is strong and escalated. Is the stroke wrong? Fortunately, it is still under control. Kizaru murmured. It seems that I can't paddle in the future. If one of the opponents suddenly bursts out of seed and is stronger than me, it will be over. You just know, everyone in the Empire despised it. The biggest problem with paddling is that it will delay time and cause various accidents. Until, out of control. At that time, Kizaru was not only ashamed, but also unable to complete the task and finish the model. You will die here alone, without anyone knowing. I ask you, are you afraid? Ulquiorra looked around the opening. Advertisement. Aokiji raised his eyebrows, Kisame grinned, Nagato was cold, and Minato smiled. Hey, just tell me these words, there is no need to look at other people, or you will die miserably. Kizaru reminded him, for fear that Xiao Wu would say something about tiger and wolf. When the time comes to cause a siege, that is to be robbed. Killing you has the same meaning as guarding the Void Knight Palace. I admit that you are an object that must be destroyed. Ulquiorra looked at Kizaru again, and the Moonlight Sword appeared again. You humans get hurt because you have a heart, and you die because you have a heart. Humans, look clearly. The moment when life was blocked. Moonlight Sword. The Moonlight Sword that was thrown again was far more powerful than before. The void is torn apart, and the spirit is boiling. Xiao Wu, do you believe in light? What made Ulquiorra stare at was that Kizaru quickly avoided the attack and appeared in another place to open his mouth. Light. It doesn't make sense. The light that Ulquiorra recognizes should be the sun or the like, but this kind of thing has no meaning in Hueco Mundo. Well, it seems you don't believe in light. But it doesn't matter, as long as others believe it, it's enough. When Xiao Wu moved his hands again, Kizaru's eyes were sharp. See the power of light. The giant of light. Buzzing. Kizaru turned into a brilliant golden light source, lifted into the sky like the sun, illuminating the earth of Hōgyoku Mundo. This is. Ulquiorra showed obvious mood swings for the third time, which was shocking. He has never seen a scene where Hōgyoku Mundo is shining in the sun in the daytime. Too bright and too harsh. It seems that the entire Hōgyoku Mundo is lit up. What's the situation? Kizaru was a little dazed at the moment. Giant of light. Absorb the light of perseverance and faith in everyone's hearts and get incredible power. During the Qinghai period, Kizaru absorbed the light in the hearts of countless people in half of the world, and raised his hand to destroy the Holy Land. And now, nothing at all. Puff ha ha ha. This is Hōgyoku Mundo. Can you expect any light in those humility? Do you want to laugh at me? Ghost Zhao grinned. There are very few wise Manos Grande, and 99% of them are irrational beasts. There is no light in their hearts. Therefore, Kizaru is the weakest in Hōgyoku Mundo, and cannot show his power at all. It turned out to be like this, it was sloppy. However, there is also Imperial Marine. Kizaru is not discouraged, the light of the light source, wherever it shines, and the 100,000 Marines of the Empire are here. Swish swish. A group of light groups flew out from every Empire Marine. Import the sky light source. Ah, what is this? Rukia was a little surprised to see the light ball flying out of herself and her sister. This is the light of perseverance and faith that will never give up, no matter how horrible darkness is facing, the heart must believe that light is about to appear, and thus be born. Improve Kizaru's strength. Humans are really unexpected creatures in the end. Watching this scene, Ulquiorra's heart was a little moved. Is this light? In Xiaowu's eyes, this is the power in the hearts of countless people. His first time, I saw with my own eyes what humans call the heart. Boom. The giants of light hundreds of meters high, and the ghosts of light tens of thousands meters high, appeared in the virtual circle, shocking countless virtuals. Human, what exactly does your body and mind exist? Ulquiorra questioned. Kizaru is like the god of light, overlooking 517 Ulquiorra. My body and mind, in the Holy Empire, my body and mind, fight for the glory of the Empire, and die for the glory of the Empire. This is your heart. Ulquiorra was noncommittal, spreading his hands, condensing the green spear again. The gun of thunder. Tear. The thunder spear was far more powerful than before, and it tore open the void directly and attacked Kizaru directly. Light up the darkness with light. Bright judgment. Kizaru, who is a giant of light, crossed his hands and flew out a huge beam of light that illuminates the sky. The light of the verdict. Boom. The spear of thunder was devastated and destroyed, triggering a terrifying energy tide. Directly far away Xiao Hongfei. Is this the power of the heart? Ulquiorra's body was severely wounded, and the large pieces of Reiatsu turned into black liquor and overflowed, whispering. Yes, never underestimate human beings. There is no upper limit to the power in their hearts. Kizaru not only wants to defeat Xiaowu, but also to find him out of his way. Currently, 38%. After hearing this, Ulquiorra said coldly, you turn the human heart into the sun, then I will shoot down the sun. Chi-chi-chi-chi. Ulquiorra's fingertips, blooming strands of black on, condensed into a black ball. It seems very small, but it is the condensation of a lot of Reiatsu, the ultimate compression of energy. Black Sero. The terrifying Black Sero has great power and range, compressing the burst of power. The light in the sky is a bit dim. Smash the darkness with light. Light judgment. Kizaru folded his hands and released a more terrifying light power. Across light. The Black Sero was destroyed in a flash, and before Ulquiorra could not react, it was overwhelmed by light. Boom. Where is Xiaowu? A terrifying explosion was set off, the void continued to be twisted and cracked, and the spirit child continued to be destroyed. This scene. Make Yami silent. Silence Haribel. The old man with the crown clenched his hands. A dilapidated body fell. Ulquiorra was completely ruined, no part of his body was intact, all Reiatsu on his body was smashed, and his eyes lost consciousness for the first time. At the moment, 69%. As this, the heart. The only thing Ulquiorra is intact is the right hand. Looking down, a light flashes on the palm of his right hand. This is him, doing his best. A ray of light grabbed. Original. In the palm of the hand, it is the heart. Chapter 43. Uchiha Madara, the Skeleton King. The sad king of the Void Circle. Advertisement. Ulquiorra was defeated. The consciousness fell silent, the spiritual core burst and fell into the brink of death. It turns out, in the palm of your hand, is the heart. Ulquiorra's last whisper. At the moment when he tried his best to grasp a ray of light, he understood the so-called heart. For his dead soul, fill the bright mind. At this moment, 100%. Ulquiorra saw it with his own eyes, felt it with his own eyes, and realized it personally. He, who never believed in the heart, discovered at this moment that the heart is always there. Seal up. Kizaru disarmed the giant of light, came to the ruined Ulquiorra, raised his hand to completely seal it. Reiatsu, consciousness, etc., all seals. Seal him in the moment before death. Little Wu, I brought you from the darkness of ultimate to the light. I'm exhausted, so you can't die. Kizaru sat on the ground, wiped the non-existent sweat, and continued paddling. Look around the audience. Well, my Kizaru is not the last one. Kaido is still on the verge of killing, hunting down Arankars who are running around. The Empire Marine is still sweeping, Hōgyoku Mundo. Espada, Huh, why is there a bad old man sitting in the void intact? We have been fighting for a long time, and now you are unharmed, it's really scary. Seeing the old man with the crown, Kizaru said with an exaggerated expression. Kizaru's words also attracted the attention of the audience. Why there is another one? I don't know, I just saw it, who is he? Who knows, but it looks like rubbish. Well, there is no sense of existence. Ghost Zhao, Aokiji, Minato, etc., your words, my words, make the face of the crowned old man even more indifferent. In reality, each assigns opponents. All were allocated, and the old man with the crown, luckily, was not allocated to the opponent. So, up to now, there is still nothing wrong. Haribel condensely said. He is, the king who has ruled, Hōgyoku Mundo, for countless years. What? The king of, Hōgyoku Mundo? Rukia's eyelashes flickered, and her big eyes were extremely bright. Then he is great. Sister, do you want to fight? Seeing this, Fei Zhen was also eager to try. The two sisters fought against Haribel for several rounds, and they did not fight again. Anyhow, after being trained by Kagaya for decades, the two sisters, Rukia and Hyjin, have not yet played with all their strength. I think, but, Rukia looked around, counted silently, and said unsure, Imperial Marines high-level soldiers have all shot, and that adults should also do it, right? Espada, Major Arankar, Hiraku Shunsui, and Paimura Sajin were all assigned and defeated by Nagato and others. Once the king of the virtual circle. This title is very good. The king of, Hōgyoku Mundo. Coffee, goodbye. With a murmur, Gui Zhao swung his sword and turned to help elsewhere. Go away. Oh, it's okay to be a king. Let's go, he is the king. The soldiers all left this battlefield and swept in other areas. This scene made Rukia a little emotional. Why, all gone? Because he is the king. Kizaru walked by holding Ulquiorra, and left a sentence. For this kind of tall title, who would be interested? By the way, you don't need to help, stay and see the demeanor of that adult, and you will learn more. Who is that adult? Haribel was puzzled. Seeing this scene, the old man with the crown finally spoke out and said proudly, sad human beings, when they meet an old man and retreat without a fight, choose wisely, the old man is not interested in the weak. Call. When everyone was there before, why didn't you say anything? Sister Rukia's big eyes showed contempt. What are your eyes, Shinigami? Once the eyes of Sister Rukia and Haribel beside him, the old man with the crown said slightly angrily, Haribel, is this your choice? Betrayed. Hōgyoku Mundo, old man. The words have not fallen yet. Right in front, abruptly, without warning, a figure of Haki appeared. This figure, make the crowned old man like a big enemy. The terrible coercion emanating from the unconscious was a horror he had never seen before, and it was unbelievable. My name, Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara hugged her arms, her eyes glowed with eternal scarlet light, and she gave the other side a warning. The opponent is burly and sturdy, old-aged, with a crown on his head and a huge golden compass around his waist. He wears a long coat and dresses like a king. When we first met, were you the king of the virtual circle who was subdued by Xiaoji? Your name, Xiaoji, conquer. There is a final order. The arrogant crowned old man's voice was full of anger. Old man Baragan Luzenbairn, what Xiaoji, the old man has never served anyone, the eternal king of, Hōgyoku Mundo. Human, you look very strong. But, Baragan is so arrogant, his eyes are arrogant, and his words are arrogant. I'm far from the old man, worship it. Hope, you can always remain arrogant. Uchiha Madara has long passed the age of impulse because of words, and once wrote Baragan, Xiaoji, Aizen Sosuke, my student. Boom. The moment the words fell, Baragan's Reiatsu ran away, making the surrounding spirits boil, and his voice was full of anger. Aizen. Damn Aizen, I must kill him. And you have to die too. Baragan's killing intent raged. The name Aizen is the pain and hatred of Baragan's life. Before Aizen came to the virtual circle, Baragan was the virtual king, owned the virtual night palace, and ruled, Hōgyoku Mundo. Yes, the Zai Palace belongs to Beeline. It's the palace built by Baragan. Only after Aizen occupied, created another world in the Zai Palace, blue sky and white clouds. A major transformation of the Zai Palace. And Aizen. Occupying Zai Palace and depriving Bergen Zhuang, how can he not hate it? Uchiha Madara said flatly. The loser has no right to speak, and your resentment is ridiculous. The old man is not defeated. Baragan became even more angry. That despicable guy will only ask for some human tricks. He is arrogant and arrogant. So far, Baragan has also dismissed Aizen and despised any Arankar. What angered Baragan most was that after Aizen came to Hōgyoku Mundo, he deceived Baragan with Kyoka Suigetsu. After seeing the scene where all his subordinates were instantly killed by Aizen, he was extremely angry and went out in person. But in the end, it was no match for Aizen. Since then, I wanted to take Aizen's life by myself and hated Aizen very much. Advertisement. Kyoka Suigetsu, Aizen's Zanpakuto. Baragan is the most unconvinced. What kind of illusion? There is a kind of positiveness. Whenever he thinks of being turned around by Aizen's Kyoka Suigetsu, the arrogant Baragan can hardly suppress the killing intent. Even if Aizen is in front of him. Baragan has always been proud of wanting to kill, and never hides it. It doesn't work anymore. The killing intent can't be controlled. As Aizen your student, thank you for coming to me. I will leave you a whole body. Baragan was suddenly a little excited and couldn't kill Aizen, so kill his teacher. As for not being able to beat Uchiha Madara. What a joke, my skeleton king is invincible. Sero. Baragan lifted his fingertips. A powerful Sero beam rushed towards Uchiha Madara. Buzzing. Sero was silently destroyed 3 meters away from Uncle Madara. Baragan was visibly stunned. Dodge. Counterattack. He has thought about it, but what is the situation of silent destruction? Madara's fingers didn't move, how could it be a bit like an old man's ability? Forget it, it doesn't matter. It seems that the old man underestimated you, but in this way, you will have no bones. Baragan's words were full of arrogance, and his expression was extremely arrogant and dismissive. Rotten. King Skeleton. The moment Baragan returned to the blade, Reiatsu turned into a black flame and rushed towards Uchiha Madara like a sea of fire. Become a skeleton. Uchiha ignored Madara's fire and looked directly at the Baylor sitting on the skeleton throne. At this moment, Baragan wears a multi-layer crown on his head, his face and body become skeletons, his body is covered with black flames, and his body is wrapped in chains of death. The realm of Qinghai, Brook's sense of sight. Although they are all skeletons, they are more than Brook Haki, and they are very king. Your Reiatsu is not bad. Seeing the flame being repelled by the Reiatsu radiated by Madara, Baragan's voice was still arrogant. I really want Lan to see this battle and see the old man kill you by himself. Axe of destruction. Baragan pulled the chain and controlled the huge axe to chop the enemy, which was as frightening as a guillotine. Pin. Uchiha Madara took the first shot, raised his hand and grabbed the axe, making a clanging noise. The espada formed by Shaoji. Loneliness, sacrifice, nothingness, despair, destruction, intoxication, madness, greed, anger. Each is a death form. What does your arrogance come from? The above words. It is what Uchiha Madara observed, except for Baragan, the power characteristics represented by each espada. All have development potential. However, except for a few very few, not only the personality is bad, even the ability is not eye-catching, and there is no training value at all. Arrogant. Baragan accepted it frankly, arrogantly and indifferently said. The old man dominates the form of death. Aging, which is the most powerful and absolute force among the 10 forms of death. You ask Aizen, does he dare to hold on? The hatred of a lifetime. In the beginning, Baragan repeatedly fought against Aizen, attacked and assassinated. But what? Every time I was tortured by Kyoka Suigetsu, my hatred deepened. There is a kind of don't use illusion. But Aizen just smiled and chose to ignore it. This made Baragan think that Aizen was just a scumbag who could only use illusions. So nonsense. Die. Although Madara grabbed the axe casually, it was amazing, but Baragan seized the opportunity. It was a sigh that came from hell, which made the hearts of sisters Rukia and Harabel palpitating. Death sigh. Exhale a long sigh full of death, so that everything it can touch quickly ages. The sigh spread from the chains, quickly to the axe, and to Madara. Ha 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 ha, it's dead, did you see Aizen, your teacher is dead. Baragan laughed wildly, venting all his grievances. His aging is invincible, sister, what is he laughing at? I don't know, maybe it's crazy. Rukia and Fei Zhen talked, and Baragan's laughter came to an abrupt end. Hee hee. It's impossible. Baragan's skull eyes, the flames inside them boiled, showing consternation. The decayed breath of everything entangled on the body, but nothing happened. Baragan couldn't believe it. His arrogance, and his disdain all come from aging. Baragan can freely control the aging process, Lilis, around the body and the objects in contact with him. Can make everything decay wherever it goes. Nothing can resist this power. Feeling the power of aging, Uchiha Madara's tone did not fluctuate. There is a characteristic of time, and time accelerates. You are indeed proud to be able to speed up time and make everything decay. The nature of Baragan's ability. It is a kind of time acceleration. Accelerate the objects in contact with the limit time, and quickly decay and decay. Because nothing in the spirit world is eternal and immortal, Baragan's ability can be called invincible. However, it's too weak. The power of time, Uchiha Madara has seen a lot, it is indeed very powerful. Kagaya and Aokiji's time freezing can freeze time, while Hinata's time arc is more comprehensive and controls the timeline. But unfortunately, Uchiha Madara's unparalleled beauty is the nemesis of everything. When the power of aging comes, it is completely decomposed by the power of Sun Luo and turned into nothingness. Illusion, this is illusion. After being shocked, Baragan yelled affirmatively, you really are the teacher of that D Aizen, and you want me with illusion. Damn it, untie it for me. What? Sad king. Unwilling to accept the fact that you are weak, how ridiculous is your arrogance. Uchiha Madara's hand was hard. Crack. The axe of destruction was crushed directly. Ga-bai. Uchiha Madara held a shard and used it directly at Baragan who was screaming. Very fast. Before the power of aging could be affected, the fragment blasted on the skeleton throne. The fragments bring Uchiha Madara's power of decomposing everything. Crack. The skeleton throne. Cracked and decomposed. Chapter 44. I'm standing in front of you, what can you do? Kneel down. Advertisement. Not an illusion. Looking at the collapsed skeleton throne, Baragan subconsciously grabbed a handful, and the fragments turned into nothingness in his hands. This makes Baragan unbelievable. Since it is not an illusion, why does that man with unruly hairstyle ignore his power of aging? Although Baragan was arrogant, he always looked down on others, and looked down upon Stark and Haribel who were also Espada. But, thinking that the world is invincible is one aspect, Baragan is arrogant but not an idiot. Uchiha ignores Madara's abilities and smashes the axe of destruction at will. Intuitively speaking, it is stronger than Aizen. This kind of powerhouse. It stands to reason that Baragan should put aside his arrogance, turn fighting into speech, or retreat strategically. Even though the arrogant Baragan understands that Uchiha Madara is better than him, he is still arrogant. The old man underestimated you, human. You can become Aizen's teacher, in terms of strength, not bad. Uchiha Madara glanced at Baragan. Can you become the king of Hōgyoku Mundo, by the so-called ability? Damn it. Baragan felt the plain disdain in Uchiha Madara's words. It sounds like, Baragan can't do anything, only the ability is okay, this is the biggest derogation to him. You are worthy of Aizen's teacher, and you make the old man angry when you speak. Baragan's skull eyes stared coldly, and the black flame flickered with murderous intent to Madara and Aizen. Ring. Baragan came a few meters away in the high air and threw out the chains. Chains of destruction. Like a gilt chain from hell, entwined with the deadly force of aging and death, it strikes. Grasping the chain with one hand and feeling the power on it, Uchiha Madara said flatly, sure enough, in addition to your abilities, you have other speed and strength. Unsightly. Hear the words. Baragan was furious at once. In the state of returning to the blade, Reiatsu burst out, which was enough to rupture the area of the Void Knight Palace. Boom. The black flame on his body was like hellfire, and turned into a huge black skeleton, with his feet on the ground and the sky above his head. Like the devil descended. In the distance, Rukia's brows twitched slightly. Reiatsu materialized, all over his body, everything is dangerous. Feijun also nodded. This kind of move requires a lot of Reiatsu. I haven't seen him use it, but his ability is really dangerous. Haribel fell into memory 520. When Baragan was still in Hōgyoku Mundo, he asked Haribel, who was still Manos Grande at the time, to become his subordinate but was rejected. Later, his subordinates attacked Haribel and were chopped. At this point, feud. Even if Haribel becomes Espada, Baragan still looks down on and hostile. A king who is as arrogant as him, even Master Aizen can't subdue him. I don't know what he will do. Haribel was curious. Espada knew that Baragan hated Aizen extremely, obeyed on the surface, secretly did not know how many times he cursed, and resisted many times. Conventional methods cannot convince Baragan. This trick is still eye-catching. Looking at the huge skeleton, Uchiha Madara finally came with some interest. Arrogant human, you will pay a heavy price for your words. Baragan is very angry, and the words still dismiss everything. This is what the old man prepared for Aizen, so let your teacher taste it first. Boom. The huge skeleton moved randomly, causing the earth to roar, holding the chain and trying to pull Madara at the other end. I pull it again, Baragan was a little dazed. How terrifying is the explosive power of his skull, but he can't even find a chain. Uncle Ban, holding the tail of the chain in one hand, didn't move. The scene is a bit awkward. Uchiha Madara looked at Baragan calmly, with a slightly confused voice. Not yet started. I+%##%. An angry Baragan wanted to scold his mother. Co-authored the old man with so much energy, you don't feel it at all. It seems, I expected too much of you, it really disappointed me. Uchiha Madara was holding the chain in his left hand, and a spiritual blade appeared in his right. Sword pressure. 99. The horrible 99 swords crushed and slashed, forming a dense sword net, covering the huge skeleton completely in a huge range. What made Madara's eyes flicker slightly? Baragan remained indifferent and let his slash on the huge skeleton. Chi-chi-chi-chi. Accompanied by the sound of cutting. The huge skeletons hundreds of meters high were completely disintegrated and turned into fragments. Do you know, after being robbed in the Zai Palace, the old man was defeated by Aizen, he has been thinking about how to take revenge. That damn B************* D, always use Zanpakuto play to ask me, so that the old man's abilities can't be used. Skeleton Baragan's words were full of resentment. The old man thought for a long time, and finally thought of it. Zanpakuto's abilities have upper limits, and so does Reiatsu. As long as the old man exhausts his Reiatsu, his abilities can be invalidated. At that time, he was bound to die. Uchiha Madara listened. But Baragan's words are pure nonsense in Ben's view. If it could be done, Baragan would have done it a long time ago, a typical self-consolation. Undead Scourge. Baragan screamed. The huge fragments of skeletons that were chopped up turned into small skeletons burning black flames, rushing towards Madara. Wow. At the same time, Baragan's Reiatsu tossed out like a tsunami, covering a large area, forming a wall of fire in Madara. It will be completely enclosed. The old man was defeated by Aizen because he couldn't reach him. Just give the old man a chance. Baragan's voice rang out like a vent. The old man's aging is the most powerful and absolute force in the form of death. Aizen, sure to die. Skeleton Legion, with the attack to contain. Determine where Aizen is under Kyoka Suigetsu. Skeletons contain, besieged by the Sea of Fire. On the black flame, there is Baragan's power of aging. When the Sea of Fire gathers, Aizen will suffer the erosion of aging. The specific operation needs to be more detailed. As Baragan thought, Aizen is absolutely unable to resist the power of aging positively. But for the class whose body was clearly in front of them, Baragan chose the most direct way. Not only are you weak, but your IQ is also unsightly. Uchiha Madara commented again. Any messy plan is a joke in the face of absolute strength. Shen Luo Tianzheng. The terrifying repulsion, centered on Uchiha Madara, showed a circular arc, whizzing in all directions. Buzz. When the repulsive force collapsed a piece of skeleton and encountered a black flame, it suddenly dissipated. Seeing this, Baragan sneered. The old man understands that you can eliminate the power of aging in a small area, but in the face of this large-scale aging, it is still not enough. It seems that today is your death date. It looks like you are very happy. Uchiha Madara raised his eyes slightly. He just didn't add the power of the sun to decompose everything. Looking at the limit of the power of aging, he made Baragan sing. Advertisement. It's not as good as me. Uchiha Madara's arrogance at this moment surpassed Baragan many times. Brush. Like teleportation, Uchiha Madara ignored the skeletons and black fire. Forcibly breaking out of the sea of aging power, he came to Baragan in an instant. Crack. Uchiha Madara stunned at Baragan. Not talking about being so close, he grabbed his neck. The skull's neck was almost chopped off, and there was a cracking sound. Uchiha Madara directly lifted Baragan up. I'm standing in front of you, what can you do? Ahad. In this situation, Baragan sighed. Breathing out a long sigh full of death is enough to make everything in contact with him age instantly. Such a distance can maximize the power of aging. Is it only to this degree? Close contact with aging, Uchiha Madara really feels the power of aging. But in the face of the power of Sun Luo that decomposes everything, it is still not enough to see. To be precise, Madara and Baragan, whose strength is strong, will have the upper hand. Madara of Jushing is certainly stronger. Damn it, let go of the old man. Aging has failed again, and Baragan feels a great humiliation when Madara is so lifted. Reiatsu broke out, and the power of aging was exerted to the limit. All your arrogance comes from the power of aging, feel it yourself. Uchiha Madara held Baragan with his right hand, and Reiatsu held it in the void like a chain. Universal pull. Gravity of the left hand washes away. No 8 Glands' corpse was pulled over and was directly attacked by the force of aging. Chi. In an instant, the flesh and blood of No. 8 Glands turned into ashes, and even the remaining bones were aging. Baragan's aura of death and aging is indeed very strong. The original trajectory almost killed the 2nd Division Captain Broken B with one move. But there is a huge disadvantage. What are you going to do? Struggling Baragan, seeing Uchiha Madara's interesting eyes, felt inexplicably cold inside. Shit. Uchiha Madara directly pierced Baragan through a leg bone of the aged number 8 Glands. Affected by the power of aging, what happens if the bones that are still aging are suddenly inserted into Baragan? Seal up. Madara's Reiatsu. It turned into a barrier, completely sealing the bones in Baragan's body. Baragan roared, his voice a little frightened and painful. He felt it. The power of his own aging started to bite him back. Original track. Broken B plus Hachigan, fight Baragan hard, cooperate with each other to cause some damage to Baragan. But the power of aging is very strong, almost speeding up time, which can almost invalidate all attacks. The attack is invalid, and you will die if you touch it. How to fight then? Broken B was helpless, Hachigan could only take a gamble. Hachigan sent his corroded right hand space Keto into Baragan's body, and Baragan was backlashed by his own power. When I was dying, I didn't forget to throw an axe at Aizen, showing how much I hated him. Buzzing. The power of aging, Reiatsu and Baragan in the aging class quickly pulled out the bones. Hooray! Baragan gasped with palpitations. Almost, he died. Baragan never thought that he would be almost killed by the power of aging. This is normal. Regarding the power of aging as an attack is equivalent to the attack being bounced back. You, Guru, what are you going to do? When Baragan looked up, his voice trembled a little unusually. Because of Madara's hands, there are aging bones. Madara's eyes clearly wanted to come again. Madara glanced at Baragan, who was a little bit afraid, and threw away the bone. Kneel down. What? Byler felt that he had heard it wrong. He is the king of Hōgyoku Mundo. Although Aizen was ousted from the throne and even the palace of the Night Palace was occupied, he still had the arrogance of the king. Kneel. Impossible. It's impossible for him in his life. Ticket. Madara's avatar appeared behind Baragan, with 2 feet facing his legs one after another, causing his legs to bend. Baragan was short, kneeled on the ground. Damn it's humans, and Aizen, I curse you. Baragan let out an unwilling roar, retired from the state of returning to the blade and became a strong old man again with red eyes. The uncle frowned slightly. Sorry, I was wrong. Baragan's voice changed, and he quickly lowered his head. Fei Zhen, Rukia, Harabel, would you rather die than surrender? How about your kingly demeanor? How about your arrogance and disdain? Proud. What is that? Baragan didn't care. Look what is in Madara's hand. Madara pinched Baragan's spiritual core. Spirit core. It can be regarded as the body of Arrancar, usually sealed in a shape similar to Zanpakuto. It is equivalent to the human soul. The spiritual core is shattered and Arrancar will die. In other words, Baragan's life can be pinched by Madara at any time, and he doesn't want to die before avenging Aizen. What kind of monster is this human being? When did the old man's spiritual core be taken away? Baragan was extremely aggrieved. He lived well in Hōgyoku Mundo, a bunch of little brothers, built the Palace of the Void, and climbed to the top of the Void King. How high-spirited he was at that time. But, Aizen ran to bully him. Teacher Aizen came to bully him again. Who did he provoke? As long as you don't die, there is hope for everything. What do humans say? To bear the humiliation, you must see the rainbow. I have been with Aizen and Genin for so long, and then I can bear it with Aizen's teacher. Sooner or later, I will succeed. Baragan kept comforting himself in his heart. Forbearance, King Skull. Chapter 45. Yunohana Retsu has become an old driver. Simple and cute little Nailu. Advertisement. Wow ah 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 ah. Oh 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 oh. After Baragan was taken by Uncle Ben, Kaido also suppressed those Arankars. At this point, Espada ends. It now appears that the surviving Espada are Stark, Baragan, Haribel, Ulquiorra, Yami, Zamari. The first 4 blades are good. Lan Yu asked to stay. Yami, both number 10 and number 0, has a lot of potential. Zamari, a big fan of Aizen. Therefore, the 2 Espadas also survived, and the rest were all reduced to wreckage. For the remaining Arankar, except for a few left by Kaido, the rest are dead. Empire Marine opened a full-range sweep in Hōgyoku Mundo, because 99% of the emptiness is like a beast without wisdom, so it is basically in the scope of destruction. After a long period of killing and eroding each other, hundreds of imaginaries finally merged and became a new individual, the so-called subordinate Manos Grande, Jillian. Inferior Manos Grande, Jillian. Intermediate Manos Grande, Adjukas. Superior Manos Grande, Vasto Lord. Wisdom and strength are gradually increasing, especially the Vasto Lord Manos Grande, the highest Manos Grande, and the entire Hōgyoku Mundo are rare. In Espada, the first 4 blades are all Vasto Lord Manos Grande, which is far stronger than Shinigami's normal captain. The rest is basically Adjukas. But, No. 9 Alonio is the only one to become Espada from the Jillian level Manos Grande. Because of his ability, he has integrated more than 30,000 virtuals, and his strength is not weak. These voids are too weak, but there are too many. Sister Rukia was walking around, cleaning up the emptiness as they walked. Haribel opened his mouth and said, if you are not at the Manos Grande level, they are all beasts after all. Do you have to kill them all? No, I heard Master Minato say, clean it up first, and let Hōgyoku Mundo quiet down. Rukia agrees that these imaginary know how to kill half and talk about it. Wow ah 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 ah. Oh 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 oh. Suddenly, there was a scream in front, and when the 3 women looked over, they were suddenly startled. Look far away. It was a little girl wearing a coat with a hood and running away in panic, with 3 imaginary hunters behind. Faye was really surprised. Hōgyoku Mundo. How could Hōgyoku Mundo be human? I'll save people. Rukia didn't think much, and rushed over. And Haribel, after seeing the little girl, looked dazed. Sister Heck, what's the matter with you? Faye Jen said curiously. No, nothing. Haribel's aquamarine eyes seemed to be lost in memories, and they kept flickering. And in the void, the 3 women are not visible. There is a magnificent throne standing here, on which sits a stalwart man. A gentle and peaceful woman stood beside her. She looked down and then at the man. From the time the Empire Marine invaded the virtual circle, your eyes fell on there. That little girl is special. During Yunohana Retsu's words, the Naling ring on his finger flickered, and a lychee-like spirit fruit from the heaven appeared on his hand. After peeling it off, he handed it over. Eat a piece of spirit fruit, my dear Emperor. Lan Yu opened her mouth to eat, looked down and said, that little girl is the most special Manos Grande in Hōgyoku Mundo. She is Manos Grande. Where is it special? Yunohana Retsu's gentle eyes kept falling on Lan's body, and it seemed that he couldn't get tired of it. Lan Yu whispered. Very kind, very simple, and very cute. That's really special. Yunohana Retsu was slightly surprised. The character of kindness and simplicity is nothing short of a miracle in the context of Hōgyoku Mundo. Which Manos Grande was not upgraded through endless killings, and the characteristic of the imaginary is the killing and devouring. In this hell-like environment, if you don't kill others, they will kill you. No matter how innocent and kind, you will become bloodthirsty if you stay in Hōgyoku Mundo for a long time. But Lan Yu said that Manos Grande is very kind. Isn't she? She doesn't like killing, and she even holds the idea that she doesn't want the power gained by killing others to make herself stronger. Lan Yu is talking about Haribel. In the Manos Grande period, even if he was seriously injured by another Manos Grande attack, he still did not want to kill the opponent. Before becoming Manos Grande, he was basically a beast, and he couldn't help himself. After becoming a big virtual, he had wisdom and personality. Yunohana Retsu's forehead. That's right, Shu and Manos Grande are already 2 different creatures. What? A reversal appeared below. Huh. The little girl in a headgear and cloak panted, and kept running away. Ah, oh ha 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 ha. The 3 imaginary bloodthirsty animals behind him shouted and chased them in excitement. Hey! The small figure flashed, kicked one shoe away, then turned around and drew his knife and slashed at the other. The action is chic and sharp. Rukia attacked very hard, causing 2 thieves in virtual pain to yell. Ah! It hurts, my horn hit my horn. At this moment, the little girl's movements were stagnant. Turned around and shouted, stop it, stop it. Did Nailu do anything to apologize to you? Please stop hitting them. The little girl took off her hood and shouted. She had short lake green hair, golden green eyes, rose-colored horizontal lines on her face, and a long and narrow scar on her forehead. Most importantly, the little girl's head is covered with Arrancar's skull mask. Are you virtual? Rukia turned around in a daze. Yes. The little green-haired girl ran over, stood with the three Zus, and asked a few worried questions, then turned to look at Rukia. The little girl and the three Shu made strange movements, as if they were welcoming Rukia. Are you really a group? Rukia was a little confused. Didn't you just chase and kill? What's the matter? Chase. No, it's not. I'm so sorry. The little girl knelt down with the three imaginary animals, full of apologies. We are playing an infinite tracking game, and we didn't expect to cause such a misunderstanding. The little girl bowed her head and apologized. It's really because Hōgyoku Mundo is not entertaining at all. Rukia is in a trance. Unlimited tracking. You said it was a game. But you clearly cried miserably. Fei Zhen was also dumbfounding when he came. The little girl looked up and smiled cutely. Yes, Nailu, I am a super masochist. It would be boring if I didn't cry while running. Fei Zhen. Rukia. Advertisement. Harabel came, staring at the little girl strangely. Nailu is your name. Yes, Nailu is Arrancar, and I am Nailu Du. Nailu's big eyes squinted into crescent moons, and she opened her mouth and had these little tiger teeth, which was very cute. The person who looked a bit like an armor bug said, I am Nailu's brother Kan Xie. A huge imaginary word with a mouthful of human teeth. I am Nailu's brother Don Duika. Nailu suddenly stood up and cheered. The last big man is the pet Baba. The four guys made strange movements again. It's like a happy little tease. Fei Zhen was puzzled. No, does Arrancar have siblings and pets? It's rude, of course. Nailu opened her eyes wide and said very cutely. Don Dakaka immediately said. I met her on the road and thought she was so cute, so I became her eldest brother. Thank you for nodding again and again. Me too. You don't have masks, and you wear black clothes, like dead. Nailu looked at Sister Rukia and suddenly became nervous. May I ask, what is your occupation? Shinigami. Rukia. Shinigami. Hyjin. The two sisters spoke one after another. Nailu Sanzu's pet was stunned immediately. It's Shinigami. The bad guy is coming. Run. We'll be dead. Nailu screamed and ran away. Sister Rukia has a black line. This little cutie is too timid. Harabel fell silent again. Stop me. Rukia snorted softly. Nailu's movements were stagnant, and her small expression was extremely tangled. Don't come over, we are great, we are. Nailu do. Dondakeka. Thanks Fed. 0. Look for flowers 0. The three of us are. The three guys put on a strange pose again and shouted in unison. Weird thief. Nailu Tangpei. Great three brothers and sisters in the desert. Rukia's three girls are in love. What is this? Bawa. Bawa. The big pet cried. Nailu immediately hurriedly said. Bawa cried. Don't be sad, we haven't forgotten you. Be good, Bawa, let's come together. Weird thief Nailu Tangpei. The great desert four brothers and sisters. Sister Rukia was completely confused. Harabel looked even more dazed. Pouch. Suddenly, Sister Hwa smiled brightly. So, she is really simple and lovely, my dear Majesty, your opinion will always be so true. Can you get rid of my dear? Lan Yu doesn't know what to say to Sister Hwa. Ujua blinked violently, and her voice was soft, isn't it? My dear, your Majesty. You can just call my dear. Isn't that called when you sleep at night? I'm going to sleep now. Can you drive on this broken road? Lan found you. You know Hana Retsu's gentle and peaceful appearance is more and more like an old driver. 0. Sister Hwa is so bold that he even dared to M***T her. Lan Yu said directly. You are going to bed tonight. Okay. You know Hana Retsu smiled softly, her beautiful eyes flickered. As the most powerful man in the Holy Empire, I look forward to it. Lan Yu laughed and said nothing. Nellie L. Harabel spoke suddenly. Hearing this name, Xie and Dondochaka trembled, and they looked at Harabel seriously, and their pupils suddenly shrank. Hee, why are you? Sure enough, it's you. Harabel found that the two Arrancars recognized themselves, and looked at Xiao Nailu with complex expressions. Xiao Nailu said dumbly, Brother, what's the matter with you? Run, Nilu, stop playing. Don Dakaka and Pecher stood in front of Nailu and said very solemnly, Run, Bawa, take Nailu out of here, we are not kidding. What's the situation? Sister Rukia is also confused. Harabel took a deep breath and said, Thank you, Don Dakaka, are you really cheating on Nellie like this? What do you know? Appreciation suddenly became angry. In the face of Espada you are now, I respectfully call you Lord Harabel, but I will never allow you to hurt Nailu. Yes, Nellie, she's already dead, and Nellie has nothing to do with her. Dondochaka looked at the enemy, and looked at Sister Rukia. You are with Shinigami, are you not afraid of Aizen-sama punishing you? Don't talk about Aizen adults, if you are seen by other Espada adults, you will die too. Harabel calmly said. Espada is a thing of the past. Now it is the age of empire. Aizen-sama is also an empire, and he will no longer hurt Nellie. Nilu do. What empire? Holy empire. What holy empire? Get out of me. Too lazy to explain, Harabel's Reiatsu broke out and directly blasted away the two people. Take one step forward. He directly hugged Xiao Nailu in his arms. Stop. Dondochaka and Petra exclaimed, and then pleaded. Please, Lord Harabel, please don't tell her. The two Arankars knelt down. Nilu has amnesia. Let her forget the painful past. Amnesia. Harabel glanced at the little Nilu who was winking in confusion in his arms. You really don't know me anymore. Big sister, you are so beautiful. Xiao Nilu spoke sweetly, and then whispered, can you let me down? Brothers will be worried. Good. Harabel let go. Xiao Nilu hurriedly jumped off, ran in front of Pei and Xie and yelled. Brother, run. 3.